Branded a traitor, abandoned by all.
But one man saw his true potential.
From Forsaken to Legend.
Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku was accused as traitor and joined Hashirama Senju movie. Before we start, please go support HectorJrHernandez for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken characters' gender, but of course Deku is a male. Izuku had everything, a great relationship with Momo Yaoyorozu, great friends, and having the #1 hero as a mentor, practically everything, but by a twist of fate, it turns out that your girlfriend cheats on you, your friend accuses you of being a traitor, and your teacher turns his back on you. Clarifications. 1. Deku will have a relationship with Momo Yaoyorozu. 2. Deku will have another quirk apart from One for All. 3. Uraraka never went to UA, she applied to Shiketsu. 4. Deku and Uraraka were childhood friends. 5. Will be carried out in the second year. Chapter 1. The Truth Hurts. It was a normal day for Deku in UA, spending time with his sweet, loving and beautiful girlfriend Momo, that girl who swore to love him forever, spending time with his friends who are always there for him and he for them, training with his great teacher Almight to be the next symbol of peace, but not everything was rosy. What is Deku? It's been a few days since I've noticed Momo is different, she hardly spends time with me anymore, when I'm near her she avoids me, or when I talk to her she answers sharply, but that doesn't matter, I love her, and I know she feels the same way about me and she won't change. End of the narrative here. The green-haired boy could be seen walking through the halls of the residence in the women's area with a box in his hands. The why of the box? Is a gift for his girlfriend Momo for 8 months of dating, but before knocking on the door, he is stopped by a conversation behind Momo's door. Momo, how long until you break up with that idiot Midoriya? I can't stand seeing you with him anymore. I'm better to begin with. Why are you with him? Momo. Because I'm with him, I'm only with him out of pity. To me, he's just a toy that I use as I please, that's why I haven't finished with him, because I can't find the right moment to get rid of him and be with you, Iida-san, or rather, Tenya. Iida. Well then I can wait a little longer and be with me and not that idiot, but before that don't you want to have a little fun? The last party said in a flirtatious tone. Momo. Just wait a little longer and I'll end up with that idiot and of course I want to be with a real man, so make me yours. Deku after what he heard couldn't stand it anymore and left the place with tears falling down his shattered face. He arrived at his room where he could cry with all his strength. He didn't know what to do or how he felt, if it was anger, frustration, sadness, he didn't know. He was locked in his room all day crying until he fell asleep. The next day. You could see a green-haired boy waking up with red and swollen eyes from what he cried the day before. With little enthusiasm, he got up to go to school, got dressed and had breakfast and went to his classroom. It took a while until his classmates arrived. Deku. Today I'll break up with Momo, I still can't believe she was unfaithful with Iida, I thought he was my friend, but I see he's not so I'll do it after class, but he's pulled out of his thoughts to feel someone hugging him from behind and a kiss on the cheek when he turns around he can see it was Momo. Momo. Hello love, how are you? What are you thinking about? Asked a curious Momo. Deku. In no time, Momo after class we can talk in private he said seriously. Momo. Of course, I'll wait for you, then I'll go, classes will start. By giving her a kiss on the cheek. The classes passed quickly and were boring until it was time to leave. Deku and Momo can be seen in the classroom. Deku. Momo I want to finish he said with a serious tone. Momo. But because I love you I couldn't finish because Deku started talking again. Deku. Stop lying Momo, I know you don't love me. Yesterday, I heard that you were talking to Iida about breaking up with me, that I was just a toy for you so it's over, I don't want to be with someone who only sees me as a game so goodbye Momo Yaoyorozu with tears in her eyes and head held high she left the place. On the other hand, you can see Momo surprised and furious by the words of the boy who for her was an idiot who couldn't do anything, but now he proved the opposite and I don't know what will happen like this. Momo. Nobody breaks up with me without first suffering the consequences, so prepare yourself Midoriya-san, I'll make you lose everything she said angrily while clenching her fist. After that he began his revenge against Deku. He joined Iida to make some fake videos of Deku calling the League of Villains on the phone. After making them, they found Principal Nezu knocking on the door. Nezu. Oh young people, how can I help you? Momo. Mr. Director, we have proof that there is a traitor in the UA and we have it on video. Nezu. The UA traitor, who is it? Asked surprised and serious upon hearing what was said. Iida. Yes sir, the traitor is Midoriya Izuku, he's from our class. Nezu. Young Midoriya surprised by what he heard show me the video. At that moment, he hands over the USB where the recording they made was located. You can see Deku in one of the UA hallways talking on the phone, giving information about the security system, the changing of the guards, and the easiest places to enter the academy. After finishing the video, you can see Nezu with a frown and in a serious tone, informing the boys to return to the dorms. Momo. Well, Director Nezu, we will leave. Have a good afternoon. They left bowing. The next day Deku was heading to his classroom, but upon entering he could feel the glares of his classmates and teacher, which made him nervous. Izawa. Midoriya, I need you to accompany me to the office now, he said with a more serious tone than usual. Deku. All right teacher, he said, following Izawa to the address. During the walk he could feel an uncomfortable atmosphere, but when they arrived with the director he could notice that all the teachers were there, including Almight, with serious looks. Deku. Boo, good morning, when can I help you, he said nervously because of his teacher's looks. Nezu. Please take a seat. Well, young Midoriya, we want to know if you are the traitor who has been giving information to the League of Villains. Deku. Stood up from his chair and, surprised by the accusation, said that is false. I am not the traitor. Nezu. Young Midoriya, we have proof that you are the one who gave information to the villain Kurogiri, he said, showing him the same video that Momo gave him. Deku. No, that's false. I'm not the, but he didn't finish talking because All Might in his weak form stretched his hand in front of him. All Might. Young Midoriya, I want you to give me one for all right now. You don't deserve a power like this. Deku. Boo.bu.but All Might, that's false, please believe me, I'm not the traitor, he said with tears in his eyes. All Might. I don't believe you, you just saw the evidence, so hand in the one for all now, he said more seriously. Deku. I won't do it, this power is mine, I earned it with great effort, he said seriously, while he stood in front of All Might in a challenging manner. All Might. Then if it's not the good way, it will be the bad way, young Midoriya, he said while turning his back and taking a few steps forward. After saying those words, all the teachers rushed towards. The first one was Izawa, who caught him between his bandages and erasing his quirk. He was brutally beaten by teacher Vlad King along with Izawa, and then he was released and was received by a strong sonic blow from President Mick that took him out of the principal's office. After leaving him almost unconscious, Almighty approached Deku's massacred body and removed a hair in order to recover one for all and leave it. Hours passed and Deku woke up in his dorm room only to see a note saying he was expelled and had to vacate as soon as possible. With great effort he managed to stand up and pack his things. Luckily there was no one in the dorm. He saw the time, it was 12 o'clock. He assumed they were still in class. So, as best he could, he managed to leave UA to go home. When he arrived, he didn't expect to be welcomed like that. Inko. What are you doing here, damn it? She said angrily as tears came out of her eyes. Deku. What's going on, why are you doing like this, and why are you telling me that, mother? He says with a sad expression. Inko. I already found out that you are a damn traitor. Deku. What are you saying? But I'm not the traitor, but he didn't finish speaking when he received a slap from Inko. Inko. I want you to leave this house. I never want to see you again. You're not my son anymore. I didn't raise a damn traitor, so get out. Deku resignedly headed to the door, but Datina heard someone running and grabbing his right leg. When he turned around he could see his adopted daughter Eri, who was crying. Eri. Daddy, please don't go, don't leave me alone please, she said crying while she clung more to the hug. Deku. Calm down Eri, but it's better if I go and you stay here. Eri. No, I want to go with you, Daddy, I don't want to be without you, please take me with you. Deku. Taking a breath and thinking that it wouldn't work ends up accepting. Okay, go get your things and we'll leave. After saying that, the little girl went to her room for her things and came back with a small suitcase. They walked until they reached a park near the train station where they sat on a bench. At that Eri asks her. Eri. Dad, where are we going? Asking curiously about the place where she would live. Deku. Well, the truth is I don't know. Deku kept thinking where to go or who to ask for help. He only had 5,000 yen and his body still hurt from the beating he received from the teachers. Some time passed until someone came to mind. Well, I think I have nothing to lose by calling him. I hope he answers, he said it in his mind and then took his cell phone and dialed a number. Well, who's speaking? They answered on the other side of the line. Deku. Please come quickly, I need your help please, speaking a little desperate and in pain. Chapter 2. Uraraka Chako. Hello, my name is Uraraka Chako and I study at Shiketsu Academy and I am in my second year here. I have great friends like my best friend Kimi Atsushimi. She is a tall girl, full lips and hair that goes a little past her shoulders, light blonde color. Another of my friends is Inasa Yurashi. He is a very tall guy with a shaved head. He is very energetic and enthusiastic, for whom all heroes are hot. He is like a brother to me, I really get along with him. Also there is Nagasa Mora, who is as tall as Inasa and covered with a lot of light brown hair. He is like an older brother and helps me a lot with things that I do not understand at school. And lastly there is Seiji Shishikura. He is very proud and gets angry easily if you tell him that his eyes are small. Watery. Right now I'm in history class, it's really boring, but luckily for me, Kimi always sits next to me and makes it really fun by making funny little illusions of our classmates. End of narrative. The professor could be seen receiving a message on his phone and then getting up from his chair and saying, "Teacher. Okay, guys, that's all, we'll have a meeting with the principal, so you can go back to your dorms." "Kimi. It's good that classes are over, don't you think, Ichako?" she said, stretching back and turning to look at Uraraka. "Ichako? You're right, Kimi couldn't stand being in this class anymore," she said in a tired tone as she got up from her seat. "Kimi. Hey Ichako, what do you say to spending an afternoon with the girls?" asking as they left the room. "Ichako. Sounds good, we have to tell the others and meet, but where?" wondering while putting a finger on her chin. "Kimi. I know, in my room, taking advantage of the fact that we left early, what do you say?" she said excitedly and turning towards Uraraka. "Ichako. What a great idea to tell them," she said excitedly, entering the dorms where she found an excited Inasa watching the news about the new heroes and saying that hero is very hot to Nagasa reading a book and drinking tea with Seiji. "Inasa. Oh hello Uraraka," Kimi greeting the aforementioned energetically. Both. "Hello Inasa," they said in unison, greeting with a smile. "Inasa. What are you doing because you are excited girls?" he said to go where they were standing. "Kimi. Today we're having a girls get together," she said excitedly, raising her arms in the air. "Inasa. Oh how exciting I can be," but he couldn't finish because Kimi spoke again. "Kimi. No, you can't. It's an Inasa girls meeting, so you can't," she said seriously, crossing her arms. "Inasa. Please Kimi, let me be with you," he said, pleading to Kimi. "Kimi. I didn't say no, Inasa, period." With a serious tone and looking directly at Inasa with a frown. This discussion seemed very funny to Uraraka. It was the daily bread of an Inasa who behaved like a child, begging to be bought a candy or a toy, and Kimi like a strict and scolding mother. At that moment, the discussion was stopped by Nagasa's voice. "Nagasa. Inasa, leave them, it's their meeting," he said seriously and taking his eyes off the book, "so take a seat and watch your news, and girls, don't make a scene, please," turning to see Uraraka and Kimi who just nodded. Uraraka. "Well, we're leaving, see you later," she said and then went with Kimi to the girls' area where her other classmates were. Kimi. "Girls, what do you say about having a girls' afternoon in my room?" asking very excitedly when she saw the others who were sitting on the sofa in the living room. "Well, that's a good idea, I'm in," said a pink-haired girl named Sakura. "What do you say, Erin, Jane, Carla?" turning to look at the other girls. "Erin. Sounds good, I have nothing to do so I'll go," she said, standing up from the couch. It was a girl with long black hair. "Jane. Sounds interesting, I'm going," said excitedly, a girl with curly green hair also stood up. "Carla. Seeing that I have no other choice, I'm going, I have nothing to lose by going," said the girl who had blonde hair tied in a ponytail. Uraraka. "Well, we have to go get magazines, movies, candy, sodas to have a good time this afternoon," she said excitedly, listing what they needed. Kimi. "Okay girls, then we have to go get the things for the afternoon of girls." Excited, raising her fist to the sky. All the others. Yes. Making the same gesture as Kimi. After going for the things they needed, they all went to Kimi's room where they played board games, watched a movie while they ate. It was a fun afternoon between laughter and jokes until a curious Kimi asked a question that made some blush and another didn't care at all. Kimi. "Well girls, have you fallen in love, do you have someone in mind or did you have a boyfriend?" asking, seeing how the girls only blushed except one. Carla. "Honestly no, I'm not interested at the moment," she said seriously. Kimi. "Well, and you, Rin? Someone special or a boyfriend?" turning to look at the girl in question. Rin. "Well, I had a boyfriend before entering the academy, but we broke up because he went abroad to study." She said it embarrassed but with a sad tone. Kimi. "I'm sorry for reminding you of that," she said with a worried tone and then turned to look at Jane. "And you, Jane?" Jane. "Well, I like Seiji." What I said surprised everyone because no one could imagine the liveliest girl being in love with the proud Seiji. "And you, Kimi, haven't told us who you like or who you're interested in." Kimi. Let me see." She took a few seconds while thinking until she spoke. "Well, when I was taking the license exam for the second time there were two boys that interested me, they are from UA, their names were Bakugo Katsuki and Todoroki Shoto. Alone they seemed interesting to me." "Well, what about you, Sakura?" seeing Sakura who blushed. Sakura. "I haven't had a boyfriend, but I like someone, he's from Ketsubutsu, he's Shito Yo," she said, blushing and surprised because that boy was one of the strongest of the aspiring heroes. Kimi. "Wow, I didn't expect that." "Well, all that's missing is your Ichako." I turned around to see Uraraka, who was so blushed that she looked like a ripe tomato. Uraraka. "Bu. Well, I like someone, in fact he is a childhood friend, but I never told him what I felt for fear of rejection. He was my only friend when I was a child, and I did not want to lose his friendship, but when I finally decided to say what I felt I had to move. He is from UA. His name is Midoriya Izuku, or better known as the hero Deku. Some were surprised by the name, because they knew what he was capable of with his pyrokinetic power. Here Deku did not use one for all, much only when necessary, and his fight against Overhaul. Kimi. Seriously, Deku is the one who defeated Overhaul, leader of the 8 Precepts of Death and winner of the second UA Sports Festival, and is one of the candidates to become hero number 1 and symbol of peace, she said, surprised to know who her friend liked. Uraraka. Well, yes, it's him, but I haven't seen him for a while. I can only talk to him through messages or calls, but there's a problem. He already has a girlfriend, and just on Wednesday they celebrated 8 months of relationship, and it seems that he's very happy. She said it sadly and depressed. Carla. Well, I have a question, Uraraka. Do you know why that hero name? As far as I know, it means useless, right? She asked Uraraka curiously, so that she would forget her sadness a little. Uraraka. Well, the name is because since he was little they called him Deku, because according to his best friend, he said that he couldn't do anything, but when I met him and saw that he was someone who was willing to sacrifice himself for others, and his determination to be number 1, I told him that for me, it meant you can do it, and he accepted it with great pleasure, he said, showing a small smile with a blush remembering that moment. Flashback. You could see a brown-haired girl and a green-haired 8-year-old man who were playing in the park. They had been great friends since they were 5 years old, and since then Uraraka had a doubt since she met him, but she didn't dare to ask until now. Uraraka. Hey Midoriya, why does the Bakugo boy call you Deku? Asking curiously to Deku, who only lowered his head. Deku? Ebu. Well, he calls me Deku because for him it means you can't do it or useless, said Deku sadly and afraid that Uraraka would also make fun of him and that she wouldn't want to be with him anymore, but he was taken out of his thoughts when he felt a hand on his shoulder and saw that Uraraka had a warm smile. Uraraka. That's not true for me, Deku, it sounds like a Japanese word that means you can do it and I like it, she said with a big smile, making Deku blush. Deku? If you want you can call me that, he said with a blush. Uraraka. Really, can I call you that? She said with joy that her friend accepted the meaning she gave it. Deku? Of course, now let's keep playing, Uraraka, he said happily and raised his fist. Uraraka. Yes Deku, and so they continued playing all afternoon. Vindel flashback. Rin. Well, it seems that you are someone special to him, commenting after hearing the explanation. Uraraka. Do you think it's true? With a surprised tone with her eyes emitting a small glow. Rin. Of course, just wait and you'll see that one day they will be together, it's a matter of time, she encouraged her friend. Sakura. Well, let's continue with this meeting and have a good time together. A moment of laughter and challenges passed until Uraraka received a call that she was not expecting because she had not received calls from that number for a while. Rin. Who is Achako? Don't tell me it's Deku, she said that in a mocking tone and with a mischievous look. After what she said, everyone paid attention to Uraraka, who only got nervous. Uraraka. No. I don't know. Could it be, let me answer. Taking her cell phone and talking on the phone, she said, well, who's talking? Deku? Please come quickly, I need your help, please, Uraraka, come quickly. Speaking a little desperately and in pain. Uraraka. Deku, what's wrong? Tell me where he is. Speaking worriedly as she heard Deku speaking to her on the other end of the line. Deku? I'm in the park where we played as children, the one near the station, please come. Deku's voice was heard weak because of the blows. Uraraka. Okay Deku, stay there, I'll go quickly, don't move, she said hurriedly as she stood up from the floor and cut off the call. Kimi. Achako, what happened? With a worried tone, seeing Uraraka's reaction. Uraraka. It's Deku, I don't know what's wrong with him. He sounded very weak and desperate. He said this as he walked to the door. I have to go. I'll call you later. Bye. Rin. Do you think she'll be okay? She asked worriedly, looking at the others. Carla. Let's hope it's nothing bad. On the way Uraraka just thought that it was nothing serious, so she quickly took the subway and left for the place where she grew up and met Deku. When she arrived at the park she could see a green-haired man next to some suitcases and a little white-haired girl sitting on a bench. When walking in that direction, she could see Deku very beaten up, and at that moment, she got very worried seeing him in that state. Uraraka. Deku, what happened to you? Why are you doing like this? She said upset when she found him in that state. Deku. Uraraka, how good that you arrived, he said while getting up from the bench to stand in front of Uraraka. What happened was that they accused me of being the traitor in the UA. I also found out that Momo was unfaithful to me with my supposed best friend Ida, and my mother kicked me out of my home, saying that I was no longer her son and that she didn't want to see me anymore. I only have my little daughter Eri. Every moment that I told him about his problem, you could hear his voice breaking little by little, but he couldn't hold it in anymore and began to cry, but at that moment he was hugged by Uraraka, surprising him. Deku, when he finished crying, was able to meet the gaze of those beautiful chocolate-colored eyes of his childhood friend, looking directly at him, and Uraraka with those emerald eyes that drove her crazy just by looking at them, getting closer and closer, feeling the others breathing. Just put the Shiketsu uniform on Uraraka. When they were about to join their lips, they were interrupted by a question from the little girl who looked curiously at Uraraka and the scene in front of her eyes, and when she realized what they were doing, they separated quickly and with a massive blush on her face. Eri? Dad, who is she? I asked, looking curiously at Uraraka. Deku? She is Uraraka Chako, a friend of mine from a long time ago, speaking nervously because she is just a friend and I was going to kiss her, even though her chocolate eyes are very pretty and her lips, no god, what am I thinking, she is just a friend. Those were the thoughts that Deku had at that moment while he sat down again on the bench. Uraraka. Boo. Well, I'm Uraraka Chako, and can you tell me your name, little one? She said with a warm smile, still blushing. Why would I kiss him? I like it, but that's not the way. He's hurt and I have to help him, but not that way. Eri? I'm Midori Eri, it's a pleasure, she said happily and showed a smile. Uraraka. How cute you are, then come to my apartment so you and Eri can rest, she said, and then got up and took Eri's backpack. Deku? Okay, but there won't be any problems with your parents if I stay in your apartment. I don't want to be a bother to them. He said, a little embarrassed. Uraraka. Don't worry, Deku, they are working abroad and the apartment is only there. I'm only going on the weekend. Deku? Okay then let's go, he said and then headed towards the station. On the way Uraraka could see how Deku had difficulty walking, so she decided to take his arm and put it behind his neck to help him. All of this was seen by Eri, who could only smile at that action. She felt very happy that Uraraka helped them. After buying the tickets and waiting for the train, as soon as it arrived, they got on and took a seat in that. Deku, because of how tired and the blows, he leaned on Uraraka's shoulder, who could only blush at the action, and Eri leaned on his arm, also asleep until they arrived. Uraraka. Deku, wake up, we're here, moving his shoulder a little to wake him up. Deku? We're here, he said with a tired tone while slowly opening his eyes, but when he realized that he was on Uraraka's shoulder, he quickly separated and blushing. Be you sorry, Uraraka? I didn't realize, I'm sorry. Uraraka. No problem, Deku, you're tired and I understand, but lower your voice a little, you'll wake up Eri, she said to calm him down, and then she leaned Eri on the back of the seat and took the backpack and carried it in her arms. The good thing was that Deku no longer needed help since he could walk a little better. The path was calm as people were seen passing from one side to the other while they were in silence, not uncomfortable but pleasant for both. Upon arriving, Uraraka asked Deku to open it since he couldn't because Eri was in his arms, giving him the keys. Once inside, Uraraka went to a room to lay Eri down and tuck her into bed and returned with Deku in the living room. Uraraka. Well, Deku, do you want something to drink? Deku? Yes, a green tea please. Uraraka. Okay, I'm back now. Went to the kitchen to make tea, leaving Deku alone, who stayed alone processing what happened in the morning. A few minutes passed and Uraraka returned with a tray with 2 cups of tea and put it on the coffee table she had in the living room. Deku? Thank you very much for everything, Uraraka. I really don't know how to thank you for what you've done for me and Eri, he said while taking a sip from his cup of tea. Uraraka. You don't have to thank me for anything, I do it with pleasure, she said with a smile and then asked him something. So Deku, what are you going to do now? Deku? I really don't know, Uraraka, maybe UA has already spread the news to all the academies so they won't accept me. Uraraka. You're right, hey Deku, what do you say about studying at Shiketsu with me? Maybe if I tell the director about your situation, what are you saying? Deku? You would seriously do that for me, Uraraka, but don't you think they already know that I am the UA traitor? Uraraka. Maybe they know, but they will surely investigate, because if you think about it, it is strange that the best aspiring hero and next symbol of peace is a traitor overnight, wouldn't it? Deku? You're right, then you would do it. Uraraka. Of course, hey Deku, don't you want something to eat? Deku? Yes, I'm a little hungry, he said as he stood up. Uraraka. If I cook some ramen and you go and wake up Eri, she said while taking a walk back to the kitchen and Deku to the room where Eri was. When he arrived he could see that she was awake playing with a stuffed animal that she had brought with her. Eri? Hi Dad, are we going to eat now? Asking while leaving the stuffed animal and standing on top of the bed. Deku? If Uraraka is preparing the food, it won't be long before it's ready, so let's go to the dining room, he said walking towards the door. Eri? Yes Daddy, I want to try the food that mommy makes, she said jumping out of bed to follow Deku. Deku? Yes, me too, but he stopped dead in front of the door after processing what Eri said and turning back to see her. Eri W. What did you say? Eri? I want to try mommy's food. Deku? Po. Why do you say that to him, Eri? Eri? It's that I see her like that, she's very good and kind to us, and that's what a mommy does, right? She said a little embarrassed. Deku? Yes, you're right, but it doesn't matter, so come on, let's go eat. When they left they could see Uraraka waiting for them with the table set and showing a warm smile when she saw them arrive. Uraraka. Ready to eat? Eri? Yes mommy, she said excitedly, and sitting down to eat what Eri said, she blushed and embarrassed Uraraka. Uraraka. Eri, why do you call me that? She asked blushing. Eri? It's that I see you as a mother, for me you have helped us a lot like a mother would, and that's why I tell you this, but if it bothers you I won't say it again, she said lowering her head and with a sad and sorry tone that managed to make Uraraka sad, feeling a pang in her chest for the last thing said by Eri. Uraraka. No, don't be like that Eri, in fact I really like it when you call me mom, showing a warm smile. All of this was seen by Deku. He likes the fact that Eri was happy and that more than getting along very well with Uraraka, he felt very comfortable being with her, and every time she smiled, it made him feel a warm feeling in his chest that he didn't feel when he was with Momo, but he let it go because it was just friendship, right? And so they dedicated themselves to eating. While they talked very happily after eating they went to the living room to watch a little television. They seemed like a nice family. The hours passed and it was time to go to sleep, where Uraraka and Eri went to sleep in their room and Deku to the guest room because he felt that it was not right to sleep in the same room as Uraraka, so he slept in the guest room where it used to be Uraraka's parents to sleep, since tomorrow would be a new day and a new beginning. Chapter 3. The board, a proposal and I accept. A few hours before. 5 people could be seen in a classroom at Shiketsu Academy who were about to discuss a topic that had surprised the director a lot, and he organized a last-minute meeting to inform the teachers. Since everyone is here, you will be wondering why the meeting is taking place, and it is because we have received last-minute information from the UA, he said, with a serious face to all the teachers who were in the room. What kind of information, Director Hashirama, coming from UA, has to be something serious, right? Asked the heroine Dragon Ryuko. I won't say the appearances, but I'll leave you images. Ryuko is right for them to send last-minute information, and at this time it has to be very important, commented the hero Fatgum while eating some snacks. Hashirama. I'll tell you, the information we received from UA is about the discovery of the traitor who was in their school. What the director said surprised everyone present, and they gave us the name of the student. This surprised the teachers even more, because they didn't expect it to be a student. Director's appearance. I can't believe it, a student as a traitor is incredible, and what is the student's name? Said the hero gang Orca with a surprised and disappointed tone. Hashirama. I also think the same, Orca, but they sent us the video where it shows how he is talking to the villain better known as Kurogiri, and the name of the student is Midoriya Izuku, or better known as Deku. After hearing the name they could not believe how it was possible that the best aspiring hero, and destined to be number 1, is the traitor. Well, and now I will show you the video. The moment the director played the recording, the hero HectorJrHernandez could notice something. How could the best aspiring hero be a traitor? It's strange to think about, but when he saw the recording, which is not noticeable at first glance but can be seen in the video, the students' movements were repetition, as if they had replayed the video over and over again, and that the voice could be heard in a choppy manner and in different tones. As if they had put together several conversations and then put them together into one. After finishing the video, the hero did not shut up and spoke. HectorJrHernandez. The video is fake, he said it seriously and directly, surprising those present in the room. Orca gang. How do you know that? He asked, dismayed. You just saw him giving information to one of the league leaders. He said it angrily and excitedly. Fatgum. Calm down, Orca, let HectorJrHernandez explain, he said, calming Orca and then looking at HectorJrHernandez. Can you tell us why it's fake? HectorJrHernandez. Fine, but first, isn't it strange to you that he, pointing at the screen where Deku was, is a traitor, if he is the best candidate for number 1 and may even become the next symbol of peace? What HectorJrHernandez said made you reflect. He had a good point, and if you can observe closely in the video, the movements of young Midoriya are repetitive, as if you were replaying the video over and over again, and his voice sounds different when he pronounces each word, as if it were taken from several audios and then joined into one. After what was said, the other heroes along with the director watched the video again and agreed with HectorJrHernandez, the video was fake. After finishing watching the video, no one said anything until the heroine broke the silence. Ryuko. And now what will we do, Mr. Director? Will you tell UA that the video is fake? Asking directly to Hashirama. Hashirama. This information was sent to all schools, and if another realizes that it is false, they will try to find young Midoriya and convince him to study with them. What do they say about looking for him, so that they come with us? Asking the other heroes. They took a while to analyze the proposal given by the director. After several minutes, they came to a decision on that. One of the heroes decided to speak. Patgam. We already discussed it, and we think it's best for him to come with us, he said, making the director smile. Hashirama. Well, you just have to find him and bring him so you can talk and convince him to study at Shiketsu. If he accepts, he will be in your group, Shot. He said, looking at the aforementioned. Ed Shot. Of course I would be happy to have him in my class, he said with a happy tone for what the director proposed. Ryuko. So when do we start the search? She asked. Hashirama. We will start on Monday with the search for Midoriya, he said seriously, and then stood up from his seat to say, then with this we finished the meeting so you can leave. The four said at the same time and then left the office, leaving Hashirama alone. Hashirama. Don't worry Midoriya Izuku, we will make sure that your names and honor are cleared and you become the best hero in history. He said all this while looking towards the office window. Time skip. It was Monday morning in Uraraka's apartment. An alarm could be heard and then it was turned off by her, who woke up lazily while rubbing her eyes and then looking to her left to find a little Eri sleeping and then kissing her on the forehead and getting up with a smile of not being alone at home and even more so of being with Deku. She took her clothes and then left her room to take a shower, but on the way she was stopped when she heard a noise in the kitchen. Getting ready to go with a little fear that it was a thief, but when she arrived she found Deku making breakfast with a white apron with colorful flowers. That was from Uraraka. Deku. Ooh Uraraka, good morning, I'm preparing breakfast, what would you like to eat? Asking while showing a smile that made Uraraka blush slightly. Uraraka. Good morning Deku, I want an omelette if it's not too much trouble, she said, a little embarrassed because she didn't want Deku to think that she was abusing him. Deku. It's no bother, if you want go take a bath while I prepare breakfast and wake Eri up so we can have breakfast together. After saying that, Uraraka went to the bathroom while Deku prepared breakfast for each of them. For Eri, it was some hotcakes and a glass of warm milk. Uraraka had an omelette and a cup of coffee with milk, and for him, it was eggs with bacon and a cup of coffee with milk. He also made toast and orange juice. When he finished, he went to Uraraka's room to wake Eri up. Deku. Eri daughter wakes up, breakfast is ready, moving to wake her up. Eri. I'm coming, Dad, she said sleepily, rubbing her eyes, then smiling when she saw her father. Good morning, Dad, what's for breakfast? She asked. Deku. You'll have hotcakes for breakfast, so go get up and have breakfast with Mom, said Deku as he left the room. These days that he was with Eri and Uraraka, he got used to Eri calling Uraraka Mom, and for some reason he liked the fact that Eri saw her like that, or is it that he likes seeing her as Eri's mother? Minutes passed before Uraraka left for breakfast. Breakfast was quiet and pleasant with fun and cheerful conversations. They had a lot of fun, but everything that starts has to end. When Uraraka finished breakfast, she had to leave. Eri. You really have to go, Mommy, she said sadly while lowering her head. Uraraka. I'm sorry Eri, but don't worry, I'll come back and we can play, okay, she said while she got down to her level and could hug her. Eri. Yes. She said happily while reciprocating the hug. Deku. Uraraka already commanding his attention. Then if you do, will you talk to the director of Shiketsu? Uraraka. Releasing Eri so she could go play. Yes, Deku, I will do it, and if everything goes well, I will call you, okay, showing a smile. Deku. Thank you very much Uraraka for what you have done for me and Eri, then see you later, he said goodbye to her with a kiss on the cheek, which caused a blush in both of them. This goodbye running away while in his mind, damn, why did I do that? Although I must admit that I like her smell of flowers and her blushes are cute, and not to mention her know what I think about, I better watch television. On the other hand, Uraraka wasn't so well, let's say she was still standing, processing what had happened with a big blush on her face that looked like a ripe tomato. After a few minutes she reacted and left, saying in her mind, he kissed me. The road was fast. When she arrived at Shiketsu, she was received by Kimi. Kimi. Achako, how was your weekend with Deku? He said in a mischievous tone, making Uraraka blush. Uraraka. It went well. I liked it. I liked spending time with him and his daughter, she said, blushing and embarrassed. Kimi. Oh how nice, but after realizing what Uraraka said she stopped dead in her tracks. What? He has a daughter. She said, shouting, earning the gaze of all the students. Uraraka. Kimi remained silent, everyone is looking at us, she said, embarrassed for being the center of everyone's attention. Kimi. Sorry, I'm surprised, but do you really have a daughter? I asked, intrigued. Uraraka. Yes, but she's adopted. As I said, I hate Kimi a little. Well, before going to the classroom, I have to go to the director. Kimi. What are you doing? He asked. Uraraka. I'll tell him the situation Deku is in and if he gives him the opportunity to study with us. Kimi. Situation. I asked, did something bad happen to you? Uraraka. Sigh. Well, what happened to him was Uraraka explained everything about Momo's infidelity, that he was a traitor and that his mother turned her back on him, and that's all she said sadly. That's why I'm going to talk to the director to let him study with us, speaking determinedly. Kimi. Poor Midoriya, if you want I can accompany you, she said, showing a smile. Uraraka. Okay, then let's go. They entered to take the path to the director's office, where Uraraka knocked on the door, receiving a pass from the other side of the door. Good morning, Mr. Director. Hashirama. Good morning, young ladies, how can I help you? He said with a smile. Kimi. Actually, Uraraka is the one who wanted to tell you something, she said, pointing at her with her finger. Uraraka. Yes, I wanted to ask you if you know Midoriya Izuku. When Uraraka said the name director, she was surprised. It's that he was accused of being a traitor at UA, and I wanted to know if he could study here, she said nervously while playing with her fingers. Hashirama. I see. In fact, we received the communication that he was a traitor. What the director said surprised both girls, but we verified that the video was false, and we began to look for a way to communicate with him to propose that he study with us, he said, showing a smile and cheering up the two girls. Uraraka. Seriously, then it's a but, she is interrupted by the director. Hashirama. Yes, young Uraraka, it's a yes, but do you know where he is now? He asked her. Uraraka. If I know where he is, I can call him to come, she said excitedly to take out her phone. Hashirama. Would you do me a great favor, Miss Uraraka, and could you please tell me if you can come immediately? Uraraka. Yes, I will, thanks for everything, she said, bowing and leaving. Kimi. It's good that the director said yes, he commented. Well, I'll leave you so you can talk to Midoriya, he said to leave her alone. Uraraka. I'll catch you later, taking her phone to call Deku. Deku? Uraraka, don't scream, what happened? He said, a little stunned by Uraraka's scream. Uraraka. Sorry, I got excited, I already spoke with the director and he wants to talk to you and propose a deal, she said excitedly. Deku? Seriously, thank you very much, Uraraka, I'll go right away, but there's a problem. Uraraka. What's the problem, Deku? I asked, somewhat intrigued. Deku? It's Eri, I don't know who to leave her with to go talk to the director. Uraraka. That's it, no problem, bring her and the girls, and I can take care of her, she said, happy for her, she wanted to spend more time with Eri. Deku? Thanks, Uraraka, I'll leave you to get ready. Hours passed and Uraraka was standing at the entrance waiting for Deku and Eri. Then she saw them arriving and Eri, upon seeing her mother, ran towards her to jump and give her a big hug. Eri? Mommy, I missed you so much, so I'll stay with you? Separating from Uraraka to look into her eyes. Uraraka. Yes, today you will be with me while your father takes care of some matters, so come, I will introduce you to some people, he said while taking her hand. Deku? Okay, Uraraka, where do I have to go? I asked, then Uraraka gave him the directions. After arriving, he prepared to play, receiving a pass. Hashirama. It's a pleasure to meet you, Midoriya Izuku, he said with a smile when he saw him enter. Deku? The pleasure is mine, sir, he said while bowing and taking a seat. Hashirama. Well, what I told you is that we discovered that the video that UA gave us where you give information to the league is false, and we want to propose something to you, he said seriously, surprising Deku. Deku? Tell me what you want me to do for you? He asked, a little intrigued. Hashirama. Well, boy, we propose you the deal to clear your name on the condition that you study in Shiketsu, so what is your answer, boy? He said, showing a big smile. Deku? But before accepting, can I ask you something? He said shyly. Hashirama. What do you want to ask me, Midoriya? Deku? It's that I have an adopted daughter and I want to know if I can stay with her in the Shiketsu dorms since I don't have anyone to leave her with to take care of her for me. Hashirama. There's no problem, in fact there's a school for boys next to the academy, she can go there if there's no problem. Deku? Then I accept the proposal, Mr. Director. Hashirama bienvenido Midoriya Shiketsu dai ho feliz estarando la mano al frente de Deku. Deku? Hi. He said to reciprocate the greeting. Chapter 4. First day, new friends and a call. Minutes before. Eri and Uraraka were heading to the dorms to spend time with Eri, luckily they ran into the girls and seeing her with Eri they ran towards them. Sakura. But look at what a pretty girl, she said while hugging Eri. Rin. You're right, Sakura looks so cute, she said blushing and putting her hands on her cheeks. Jane. Yes, she is very pretty, she said excitedly. Carla. You're right, he looks very adorable with the horn on his forehead, she said seriously, but with a blush on her face. Kimi. They're right, and Uraraka, who is the girl? Wait, don't tell me she is, she said when she realized who it was. Uraraka. Yes, she is Deku's daughter, her name is Midoriya Eri, go on, say hello, darling she said so Eri could greet the girls. Ulkimi. What? Is your daughter? They shouted surprised to know whose daughter she was. Uraraka. Yes, she is her daughter, but adopted she said to calm her companions. Rin. Oh and who is your mother little Eri said getting to Eri's height. Eri. It's Mama Achako she said while hugging Uraraka's leg. Jane. Wow, Achako, I see you don't waste time she said while looking at her with a mischievous smile. I hope you don't give her siblings so soon, she said with a mocking tone to make Uraraka blush. Uraraka. What are you talking about? Jane. I don't want that for now she said the last part in a whisper and blushing. Himi. So that means we are her aunts. She said excitedly seeing Uraraka with her eyes emitting sparkles. Uraraka. What do you say Eri, would you like them to be your wonderful aunts? Asking the little girl with a smile. Eri. Yes. How great now my family is bigger she said happily and with a big smile. Uraraka. Okay, so what do you want to do? Asking her daughter. Eri. I want to play she said excitedly jumping with happiness. Carla. What do you want to play? Eri. Let's see what I want to play she kept thinking with her finger on her chin exactly like a Chaco, some thought and others thought it very adorable. I know I want to play hide and seek. Rin. Then Carl will be hidden, you will count and the rest of us will hide she left happy but determined to win. Carla. Are you crazy? Rin, I don't want to count. I met and finished seeing Eri's face, which was turning sad with puppy eyes. I see you know the key, she said, looking at Eri and giving a big sigh. Okay, I'll do it, hide, I'll count to 100, she said, then stood against the wall and counted. Kimi run, girls run. She shouted and then ran away. They all ran everywhere as soon as Eri ran to the men's area without looking ahead where she collided with someone and fell to the ground. When she looked up she met Nagasa who helped her get up. Nagasa. Sorry girl, but you're not watching. Tell me, who are you and what are you doing here? He asked, looking at the girl. Eri? So. I'm Midoriya Eri and I'm playing hide and seek with my mommy and aunts she said a little nervously. Nagasa. So Midoriya, he said seriously well, who would have imagined that Midoriya Izuku was a father, but well, it wasn't expected wait, he said mother and aunts he thought, and then spoke again tell me, Eri, who is your mother? He asked. Eri. It's Mama Achako she said happily showing a smile. Nagasa. So you're Raka, well I'll have to talk to her and scold her for not telling me she was a mother, then that means I'm your uncle, you can call me Uncle Mora he said, looking at Eri with a happy tone. Eri. Really she said excitedly with little stars in her eyes well Uncle Mora, can you help me hide? Nagasa. Okay, come follow me he said as he walked and opened a trunk that was next to the living room sofa look, go in there, and when I don't see any of the girls, I'll knock and you leave, okay receiving a yes from Eri and entering the trunk. Returning to Carla, she finished counting and started looking for the others. Minutes passed and she had already found everyone except Eri, who started going to the men's area and upon entering, she found a Nagasa reading a book. Carla. Hey Nagasa, did you happen to see a white-haired girl with a horn on her forehead? He asked a little annoyed because he practically already looked everywhere. Nagasa. White-haired girl oh I know, she went to the second floor. Carla. Thank you was what she said and then went to the second floor. Nagasa, seeing that Carla left, touched the trunk where Eri came out once, then ran and said 1, 2, 3 for me and all my friends, thus winning the game. Back with Deku, he was leaving Hashirama's office to grab his phone and call Uraraka. Deku? Hello Uraraka, I have something to tell you he said happily talking on the phone. Uraraka. What is Deku wait don't tell me what she said when she realized what her friend was going to say to her. Deku? Yes Uraraka, I'm already part of Shiketsu. Tomorrow I'll start. I'll be in class too and we'll be classmates. He said excitedly. Uraraka. That's great wait, what will happen with Eri? Should I let you come live in the dorms? She asked, waiting for a yes because she wanted to spend every day with Eri and Deku. Deku? Yes, she told me she can be with us and gave me papers so I could enroll her in the school next to the academy he said this and then heard several screams. From women on the other end of the phone Uraraka, what happened? He asked worriedly. Uraraka. Nothing Deku, it's just that my classmates are happy that Eri is staying hey, no wait she said forcing herself and then remaining silent. Well Midoriya they asked on the other side of the line. Deku? If he speaks, what is it? He asked, not knowing the voice. Sakura. My name is Sakura and I wanted to know if Eri could meet us tonight. Deku? If there's no problem, in fact I was going to ask Uraraka if I could take care of her at night because I have to do some things. Sakura. Then I'll say goodbye Midoriya she said goodbye and then hung up. With that, Deku went to the mall to buy everything he would need for tomorrow, such as new notebooks, pencils, pens, personal hygiene products, etc. As soon as he finished, he went to the apartment and picked up his and Iri's things and went to Shiketsu. Upon arriving, he could only find Uraraka and Iri watching a movie while eating mochi. When she realized that Deku had arrived, Iri ran and hugged him. "Iri? Daddy. I missed you so much," she said, hugging him tighter. "Deku? Me too, Iri and Uraraka, where are the others?" I asked why there was no one else but the two of them. Uraraka. "Well, the boys went to train and the girls went to buy food," and reported. "Deku? I see, and why didn't you go with the girls along with Iri?" he asked, intrigued, making Uraraka blush. Uraraka. Bu. "Well, it's that I stayed to take care of Iri because I wanted to see you," she said nervously and blushed. "I can't tell him that I'm staying because I wanted to see him, it would sound very strange and stalker," she said in her mind, still blushing. Deku. "Well, I'm going to get ready for tomorrow, so good night and I want you to behave, Iri," he said, then went to the hidden room, guided by the paper where it was written down which room and floor his room is on. The next day Deku woke up early, took a shower, then got out and put on his uniform, and then looked in the mirror. Deku? "Well, it's my first day at a new school and new classmates, so let's go," he said to himself, and then he walked downstairs where he met Nagasa and Anasa having breakfast. As soon as they saw Deku they stopped. "Deku? Hi. Hello, boo. Good morning," he said nervously upon receiving the cheers of the two present. Nagasa. Midoriya Izuku, hero name. Deku, he said seriously, and then stood up and stood in front of Deku, making him nervous. "It's a pleasure to meet you, although we did a year ago," he said, and then extended his hand in front of him. Deku. "The pleasure is mine, Nagasa," he said, surprising the aforementioned. "You wonder how I know? Well, it's because Uraraka told me about you, that she considers you like an older brother," he said, while returning the greeting. "It's a pleasure to meet you too, Anasa," he said, looking at him, who just smiled. "Uraraka also told me a lot about you, that you are also like a brother to her." Anasa. "Nice to meet you, Midoriya, I hope we can be friends," he said with a smile. Deku. "Of course I would like it very much," he said, also showing a smile. Nagasa. "Would you like to join us for breakfast?" he asks, heading to the table to sit down. Deku. "Yes, I like." He didn't finish speaking until he heard a scream being knocked to the ground by a little girl. Iri. "Good morning, Dad," she said happily, showing a big smile. Deku. "Good morning, Iri, did you sleep well?" he asked as he got up with Iri. Iri. "Yes, Daddy, I had a lot of fun with Mommy and my aunts," she said happily. Deku. "How good, do you want to have breakfast?" he asked while heading to the kitchen, receiving a yes from Iri. Anasa. "Hey Midoriya, wait," he said, drawing his attention. "Is she really your daughter, and who is the mother?" Deku. "Yes, but she's adopted," he said, and then went to the kitchen. "And her mother is Uraraka," he shouted from the kitchen, surprising Anasa that Uraraka is the mother. Minutes passed and he came out with chopped fruit with granola and honey for Iri, and for him and a third for Uraraka, who had already arrived. Deku. "Here is your breakfast, Iri, and yours, Uraraka," he said, giving them their respective plates and then sitting in the dining room with the others. Iri y Uraraka geishas papa Deku digerin mostrando on sonrisa. Everyone had a comfortable breakfast between talks, laughter and jokes and introducing themselves to Deku. He felt happy to have friends again. When they finished, they went to the classroom, but not before leaving Iri at her new school, where upon arriving at his classroom, he was surprised to see that his teacher would be hero number 4 Edshot. Edshot. "Welcome, young Midoriya," he said upon seeing him enter. "You will sit behind the young Uraraka," he said, while pointing at the empty seat behind the aforementioned. Deku. "Yes," he said, and then bowed and said, "It will be a pleasure to study with you." Edshot. "The pleasure is mine," he said, also bowing. After that, classes started normally, such as history, chemistry, math, English, etc. He really liked the atmosphere. He had to admit Shiketsu was better than UA, until the bell rang to give him time to go eat, where Deku could get to know his new classmates better. They were very funny, but his gaze was fixed on someone specific. Deku, what the hell is wrong with me? I can't stop looking at Uraraka, although I must admit she's very pretty. She has hypnotizing chocolate-colored eyes, her cute smile, and those blushes that make her look very tender. Wait, what am I saying? She's my friend, or could it be? No, I don't think so, I only feel friendship for her, right?" were the thoughts of Deku, who looked at Uraraka out of the corner of his eye while she was talking to Kimi. After finishing eating, they returned to the classroom and continued like this for several hours of very boring topics, until finally the door rang to indicate the exit, where Deku and Uraraka went to go to Iri's school to be able to take her to the dorms. They waited until she left, and on the way they talked very animatedly. Uraraka. "How was your first day of school, daughter?" she said while taking Iri's hand and starting to walk. Iri. "I did very well, mommy, I made many friends," she said happily, seeing Uraraka. Deku. Well, for behaving well at school we'll go for ice cream, he said, making Eri excited. On the way they went to the ice cream stand where they ordered them, and they made their way back to the dorms with their ice creams in hand happily while they talked. Deku could only smile, knowing that this would be a new beginning. Time skip. It's been a week since Deku entered Shiketsu. He had a good time, he got to know his new classmates better, he became best friends with Nagase who shared similar tastes in books, also a friend of Inasa who always talked about the new heroes when they were together, and Deku showed him his analysis books, which excited him, and then asked him to read them, and Seiji, who at first was difficult to start a conversation with, but finally they managed to talk well. Of course he also became friends with the girls, he loved them as if they were his sisters, but he felt a murderous instinct when one of them hugged him or took him by the arm, who, upon realizing who was coming, was surprised because it emanated from Uraraka, but anyway, he was happy. It was Monday afternoon, Deku could be seen with all his classmates returning to the dorms since they had finished classes and were planning to watch a movie, but then Deku received a call from an unknown number. Intrigued by who it was, he told Uraraka to go get Eri, who was accompanied by Kimi and decided to answer. Deku? Who is speaking? He asked and then received an answer from the other side. Listen, I know who made the video in which you gave information to the league, speaking with a serious tone. Deku? Wait, you're. Chapter 5. UA. 1 week later, discovering the truth and I'm leaving UA. A week has passed since Deku was accused of being a traitor, and there were many changes all around. He gave the OFA to Mirio, Momo started his relationship with Iida, but we focused on a boy with spiky ash blonde hair who was in his seat thinking while waiting for Izawa to arrive to start classes. Bakugo. This is very strange, who would be capable of creating such a video to get rid of the nerd, although it is very strange that Ponytail forgot Deku very quickly and left with a side character, it is very strange, this smells very bad to me, he said, while seeing Momo and Iida being embraced while they kissed and remembering what happened 4 days ago. Flashback. 4 days ago. Bakugo could be seen returning to the dorms after a mission he carried out at the Best Jeanist agency. When he entered, he was able to meet Momo on Iida's legs, kissing passionately. Bakugo was bothered by that because she is supposed to be with Deku, but he went to Deku's room, thinking that he saw that and that she would be crying. Bakugo narrates. Damn bitch, she's supposed to be with Deku, he must be devastated and crying for her, what an idiot, I'd better go check on her before she does something stupid like always. End of the narration. Bakugo went to Deku's room. When he arrived, he couldn't hear any noises inside, so he knocked without receiving an answer. He waited and knocked louder until he got desperate and entered. He could see the entire dark room full of dust and see a letter where it could be read that Deku was expelled. With the letter in his hands, he ran to Almight's office without knocking, he opened the door suddenly and saw him drinking tea. Bakugo. All Might, can you explain to me why the hell the nerd was expelled? He said angrily while throwing the letter at him. All Might. I see that you have not been informed yet, young Bakugo, but he was expelled for being a traitor of UA, he said seriously, while Bakugo could only clench his fists and grind his teeth. Bakugo. That is a bucking lie, All Might. The damn nerd can't be the one who was brought in. He said, shouting and then breathing and speaking again, but in a normal voice but still angry. I know that bastard very well, he could be anything but a traitor. All Might. If you don't believe me, see it for yourself, he said seriously while showing him the video that Momo gave him during the video. Bakugo remained silent while frowning at the end. All Might spoke. Now you believe me, he said to look at Bakugo again, but he was surprised to see him with his eyes downcast. Bakugo. All Might, he said with a serious tone and then looked up. That damn video is fake, damn idiot, still serious and with a noticeable tone of fury in his voice. All Might. How are you so sure of that, young Bakugo? He said looking directly into his eyes. Bakugo. First, that day I was with him, he was calling a friend of his from Shiketsu to help him choose a gift for his girlfriend. Second, the video is edited, you can see how Deku's movements are repetitive. And third, the voice is a mixture of several conversations. He said everything in a cold way looking at Almight, who was surprised. Almight. Wow, what was the only thing that came out of his mouth after what Bakugo said? Bakugo. I see that you didn't analyze the video well, and you didn't believe the nerd, he said to stand up and walk to the door and stop. He really admired you, and knowing that the person who was his example turns his back on him is a low blow, he said, and then turned to look at him. Now I don't know who was worse in making him suffer, if you were me, but now I know you were the one who won, he said to leave and close the door. Almight. I remained speechless. Bakugo was right, he was the worst at not believing in the word of his pupil and successor. End of flashback and time skip. Bakugo. Damn Almight, you are an idiot for not believing in the nerd. Now I have to find out who blamed Deku, so I can get out of this place. I won't be with damn scum who betray their teammates, but who will it be, he thought while he looked at each and every one of his teammates until his gaze fell on Momo and Iida. Unless. But his thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of Izawa. Izawa. Well brats, open your books on page 76, he said with a tired tone. Time passed and then the doorbell was heard to go eat. Bakugo could see how Momo and Iida were leaving together. So he decided to follow them from afar to find out if they were the ones who framed Deku. On the way, Bakugo was getting desperate because he still hadn't heard anything important, so he decided to leave, but he was stopped when he heard Iida say something that interested him. Iida. Hey Momo, remember when you got that idiot out of our way? He said while looking at Momo. Momo. How can I forget it? It was the best day of my life. I remember it like it was yesterday. She said with a smile while Momo recounted it as if it were something normal. Flashback. Momo could be seen furiously trucking to Iida's room after being finished by the useless Deku. Upon arriving, she opened the door suddenly and saw Iida lying on his bed reading. Iida. What happened, love? Why are you angry? He said, standing up to hug Momo by the hip and pulling her towards him. Momo. That idiot Midoriya found out about us and broke up with me, and I don't want him to get away with it, but not before getting what he deserves, she said angrily, then wrapped her arms around Iida's neck. Iida. And how will we get revenge on him? He said, surprising Momo with what he said. Momo. Will you really help me? She said as she approached him. Iida. Of course I will help you, I will not let him get away with it, and I will get revenge for making you angry, princess, he said, and then passionately kissed Momo when they separated, and then looked into each other's eyes and thought about how to get revenge on Midoriya. Momo. I know, how about we make a video where we see Midoriya giving information to the League of Villains so that the teachers believe that he is the traitor, she said, and then turned to look at Iida, who only nodded. After deciding, they began to interfere with the UA camera system where they were able to get a shot where he and Bakugo are seen, and it was perfect since Deku was calling on the phone, so they only eliminated Bakugo from the scene and made the video only show him, making the video repeat itself over and over again while they joined conversations that they had recorded from Midoriya in the video, thus making it believe that the video could be seen Deku talking to Kurogiri to give information about the security system that they obtained by entering the UA network. Iida. And that's it, we're done, and now what do we do? Do we hand it in to the director now? He asked, seeing Momo, who formed a smile. Momo. Yes, but first I want to have fun with you, she said in a flirtatious way, and then threw herself at Iida, knocking him down on his bed while they kissed with desire. End of flashback. You could see Bakugo surprised by the revelation, so he decided to leave to process what he heard, so he decided that when classes were over he would face them, and so he entered the classroom to continue classes. Bakugo was desperate, he wanted them to end. A while passed and classes ended, everyone left except Momo and Iida, so he decided to talk. Bakugo. Hey, wait a moment, he said to make them stop. I know you were the ones who got Deku expelled, he said, surprising the two, so they then took a stand. Iida. What are you talking about, Bakugo? He didn't finish speaking because Bakugo interrupted him. Bakugo. Don't lie, side character, I heard them at lunch talking about how they made the video that incriminated the nerd, he said angrily, and then was surprised to hear a laugh from Momo. Momo. Bakugo, 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 she repeated over and over again while walking towards him to stand next to him and hug him by the neck. Tell me what you are going to do now. You will go with Nezu and tell him that we were the ones who framed Midoriya. Bakugo. Yes, I'll tell him so you don't get away with it, he said, a little nervous about Momo's attitude. Momo. Now tell me, Bakugo, if you go to who will they believe, the student who has the attitude of a villain dressed as a hero, or a recommended student with a powerfully rich family and a student with a great dynasty of great turbo heroes, she said seriously while releasing Bakugo and walking towards Iida to hug him. Then tell me what you will do, from my point of view you have everything to lose, she said, and then left with Iida, leaving a Bakugo. Bakugo. Damn bitch, she's bucking right, they would never believe me, so the best thing would be to leave UA, he said, and then left the classroom in the direction of Nezu's office. But first I'll call Deku, he has to know, he said while taking his phone and dialing his number. Deku? Who is speaking? He asked and then received an answer from the other side. Bakugo. Listen, I know who made the video in which you gave information to the league, speaking with a serious tone. Deku? Wait, you are Kakin, he said, surprised to know who was talking to him. Bakugo. Of course it's me, stupid nerd, he said, a little irritated. Deku? I'm sorry, but tell me who made the video? He asked seriously. Bakugo. They were side character and Ponytail, he said directly. The nickname surprised Deku, who just let out a big sigh. Deku? Sigh, I imagined it, and what will you do now, Bakugo? He asked, intrigued. Bakugo. I'm leaving UA, he said, surprising Deku. I already know what you're going to say, why are you doing it, Kakin? I don't suppose it was your dream to be in UA, he said, trying to imitate Deku's voice, and it's because, as they say, those who don't believe in their classmates are worse than scum, and I'm not scum. Deku? Wow, I didn't expect that from you. Hey Kaken, why don't you come study Shiketsu with me? He said, surprising Bakugo. Bakugo. Wait, are you studying at Shiketsu? How? When? And why? He asked, intrigued to know why he's there. Deku? Well yes, I studied at Shiketsu for a week because the director of Shiketsu knew that the video was fake. And how do you remember Uraraka? He asked, receiving a yes. Well, she was the one who spoke with the director who was looking for me to propose that I study with them, and now I am here. He finished counting, leaving Bakugo astonished. Bakugo? Who would have thought you'd meet your round-faced girlfriend? He said mockingly. Deku? What are you talking about, Kaken? We have always been friends. He said nervously with a big blush. Bakugo? Hahaha, you never realized she likes you, idiot. What? Bakugo said, surprised Deku a lot. Deku? I don't think so, it's just a good friendship, if that's just friendship. Bakugo? If you say so, then I'll think about going to Shiketsu, so I'll leave you. I've already arrived at the director's office. Bye, Deku. He said, then hung up and knocked on the director's office door, receiving a pass from the other side. Nezu? How can I help you, young Bakugo? He said with a smile. Bakugo? I want to unsubscribe, he said seriously, surprising Nezu. Nezu? What the why, young Bakugo? He asked, amazed by the sudden decision. Bakugo? That doesn't have to matter, so please I want you to let me go. After saying that, director Nezu gave him some papers that he had to sign and then retreat to the dorms where he packed but was stopped by someone. Hey Bakugo, where are you going? He said when he saw him coming out of the bedrooms. Bakugo? What do you care about shitty hair? He said, annoyed. Hiroshima? Tell me why you have those suitcases. He said when he realized that he had his suitcases with him. Bakugo? Do you want to know why I have my bags? He said, a little irritated because he wanted to leave that place and then left his bags on the floor and looked at him again. It's because I'm leaving the UA. He said angrily and then took his bags and left, closing the door. Hiroshima? He just stayed silent as he watched his friend leave. Chapter 6. New partner. Reunion of old friends. After Bakugo's call, Deku was surprised. Momo was the one who accused him of being a traitor. For some reason, his heart was crushed because he still loved her with all his heart, but he knew that he had to forget her. Continuing to remember her would hurt him more. But on the other hand, he remembered Bakugo's words. Flashback. Bakugo? Who would have thought you'd meet your round-faced girlfriend? He said mockingly. Deku? What are you talking about, Kaken? We have always been friends. He said nervously with a big blush. Bakugo? Hahaha, you never realized she likes you, idiot. What? Bakugo said, surprised Deku a lot. End of flashback. Those words stayed in Deku's head and all he could think was, does she really like me? No, I don't think so. Why would she notice me, but am I in love with her? He asked, and then an image of Uraraka giving him a smile appeared in his mind, which made him blush, but he better let it go. The week has passed since Bakugo's call. Deku felt in Shiketsu he already had great friends, but there was something that made him feel strange every time he was with Uraraka. He felt like all his worries went away. Every time she smiled, his heart beat, and when he looked into her eyes, he could get lost in them because of how beautiful they were, but he was afraid that the same thing would happen to him as with Momo. He wouldn't be able to stand it anymore, much less from her. So he better keep it to himself and see what happens. Anasa? Hey Midoriya, he spoke when he saw him enter the classroom. Deku? What do you need, Anasa? He said to sit next to him. Anasa? Did you know we'll have a new partner? He said, confusing Deku a little. Deku? A new partner? Deku wondered if someone came to mind, but he wouldn't believe how quickly. Sakura? If you didn't know, Midoriya is said to be very strong, she said excitedly, joining in their conversation. Anasa? If he is also one of the candidates to become number one like you, I want to meet him, he said with great emotion. Deku? Of course, I want to meet him too, he said with the same emotion as Anasa, and do you know his name? Anasa? I really don't know, but look, Nagasa is here. I'm going to ask her. He said as he stood up. Hey, go with Nagasa. Elku just stayed reading a book thinking who it would be. He had a hunch, but he didn't believe it was him. It was too soon for him to come. But he was taken out of his thoughts when he saw a certain chestnut approaching him. Uraraka. Hey Deku, I was wondering if today the girls and I can take care of Yuri all afternoon. She asked while playing with her fingers. Deku? Uraraka, you know you don't have to ask me, after all you are her mother, right? He said, but when he realized he blushed. Uraraka. Boo. Well, I'm sorry, but I wanted to ask you anyway. I didn't want you to worry, that's all, she said nervously and blushing at what Deku said. Deku? Don't worry Uraraka, if she's with you I know she'll be safe, and what will you do? He asked a little intrigued. Uraraka. We'll just watch movies while we eat, that's all, she said, then showed a smile. Deku? That smile, that damn smile that makes my heart beat faster, he said in his mind while he saw Uraraka smile. Oh, then it's okay, just don't give him too many sweets, remember that when he eats too many he doesn't sleep. Uraraka. Yes Deku, don't worry, there won't be any sweets, we'll only eat pizza, and to drink it will be orange juice that Kimi made this morning. Deku. Uraraka, do you know who the new partner is? I asked to see if maybe she knew. Uraraka. No, not really, but well, I'll leave you. I have to talk to Kimi about this afternoon. She said, then said goodbye and went with Kimi. In the Shiketsu hallways, Edshot could be seen walking with a young man as they headed to the Edshot group lounge. Edshot. Well, it's a surprise to have you here, young man, he said looking at the person next to him. I know, but I didn't want to waste any more time and be left behind in becoming number one, he said seriously, looking straight ahead. Edshot. I like that determination in you, young man, he said happily and proudly. They continued their way in silence until they reached the door of the Edshot classroom and told him to stay outside to introduce him. Edshot. Well guys, I have to tell you that you have a new partner, he said to surprise his students and excited to meet him. You can come in. When the door opened, everyone was surprised to see one of the best of UA. It was Bakugo Katsuki who entered. Bakugo. Hello, my name is Bakugo Katsuki, hero. Ground Zero, he said seriously and then saw Deku who is behind Uraraka. Edshot. Well, meet your companions, I have to go now, I'll be back, he said and then left. Deku. Kakin, he said seriously and then stood up and got a little closer to Bakugo. Bakugo. Deku said seriously to look directly into his eyes. Anasa. Because the atmosphere became tense, he said looking at both of them. Rin. I feel a lot of pressure, she said, looking at them nervously. Carla. Uraraka, you know. Do you know what's going on? She asked when she saw that it didn't affect her. Jane. I have a bad feeling, she said while looking at them with concern. Uraraka. And they're right, she said, drawing everyone's attention. It's better if we go to the back of the room. As soon as she said that, everyone ran away. Deku Kakin, he said while raising his hair. Bakugo. Deku, he said doing the same and then running in the other's direction to clash hands up and down at high speed. Carla. What the hell are you doing? She said as she watched them with a drop of sweat on her forehead. Bakugo. Ha Deku, he said and then hit him in the face with an explosion to crash into the wall. Ha 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 Deku Ven, he said and then received a blow wrapped in flames to be crashed into the other wall. Jane. It's serious, she said, not believing that the two best heroes were acting like children. Uraraka. Just ignore them and that's it, she said calmly and then heard the laughter of the two. Bakugo. Damn, it's good to see you again, Deku, he said while shaking his hand. Deku. Same here Kakin, he said while making the same gesture and they leaned on the desk. Bakugo. Ready, he said with a smile. Deku. Now, he said and then gathered strength and activated his quirk. Anasa. It feels very hot. Nagasa. Does it come from those two? He said surprised. Sakura. They are amazing, she said amazed. Uraraka. That's all, she said and then took a notebook and walked to where Deku was. Deku, stop behaving like a child, she said and then hit him on the head with the book. Deku. It's Reall Uraraka, he said with pain after having received the blow. Bakugo. I see your girlfriend has you under control, Deku, he said mockingly. At that the two blushed. Uraraka. We are not boyfriends, we are just friends, she said quickly but with a blush. Instead Deku felt sad for some reason. Bakugo. Well, if you say so, he said and then headed to a seat. At that the teacher arrived and started classes. Everything went normally. Along with lunch, some introduced themselves with Bakugo. Everything was going well. Deku was happy to have his old friend with him and that he was the only one who believed him. That's how it went until the time to leave, when they left early because the teacher didn't come. Bakugo. Hey Deku, where are you going? He said when he saw him leave. Deku. I'll go for Eri, who is at school with Uraraka. Do you want to come? He asked while Bakugo thought. Bakugo. Yes, because it's been a while since I saw Eri, he said while he took the path to where Deku was to wait for Uraraka. Uraraka. Deku, are you ready, she said but was surprised to see Bakugo with him. What are you doing here, Bakugo? She asked surprised. Bakugo. I'm going with you, I want to see my niece, he said and then started walking. The walk was fast, talking about classes until they arrived at school. Eri came out and, to see Bakugo, he ran to hug her leg. Eri. Uncle Kakin was what he said showing a smile. Bakugo. It's good to see you, Flea, he said while ruffling his hair. Uraraka. How was school, Eri? She asked with a smile. Eri. It went very well, mommy, she said happily and then grabbed Uraraka's hand. Bakugo. So mommy, he said hitting Deku on the ear. Deku. This is how Eri sees Uraraka, he said embarrassed. Eri. Daddy, what are we eating today? She asked, looking at her father. Deku. Well, today you will be with your mother and aunts so they will know now we are going back, he said, and then walked to the bedrooms. Upon arriving at the dorms they separated for a while, some were in their living rooms. In the men's room, only Bakugo was missing, who was finishing up his bedroom. In the women's room, only Kimi, who went out for snacks. Bakugo. Hey Deku, can I talk to you for a moment? He said seriously. Deku? Sure, let's go, he said as he left the dorms. Bakugo. And what would you do now that you know who accused you of being a traitor? He asked seriously. Deku? I really don't know what to do, Kaken, but I'll leave it like that. I want him to pay for everything he did to me, but he said nervously and afraid of what Bakugo would say. Bakugo? But what, Deku? He asked seeing his partner hesitate. Deku? But there is a part of me that still loves Momo, he said closing his eyes and waited a few seconds until he received an explosion from Bakugo. Bakugo? Are you an idiot or that Deku bitch tricked you and blame you of being a traitor and you still love her? You are a real stupid one. She yelled furiously at hearing such a stupid reason. Deku? Believe me, I know, I'm stupid. I don't know how I can still be in love with a person who made me lose everything. I don't know what's wrong with me, he said sadly and frustrated with himself. Bakugo? You are very stupid to continue being in love with her. It is better that you forget her and be with someone else like round face, he said looking at Deku on the ground. Deku? Yuri Uraraka no la si ha sido my carta amiya iri y también es my bonita pero I'm not sure if what I feel for her is love or gratitude, he said doubting himself. Bakugo? It seems that she likes you, Deku. I think you should give her a chance. Even Iri has already seen you as her mother and I don't know, maybe she is your second chance at love, he said, surprising Deku, who was left thinking for a moment. Deku? Maybe you're right, Bakugo, but I'll have to find out what I feel for her, he said, showing a smile, then getting up and entering the dorms. Chapter 7. Is love what I feel for you? After finishing his conversation with Bakugo, he went straight to his room where he stared at the ceiling as if the answer was there. Deku? Wow, I'm very confused. The truth is, Uraraka is very pretty. I love her hazel eyes. I like her smile and blushes that make her look adorable and tender. Well, I know what I'll do. I'll be with her all day tomorrow, and that way I'll find out if it's love or affection, he said, and then went to sleep. The next day Deku woke up excited to then take a bath and get ready to prepare breakfast, but before reaching the kitchen, he could find Uraraka preparing breakfast. She had her uniform, but also an apron. Deku couldn't help but think about being married to her. At that moment he blushed, and his heart beat very fast, but he was taken out of his thoughts by Uraraka. Uraraka. Deku, good morning, how did you sleep? She asked showing a cute smile that made Deku blush. Deku? Boo. Good morning, Uraraka. I slept well. How did you sleep? He asked a little nervously. Uraraka. I slept very well, thanks for asking, Deku, she said, still smiling. Deku? And where is Iri? He asked when he didn't see his daughter with her. Uraraka. She is in Kimi's room, she is getting ready to go to school. Oh right, Kimi told me if she can leave her and go get her from school. If you don't have any problems with that? She asked, looking at Deku. Deku? No problem, Edo Uraraka, he said calling her attention. Uraraka. Yes Deku, what's wrong, she said while placing the food on the plate. Deku? I was wondering if you wanted to go out with me on a date. I mean, if you want to. He said nervously with a blush. Uraraka. EHHH was what she said upon hearing the proposal, and then relaxed yes. Yes and no problem, she said nervously, but inside she was very happy to have a date with Deku. Deku? That's good then, after classes are fine, he asked to receive a yes from Uraraka. After the proposal they began to have breakfast while everyone went down to eat at the table. It was a pleasant atmosphere between laughter, jokes. It felt like they were a family when finished. Everyone went to the classroom where they had normal classes such as math and history in the first hour, and it was time to eat where everyone ate together, but Deku and Uraraka were nervous about the date they would have after classes that were noticed by Bakugo and Kimi, who would interrogate them after. Finishing they went to the classroom where they did not have classes because the teacher never arrived, so they went to the dorms. In the dorms, Deku was nervous about his date. He was looking at what to wear and choosing clothes, but he was interrupted when someone knocked on the door. When he opened it, he was surprised because it was Bakugo. Bakugo? Deku, why are you so nervous at lunch? Wait, why are you so dressed up, he said, seeing how he was dressed. Deku? Well, today I will know if what I feel for Uraraka is love or gratitude, so I asked her out on a date, he said, surprising Bakugo. Bakugo? Wow, I didn't think you would take the initiative so quickly, but good luck, he said before leaving. Deku? Well, I'll go for Uraraka, he said to close his room and go for Uraraka. Meanwhile, Uraraka was ready, but she was controlling her nerves for the date she would have with her secret love, but then her room was opened, scaring her, but then she calmed down when she saw it was Kimi. Uraraka. Kimi, you scare me because you come into my room like that. She said a little annoyed. Kimi. Why the hell didn't you tell me you were going on a date with Midoriya? She said seriously. Uraraka. How do you know I'm going on a date with Deku? She said, looking at her doubtful friend. Kimi. I didn't know, I was just hoping you would tell me yourself, she said, showing a triumphant smile at a surprised Uraraka. Uraraka. It's not fair, you tricked me, she said while pouting. Kimi. Well, tell us how you feel. She said, looking at her friend. Uraraka. I'm nervous, I don't know what to do on a date, she said sadly while lowering her head. Kimi. Well, what you have to do is, and that's how he told him everything he had to do and what he couldn't do in all possible scenarios and many more things, and that's all. Uraraka. Thanks for the advice, Kimi, now I feel more confident in myself, she said as she stood up and clenched her fist. Kimi. Well, I'm leaving because I have to go get my knee series, she said as she stood up and left. Uraraka. Okay, I have everything ready, bag, lipstick, a brush, wallet, money, well I have everything, honestly I'm lazy to put everything I have because it seems that women's bags never end, okay, I'll go with, but she didn't finish when she heard someone knocking, and when she opened it, she saw Deku. Deku? Are you ready, Uraraka, please show a smile. Uraraka. Yes, let's have fun, Deku, she said happily while taking Deku's hand. They walked until they reached the entrance of the Uraraka Academy. When she realized that she was taking Deku's hand, she separated, blushing. Uraraka. Sorry Deku, I didn't realize when I took your hand, she said embarrassed. Deku. Don't worry, I actually liked it, he said while blushing and taking Uraraka's hand to intertwine their fingers. Uraraka. So where are we going, Deku? I asked intrigued. Deku. What do you think about going to the plaza to eat and watch a movie? He asked with a smile. Uraraka. Yes. She said excitedly and then walked with Deku. On the way it was fun for both of them, they talked about trivial things and played jokes on each other. Deku liked every smile that Uraraka made, he also liked her blushes and her beautiful hazel eyes. He felt his heartbeat when he saw her happy. He is close to discovering his true feelings for the girl who is by his side. Upon arriving, they looked for a place to eat until they found a fast food restaurant where each of them ordered hamburgers and fries and sat on an empty bench while they ate. Uraraka saw that several girls were staring at Deku, making her angry, so she thought of doing something to declare that he was her Deku. Uraraka. Love, say ah, she said while giving him a chip in his mouth. Deku? It's. This one is. Of course, ah, he said while accepting the potato, showing a victorious smile and receiving jealous looks for that Uraraka. Why did you do that, he said, while seeing the smile that Uraraka had. Uraraka po.for know nothing about Deku, she said nervously, so that Deku could look around her and see several angry looks directed at Uraraka. Deku? Oh, I see you were jealous, he said, making Uraraka blush. Well, I think it's my turn, he said with a smile, so say ah darling, he said with a smile, making Uraraka blush like a tomato. Uraraka. It's. This. Good. Of. Deku, she said to open her mouth and take the chip and receive a kiss on the cheek. Deku? Well, I think you don't have to worry anymore, go on, let's finish so we can watch the movie, he said before eating. After finishing eating they headed to the cinema where Uraraka chose a horror movie and then bought popcorn, soda and candy. They entered the room. During the movie, Deku saw Uraraka scared and then he took her to hug her and give her a smile. When the movie ended, they left and walked in the plaza. Deku? I didn't know you were so scared, Uraraka, he said, looking at his companion. Uraraka. That movie was very scary, she said, scared while shaking a little. Deku, calm down, he said while hugging her. I'm here for you, he said with a smile and then stood in front of Uraraka. Uraraka, are you serious, Deku? She said as she passed her arms behind his neck. Deku? Yes, I will always be there for you, he said, showing a smile. Yes, I already discovered it is love that I feel for you, Uraraka. Maybe you are my second chance to love, he thought while looking into Uraraka's eyes. While they were slowly approaching to kiss for the first time, they were interrupted by a very familiar voice for Deku, causing him to separate from Uraraka to see who interrupted them. Wow, Midoriya, who would have thought you were already with someone else? He said in an angry voice when he saw him. Deku? It can't be, what are you doing here? Chapter 8. A bitter reunion. Deku? It can't be what you're doing here, Yaoyorozu, he said seriously and angrily when he saw her. Momo? Ooh, I missed you too, Midoriya, she said, pretending to be sad. And I see that you study in Shiketsu, she said when she saw the hat. A question, are those from Shiketsu required to always wear the hat? Deku? Answer, what are you doing here, he said seriously. Momo? I don't have to give you explanations, but I'm with the boys, she said showing a smile. Ooh, but look, we have the damn traitor here, said a voice. Deku? That Iida voice, he said furiously. Iida? Wow, you recognized me, he said while hugging Momo from behind. Eyes, what are you doing? asked a voice that was with a large group of people. Iida. Ah, hello Kirishima, we just met someone, he said seriously, seeing that everyone looked seriously at Midoriya except one. Mineta. Damn Midoriya, what are you doing here, you bastard? He said angrily. Todoroki. I didn't think I'd see you again, damn traitor, he said seriously. Kirishima. What you did wasn't manly, Midoriya, he said disappointedly. Sayu. I didn't think you were the traitor of all of them, Midoriya, she said seriously. Denki. What are you doing here, damn it? He said angrily. Deku. You don't care, he said seriously. Let's go Uraraka, he said as he went with her. Iida. If you better go with your bitch, he said so Deku would turn around and stand in front of this one. Deku. What did you say, damn it? He said while clenching his fists. Iida. I said go with your PE, but he didn't finish when he received a blow to the stomach from this one and then a kick to the face leaving him knocked out. Deku. Don't call him that again, imbecile, he said angrily and then left. Momo. Damn Midoriya, I'll make him pay again, you'll suffer Midoriya, I'll make you say you were never born, I'll get rid of you forever, she said it in a whisper, but it was heard by someone. So what Midori said was fake, I feel bad for not believing him, he was like my older brother, I have to talk to him so he can forgive me, those were the thoughts of one of the former classmates. Well, with Deku and Uraraka she could notice that he was angry, so she stopped making him do the same and hugged him. Uraraka. Calm down Deku, you know that we believe in you, she said while hugging him tighter. Deku. I know Uraraka, forgive me, but it hurts me. They were my companions and friends, and that they don't believe in me hurts me, especially for what I did for all of them. He said, also hugging her even tighter. Uraraka. Okay, calm down, I'm here and I won't let anyone hurt you anymore, she said with a smile. Deku. Thanks Uraraka, he said with a smile. After that they took the way back. Deku felt bad that his outing with Uraraka ended with a bitter reunion like that. He wanted it to be perfect and turned to see Uraraka and was surprised to see her with a smile. Deku. Uraraka, I'm sorry for ending our date like that, he said with his head looking at the ground. Uraraka. Don't worry, after all I liked being with you, she said showing a smile. And Deku, I want to ask you something, she said nervously. Deku. If you ask me what you want, Uraraka, he said showing a smile. Uraraka. Could you call me by my name? She said nervously while playing with her fingers. Deku was what he said blushing at the request. Uraraka. No, I better forget why Deku spoke. Deku. Don't worry, Yura. I say Ichako, but if you call me by my name, he said with a smile. Uraraka. It's okay, Izuku, she said with a big smile. On their way they were talking, making jokes and laughing, forgetting that unpleasant moment for Deku, who upon arriving at the dorm said goodbye. Deku went to his room and Uraraka went for Eri. In Deku's room, he was happy to know his true feelings for Uraraka, but he thought it was too early to tell her, so he would wait, but at the same time he felt angry when he met the person who gave him the best 8 months of his life, but he was taken out of his thoughts because someone knocked on his door. When he opened it, he found Bakugo. Bakugo. How did it go with round face? He said as he closed the door. Eek. It went very well for me, now I know what I feel for her, he said happily with a blush. Bakugo. Oh really, and what is it? He asked already knowing the answer. Deku. It's love, he said more blushing. Bakugo. No way, he said, surprised, then getting serious. I already knew it, idiot. Deku. How? He asked incredulously at what he said. Bakugo. When we were in UA and you called her, you always smiled like an idiot, also when you weren't with the plastic Barbie you always spoke wonders of her, and also, but he didn't finish because Deku interrupted him. Deku. Yes, I understand. I was always in love with her, but I didn't realize it because I was an idiot. Bakugo. You said it because you're an idiot, he said with a mocking smile, and what else happened? He asked curiously. Deku. I saw them, he said seriously. Bakugo. Who did you see, Deku? He said seriously. Deku. I saw the entire class A in the plaza, I saw Momo and also Iida who dared to insult Uraraka, he said angrily while clenching his fists. Bakugo. And you hit him, right? He said seriously but angrily. Deku. If I wasn't going to let anyone disrespect Ichako, he said seriously. Bakugo. You did the right thing, Deku, he said proudly, but realized something. Wait, you called her by her name, he said surprised. Deku. Well, yes, she asked me, he said nervously and blushing. Bakugo. What a handsome Deku, he said showing a smile seeing his friend rival happy. Deku. Well Kaken, what did you come for? I doubt you came to ask how my date went. He said curiously. Bakugo. I forgot, the furball said that tomorrow we won't have classes, he said surprising Deku. Deku. Great, tomorrow I'll take Eri to the plaza to spend time with her, he said happily. Bakugo. Why don't you wear a round face so that I forget the last thing today and spend time with you and Yuri, he suggested, making Deku smile. Deku? You're right, thank you, I'll tell him now, he said, leaving with Bakugo. In Uraraka's room, she was sitting on the bed with Eri on her legs while she fixed her hair. Uraraka. And how was your time with Aunt Kimi? She asked with a smile. Eri. I had a great time, mommy bought me some ice cream and we played, we also watched movies, she said, excitedly moving her arms. Uraraka. Haha, how good, and how did it go at school? Eri. It went very well, mommy. I learned many things and I also made more friends. She said happily. Uraraka. And you didn't make any friends? She asked curiously. Eri. Nope, I didn't make any friends. Uraraka. Why not, Eri, she said, surprised. Eri. Dad said I could have friends until I was 40, she said while crossing her arms and puffing out her cheeks. Uraraka. Haha, your dad, don't pay attention to him, he's crazy, make friends, don't worry, I'll talk to him, she said with a smile. Wow, Izuku is really jealous with Eri, I can't imagine when she gets a boyfriend, how he'll be, haha, she thought while she finished brushing Eri's hair, and that's it, you look very pretty. Eri. Thanks mommy, she said while hugging her. Uraraka. You're welcome daughter, she said, reciprocating the hug, but then there's a knock on the door. Who is it? She said, separating from the hug. Deku? It's me, Achako, can I come in? He said on the other side of the door. Uraraka. Of course Izuku, come in, she said, and then Deku came in and was greeted by a hug from Eri. Eri. Daddy, how have you been? She said, hugging him. Deku. Very well Eri, he said to pick her up and hug her while he walked towards Uraraka. Achako came to tell you something. Uraraka. Tell me what it is? She asked curiously. Deku. Tomorrow we won't have classes and I was wondering if you want to go with me and Eri to the plaza. What Deku said made Eri happy and surprised Uraraka. Uraraka. Is it really okay for me to go with you? Deku. After all, you're Eri's mother, right? Or what do you say, Eri? He asked his daughter with a smile. Eri. Yes mommy please, she said, making puppy eyes. Uraraka. How can I say no to that little face? I'll go with you, said a big girl to both of them. Eri. Yes, it will be a family outing, she said, happily raising her arms. Deku. Well then, I'll come by for you tomorrow, he said while giving Eri a kiss on the forehead and Uraraka a kiss too. Good night. Uraraka. Good night Deju, she said with a smile watching him leave. Damn, I should have asked him to sleep with us, she thought, disappointed. Eri. Mommy, tomorrow will be a great day, she said with a smile. Uraraka. Of course, now to sleep, she said as they settled down and fell asleep. Chapter 9. Family time and the arrival of someone unexpected. It was already daytime and you could see a little white-haired girl waking up while rubbing her eyes and then seeing her mother who was still asleep, so she moved her to wake her up. Eri. Mom, wake up, today we are going out with dad, he said while shaking her. Uraraka. I'm coming, daughter, good morning, she said, giving her a hug and a kiss on the forehead. Eri. Good morning mommy, can we go have breakfast? I'm hungry. She said, showing a smile when her stomach growled. Uraraka. Yes, but first we have to take a bath, she said as she got up and headed to her bathroom. Eri. Yes mommy, he said to follow her. After bathing and changing, they went down to find Bakugo, Kimi and Midoriya having breakfast. Eri. Good morning dad, Uncle Kakin and Aunt Kimi, she said while smiling and hugging each one. Uraraka. Good morning, she said with a blushing smile to Deku. Deku. Good morning, I hope you are ready for today, he said with a smile. Eri. Yes, dad, I want to go now, she said with great emotion. Uraraka. Yes, but first we're going to have breakfast. Kimi. So they're going out, it'll be like a family outing, he said with a smile. Deku. Well, if we want to spend time with Eri, he said, showing a smile. Bakugo. You two already look like a married couple, he said mockingly, making both of them blush. Kimi. It's true because they don't get married, he said, following Bakugo's game. Uraraka. EHHH. He said, blushing. It's this. I better go. I'm going to prepare breakfast, he said to run out. Eri. Dad, will you marry mom? She asked innocently. Kimi. Yes Midoriya, when will you marry Achako? She said with a mischievous smile. Deku. It's this one and I don't know. Someday, he said nervously and red as a tomato. After a lot of teasing from Bakugo and Kimi to our couple, they gave us green tea during breakfast. When they finished, they went to spend time with their family and took the subway to the park. Eri. Mom, can we go on the swings, I asked while pointing at the game. Uraraka. Sure, let's go. Izuku, are you coming? She asked with a smile. Deku. Yes, let's go, he said and then went with them. In the park they played all the games, on the slide, the horsey ride, the seesaw, etc., and then they ate ice cream. Afterwards, they went to the plaza to eat, where they ordered pizza. Eri. I can go to the games. Uraraka. Yes, we'll talk to you when the food arrives, she said, and then ran to the games. Deku. Ichako, what do you say if we go to the movies after eating? Uraraka. Yes, good idea, she said with a smile. Deku. You know Ichako, I like spending time with you, he said blushing. Uraraka. Really, I also like spending time with you, she said nervously. They spent their time talking until Uraraka noticed that several girls were staring at her Deku again, so she decided to act again, so she took advantage of the fact that the pizza had already arrived and it was time to call Eri. Uraraka. Hey Izuku, what if we go for our daughter? She said almost shouting so everyone could hear her. Deku. What's wrong Ichako, why are you screaming? He said, noticing the looks from the other girls again. Uraraka. Sorry, I couldn't help it, she said sadly. I know we're nothing, but she didn't finish because Deku spoke. Deku. Of course love, let's go for our daughter. He said to grab her hand and go to the games. After that they went for Eri to start eating while they talked and laughed. After that they got ready to go to the movies, where they decided to see an animated movie for Eri and then buy popcorn, soda and candy to watch in the theater. The movie started. Then Deku unconsciously grabbed Uraraka's hand throughout the movie. When it ended they saw that it was still early. Deku. Well, what do you want to do? He asked his two companions. Uraraka. We have to go to the beach, she said excitedly. What are you saying Eri? Eri. If I want to go, can we? She asked, looking at her dad. Deku. Yes, but first we have to go buy everything we need, he said, and then went to a swimwear store. Deku. Okay, you go get your suits and I'll get mine, he said looking at the two of them. Both yes. They said excitedly and then went for their outfits. After a while choosing swimsuits they decided to pay and go to another store to buy sunscreen, an inflatable ball, towels, sandals and an umbrella, and then go to the subway on the way to Dagaba Beach, where Uraraka was surprised to see it clean. Uraraka. Izuku, this beach wasn't the same as the one that was a dump before, I asked, still seeing the beautiful view. Deku. Yes, it was before I cleaned it, he said with a smile, surprising Uraraka. Uraraka. Izuku, you cleaned it, she said in amazement. Deku. Yes, it was very difficult to do it, he said, proud of himself for all the effort he made, but well, let's have fun. Uraraka. But first, she said to give him a kiss on the cheek that made him blush. Thanks for cleaning it, Izuku, showing a smile. Deku. I think it was worth cleaning it after all, he said with a blush, watching her walk with Eri hand in hand. After that they went into the locker room to put on their swimsuits and then had fun playing in the water. They also played in the sand where they made a big castle. Eri was very happy to spend time with her mom and dad. She was happy to be with them all day. They spent almost the entire afternoon on the beach and then went to the dorms to shower and have dinner. When they entered, they only found all their roommates in the living room watching a movie, some of their classmates talking and others having dinner. Deku. Well Ichako, I'll go take a bath and then continue playing with Eri, he said, cheering up the little girl. Eri. Yes, I want to play a board game, she said with her hands in the air. Uraraka. Okay Izuku, let's go Eri to take a bath to play, she said to go with Eri to her room. After that, everyone went to their room to take a bath and then put on more comfortable clothes and go to the dining room where they could play better. Uraraka. What game do you want to play? She asked a little girl next to her. Eri. She said with her finger on her chin, I already want to play snakes and ladders. Deku. Okay, I'm going to get the game, he said as he got up and looked for the game in the living room. Her classmates were in the room and saw Midoriya enter. Sakura. Hello Midoriya, she said while waving her hand in greeting. Midoriya. Hello, he said making the same gesture. This is a question, has anyone seen the game of snakes and ladders, he asked the girls. Rin. I think it's in the right drawer next to the television, Midoriya said, pointing to the place. Midoriya. Let me see, he said as he walked to the indicated place and found it. Yes, here it is, thanks Rin. Carla. Midoriya, she said calling his attention. Can I play? I'm already bored with the movie, she said while standing up. Deku. Of course, I don't think it will bother Ichako or Eri, after all if there are more players it will be more fun, right? He said to leave the room with Carla on the way to the dining room where Uraraka, Eri were, and to his surprise Bakugo was there, but he was eating. Deku. Barry Kaken, I didn't think I'd see you here, he said looking at him with a smile. Bakugo. Don't get excited Deku, I just came to eat, he said seriously. Eri. He's not going to play with me, Uncle Kaken, she said while putting on a sad face. Bakugo tsk since, he said and then stopped eating. Eri. Yes, and there's also Aunt Carla, how nice, she said looking at Carla, and she just smiled. After that they started playing where everyone had fun including Bakugo. They were playing for a while. While in the living room, Nagasa was reading a book drinking tea but stopped reading when she heard someone knocking on the bedroom door, so she got ready to go to the door. "Nagasa? Who could it be at this hour?" he said, looking at his watch that said 6 p.m. and then opening the door. "Hello, how can I help you?" he said politely. "Hello, is this Midoriya here?" said a female voice. Chapter 10. Seeking Your Forgiveness and the Betrayal of a Friend, Part a Half. "Nagasa? If who is looking for it?" I asked politely. "Oh right, how silly, Mina Shido, a friend of Midoriya, is looking for it," said the pink one smiling. Nagasa. "Oh well, follow me, it's in the dining room," he said, opening the door for Mina to come in. "Mina. Thank you," she said and then walked away. In the dining room, it was just Deku, Uraraka, Eri, and Bakugo. Carla left because she had things to do in her room, so Uraraka went to get more snacks and drinks, while Deku and Bakugo stayed with Eri until Nagasa arrived. "Nagasa. Midoriya, how nice that I found you." "Deku? Nagasa, what happened? Why were you looking for me?" he asked curiously. "Nagasa. Someone is looking for you." "Deku? Who is it?" "Mina." Yo Midoriya came out from behind Nagasa, surprising Deku and Bakugo and making Eri happy. "Eri? Aunt Mina," she said to run and hug her. "Mina. Eri, look how much you've grown, you look very pretty," he said while hugging her. Bakugo. "Raccoon eyes, concentrate and say what you came for," he said seriously. Mina. Going down to Eri. "First, my name is Mina Shido, no raccoon eyes," she said angrily, "and second, I come to ask for your forgiveness, Midori, for not believing that you were not the traitor of UA and distrusting my older brother. Well, if you still consider me your little sister," she said with her head looking at the ground. "Deku? Mina," he said as he stood in front of her. "I forgive you," he said, surprising Mina and Bakugo. "After all, I can't get mad at my little sister, or if after all you already believe me, so come and give me a hug, little sister," he said as he opened his arms for Mina to hug him. Mina. "Thank you, Midori," she said happily. "Uraraka. I've arrived with the things," she said, changing her attitude when she saw Deku hugging Mina. "Izuku, who is she?" she asked jealously. "Deku Achachako," he said scared. Mina. "She is Uraraka Achako," he said, surprising Uraraka. "So she is the one you always talked to when you weren't with Momo and when she always called you T," but he was silenced by Deku, who put his hand on his mouth. Bakugo. "Ha ha ha ha, time I was right," he said mockingly. "Deku? Yes, it's her, Mina," he said embarrassed, seeing Uraraka blushing. "Mina. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. I'm Mina Shido. I'm like Midori's younger sister," she said with a smile. Uraraka. "Nice to meet you, mine," she said with a smile. Bakugo. "Raccoon eyes, how are things going at UA?" he asked. Mina. "Don't tell me that, understand," she said angrily. Bakugo. "Sorry for the habit," he said unconcerned, "but answer how things are going." Mina. "Sigh, since the boys saw Midori in the plaza they have been angry and Momo wants to get revenge on you again for hitting Iida," she said worriedly. Deku. "I'm not surprised." Mina. "Midori, do you think I can be with you in Shiketsu?" I asked, surprising everyone. Deku. "Do you want to study here?" he asked curiously. Mina. "It's just that I don't want to be in UA anymore after knowing the truth that you're not a traitor." Deku. "I know, but you have to give up in UA," he said, making Mina feel sad. Uraraka. "Don't be like that, Mina, you can come visit us when you leave UA, you will be welcome here and Eri would be happy to see you," she said with a smile that made Mina feel better. Mina. "Thank you, Uraraka," she said with a smile. "I see that my brother is lucky to have you with him," she said, making Deku and Uraraka blush. Eri. "And Mina, do you want to stay and play?" I asked from the table. Mina. I can't," I asked looking at her. Eri. "Of course," she said excitedly. Mina. "Okay, I'll play for a while and then leave because it's a little late," she said looking at the time. After that, a week has passed where Mina has been visiting Midoriya and the others after classes. She no longer spent time with her classmates, she only left classes and went quickly to get to Shiketsu. The day was a normal day for Mina. She got out of bed with a big yawn while rubbing her eyes, then stood up and took a shower, and then went down to the dining room where all her classmates were. Mina. "Good morning, girls," she said with a huge smile. All. "Good morning." Toru. "Hey Mina, can I ask you a question?" he said, seeing Mina eating a bowl of chopped fruit. Mina. "If you ask whatever you want," she said while eating. Toru. "Why do you always leave after class?" Mina. "Because I have things to do," she said while eating. Momo. "More important than spending time with us, eh Mina?" she said disgustedly. Mina. "Well, you really want me to leave everything for you guys?" she said, annoyed by Momo's tone. Sigh. "Girls, please don't fight," she said, calming them down. Momo. "TSK for sure, and she's a bore around here," said Mina angrily, who stood up suddenly and pushed Momo. Mina. Look, shut up, you damn bitch. The only bore here is you, the one who was sleeping with someone else and had a boyfriend. She said, surprising everyone and angering Momo. I better go. She said, grabbing her things to leave the dorms. Momo. Damn alien, I'll make you suffer like Midoriya, I swear you'll regret insulting me like that, she thought angrily. Jiro. Yeah Momo, are you okay, he said while helping her stand up. Sigh. Momo, is what Mina said true? Kiro, she asked with her index finger on her chin. Momo. Of course not, I was never unfaithful to Midoriya, in fact he was unfaithful to me, he lied to surprise everyone. Toru. Who is that bastard cheating on you with? She asked angrily. Momo. He cheated on me with mine, she said, pretending to be sad while her companions were surprised. Jiro. How is it possible? He said without believing it. Sigh. Aren't they supposed to be like brothers, she said surprised. Toru. How did you find out that Elt was unfaithful to her? He asked, looking at Momo. Momo. It was when it was our 8-month anniversary, I was going to his room when I heard them talking and I heard them say. Momo's story. Deku. Mina, I don't want to be with Momo anymore, I'm fed up with her. I'm only with her for her money, but I'll break up with her to be with you, princess. Mina. I also want to be with you Midori because you didn't break up with the fat girl that morning, so we could be together without regrets. Deku. Maybe you're right, tomorrow I'll finish her off. Hey Mina, don't you want to have some fun before that stupid girl arrives? He said in a seductive voice. Mina. I would really like to, but this time I want it to last longer, she said in an excited voice. Deku. As you wish. End of the story. Momo. And that's what happened to me. After that, I ran away and locked myself in my room. She said while crying. Jiro. Calm down yeah Momo, the good thing is that now you're with someone who really loves you and that damn guy got what he deserved, she said angrily while hugging her. Toru. Yes, Momo, he wasn't worth it, he said while giving her a handkerchief for her tears. Sigh. I never believed her to be mine, I thought she was our friend, but I see she's a bitch, she said angrily. Momo. Thanks girl, she said showing a smile, haha you believed me, now we just need to find out how to make Mina leave you, she thought maliciously. Meanwhile, Mina was walking angrily until she reached the hallway where she was alone and hit a locker. Mina. Damn Momo, I hope one day all the bad things you've done come back to you, she said angrily as she entered her classroom, which was alone. I better relax. After all, I'll go out to see everyone in Shiketsu, she said with a smile. Back in the dining room, Momo had calmed down and was sitting at the table with her companions, who were talking until one of them brought up a specific topic. Jiro. Girls, do you think Mina is secretly seeing Midoriya? He said, drawing everyone's attention. Sigh. You're right Jiro, it's very strange that he always leaves in a hurry for a week. Kiro. Toru. And everything happened since we met her in the square, she has acted strangely since then, she said, agreeing with her companions. Momo. What do you say about following her after class? She said seriously. Toru. I agree, she said supporting her friend. Momo. So after class. All of them said in a serious tone. Momo. Thanks girl, she said with a smile, now it's time for you to go friend, she thought maliciously. Chapter 11. Seeking Your Forgiveness and the Betrayal of a Friend, Part 2 halves. After the meeting they went to their living room where they found Mina on her phone. They just walked past her. Mina didn't care. In fact, she was so busy texting that she didn't notice when her classmates arrived until someone pulled her phone out. Hey girl, said a male voice. Mina. Hello Kirishima, what do you need, she said leaving her phone on her desk to see it. Kirishima. I was wondering if you'd like to go out with me after school, he asked with a blush while smiling. Mina. I'm sorry, Kirishima, but I have something to do, she said sadly, but maybe another day. Kirishima. This doesn't matter, well I'm going, he said sadly as he went to his seat. After the talk, classes began, where Mina was very focused and answered everything, to everyone's surprise, since after classes Deku always explained the exercises and topics she didn't understand. When the bell rang for lunch, Mina went to the cafeteria to get her food and then returned to the classroom to eat. She didn't want to see Momo after their fight. Luckily for her, there was no one there, so she was able to eat peacefully. In the dining room, her classmates were talking about a specific topic. Jiro. Someone noticed that Mina is more focused in class, he said looking at everyone. Sigh. Yes, I noticed it too. I also saw her very focused on her phone, Kiro, she said seriously. Toru. Surely, and he was talking to that damn Midoriya, she said angrily. Momo. Well, if it was like that we have to follow her after class. After lunch, everyone went to the classroom to continue with classes. As soon as they finished, Mina went straight to the dorms. Today she would meet Deku in the plaza to buy some things for that afternoon, because that day they would watch a movie marathon with Uraraka, Bakugo, Eri, and the Shiketsu girls, who were good friends. After finishing she went to the station being followed by all the girls on the way. Mina is very happy to spend time with her new friends. She wanted to forget the incident of this morning. When she arrived at her stop, she got off and walked to the plaza where she saw Midoriya sitting on a bench. Deku? Mina, it's good that you arrived, he said as he stood up. Mina. Midori, sorry, it's just that I was late because I was looking for some things, she said with a smile. Deku? Okay, let's go, he said while grabbing Mina's hand. Mina? Yes, she said happily to walk with him. On the other side, the girls couldn't believe that Mina had a relationship with Midoriya. Momo, who only had a smile that her plan went perfectly, and more so now that she had witnesses, she could put her plan into action. Momo? What do we do, girls? Surely Mina will give Midoriya information about UA, she said feigning concern. Toru? It's true, you have to take photos to give them to the director so that she gets expelled, she said angrily. Sigh. Then we have to follow them, Kiro, she said, and then took out her phone and took pictures while they talked. Momo. My plan is going perfectly, she thought with a smile. Returning with Deku and Mina, they continued buying the things they needed for this afternoon, such as candy, popcorn, chips, soda, and pizza. It would be a great afternoon of movies for everyone. Mina. I think we have everything, no Midori, she asked her companion. Deku? Yes, Mina, we already have everything, now let's go to the dorms, he said, and then took the road to the train station. Meanwhile, with the others, they had taken too many photos for Mina to be expelled, so they went to print the photos and then go to the academy in the direction of Nezu's office. Upon arrival, they knocked to receive a pass. Nezu. Girls, how can I help you, he said with a smile. Sigh. Director, we have to tell you that Mina Ishido has been seeing Midoriya Kiro, she said seriously. Kiro? It's true, director, and he may be giving you information about UA's security. Toru. Look, director, here are the tests, he said while taking out the photos and showing them to him. Nezu. I can't believe when these photos are from, he asked holding one. Momo. They are from today, director, she said seriously. Kiro. Today we followed her because she has been acting strange for a week, he said, looking at the director who was still looking at the photos. Nezu. Well, girls, thank you very much for showing me these photos. We will take care of it from now on. You can leave. All. Yes, director, they said as they left the office. Momo. I finally got rid of you, mine, she thought with a smile. In Shiketsu everyone had a great time, it was a really fun afternoon, everyone ate while watching movies, Mina was so comfortable with everyone, she became friends with everyone, but especially with Uraraka, who Mina saw as a great partner for Deku. In her she saw that she really loved him, not like Momo, she saw that Uraraka was a great girl who could be with her brother, so she would help her, so that they could be together, and that Midoriya would forget Momo completely. Mina. Well guys, I think I'm going, she said as she got up from the chair. Eri? Are you really leaving, Aunt Mina? She said sadly. Mina. Yes, Eri, but tomorrow I will come take it as a promise, okay, he said while hugging her. Eri. Yes. She said while responding. Uraraka. It's good to have you here, mine. I hope you come tomorrow so we can talk. He said while hugging her. Mina. Yes, and you take care of my brother because he is very stupid, she said, making Uraraka laugh. Midoriya. Hey, that hurts, mine, he said sadly. Uraraka. Yes, I will take good care of him, she said as they separated from the hug. Deku. Okay, Mina, let's go, I'll accompany you to the station, he said as he left. Mina. See you tomorrow, God, she said with a smile while waving her hand. All. Goodbye, Mina. Raccoon eyes. They said goodbye so Mina and Deku could leave the dorms. After being accompanied by Midoriya to the train station and arriving at the dorms, she noticed that she was alone, only Momo was there, who, upon seeing her, just frowned. Momo. Hello, mine, how did it go with Midoriya? She said with a smile. Mina. How do you know I was with him? She said angrily. Momo. I followed you, mine, now you're accused of being a traitor, she said while throwing the photos at her. Mina. Damn daughter of a bitch, how dare you do this to me, she said angrily, while some tears escaped her. Momo. It's because no one messes with me without first receiving the consequences, she said while looking at her nails. Mina. You'll see that one day all the bad things you've done will come back to you, she said as she went to her room. Mina, upon arriving at her room, gathered all her things to put them in her suitcases to leave. She only left a note saying that she was leaving the academy. When she got down, she was still sitting on the couch. Momo. Oh, you're leaving so fast if you just arrived, she said mockingly. Mina. Look, Momo, you'll see that one day you'll lose everything and you'll be a prostitute earning only 1,000 yen to support yourself, and when that day comes I'll make fun of you, she said angrily. Momo. Oh, I'm so scared she said pretending to be scared. Keep dreaming, dear, that will never happen. Mina. Never say never because one day it can happen she said and then left the bedrooms. Once outside, Mina could only cry out of anger and frustration. She couldn't believe that the girl she once considered her friend would betray her like that, so she decided to go to Shiketsu's dorms with her things. In Shiketsu everyone is still in the living room talking. Eri wasn't there because she fell asleep and Uraraka left her in her room. After a while of talking they heard a knock on the door and saw the time, it was 10 o'clock at night. That seemed strange to them, so Deku opened the door and found Mina crying with her suitcases. Seeing her like that, he just hugged her. Deku? Mina, what happened to you, why are you like this and why do you have your bags? He asked worriedly, fearing the worst. Mina. Momo accused me of being a traitor, Midori said Tristan, still crying, hugging Mina. Deku? Calm down Mina, it's already over, you can stay here, after all the director already had your place just in case he said while hugging her tighter, I swear I'll make you pay for everything Yaoyorozu, I'll get revenge on you, I swear he thought angrily while hugging Mina tighter. Chapter 12. 1 week later, patrol and a threat appears. It's been a week since Mina was accused by Momo of being a traitor, but what Mina didn't expect was that her secret love Kirishima would call her the next day where she explained the whole truth about the false accusation about Deku and her, which the author was Momo Kirishima. Upon hearing such information she first got angry, then she got sad for Deku for not believing her, so she decided to be his infiltrator in UA, where he will tell them any play of Momo that could affect them, which she thanked with all her heart. This week Mina has been very happy in Shiketsu. She became very close to Uraraka and Kimi during that time, but especially to Uraraka, who has been helped by being with her older brother, making their relationship advance more, being closer than before, which made Mina and Eri happy. As for Eri, she has been very attached to her aunt Mina, who got angry with Deku for not letting her have friends. Right now it's Wednesday morning where you could see the entire group of Tuo from Shiketsu having breakfast together with little Eri, where they seemed like a family with a very pleasant atmosphere for everyone. After breakfast, everyone left Deku, Uraraka along with Mina, went to drop Eri off at her school. Already in Shiketsu everyone was waiting for the teacher to arrive. Headshot. Okay guys, today we will have a special activity he said, capturing everyone's attention. Nagasa. What kind of activity? Professor. He said seriously, holding his hand up. Headshot. Today they will patrol in pairs without hero supervision, what was said excited everyone in the room. June. Yes. Finally we will patrol alone she said excitedly. Carla. And it was time she said seriously, but inside she was excited. Sakura. How exciting, I'm nervous she said while shaking her hands. Kimi. How great, we'll patrol alone she said very happily. What do you think, Achako she said, looking at her, who was with a big smile. Uraraka. Yes. I'm very excited to finally show what I'm capable of she said, making a fighting pose. Headshot. But first he said getting everyone's attention Midoriya, Bakugo and Mina he said making the three pay attention. Do you three have your licenses and your hero suits with you? He asked seriously to the three boys. BBM. Here they are they said at the same time showing their licenses to the teacher. Headshot. And their suits? I asked looking at the three young people. Deku in our room sensei he said with a smile. Headshot. Okay now we will make the teams. The minutes passed and the couples were formed. Okay, here are the teams he said, showing a board with the names of the students. That a peculiar couple surprised all the students. The teams were Kimi and Carla, Nagasa and Asa, Sakura and Seiji, Rin Y Jane, Uraraka and Mina, Bakugo and Midoriya, etc. The team that caught the most attention was Deku and Bakugo, the two strongest aspiring heroes. As a team would be an unstoppable team. Headshot. Okay, go change and we'll see each other at the entrance of the academy, understood? He said seriously, looking at all his students. Everyone. Hi they said and then got up and left. Minutes passed and everyone was at the entrance along with the person who was their teammate, waiting for the teacher to arrive. Uraraka asleep with love. Mina. Achako, are you okay? She said, worried about her sister-in-law. Uraraka. I don't have anything, it's just that I wanted to be with Izuku she said, discouraged seeing him talking to Bakugo. Mina. Calm down Achako, when this is over you'll be able to spend more time with him she said, while patting him on the back. Hey, why don't you take advantage and wish him luck, she said, while gently nudging him on the arm. Uraraka. Do you think it would be okay? She said nervously while playing with her fingers. Mina. Of course, woman like that and you'll score more points with him and he'll know that you'll always worry about him no matter what happens she said with a big smile, encouraging Uraraka. Uraraka. Okay, I'll do it she said with a determined look while clenching her fist. Mina. Okay, now go for the woman she said while pushing her slightly in Midoriya's direction. Uraraka just walked looking at Deku on the other side. Mina tried to get Bakugo's attention as she could. After 4 attempts she succeeded. Bakugo understood what Mina meant. He also wanted to help her, so she would forget about that bitch Momo, so he waited a bit for Uraraka to come closer. Bakugo. Hey Deku, I'll be right back. I'll ask Rakunai something. I want to know if Ponytail isn't planning anything on us. He said as he slowly walked away. Deku. Fine, tell me if Kirishima gave us some information, he said, saying that Bakugo would just raise his hand. Sigh, how good that now we have someone to tell us any movement of that bitch, he thought angrily while clenching his fist. Uraraka. Izuku, she said nervously while touching his shoulder. Deku. Oh hello Achako, what do you need, he said showing a smile. Uraraka. I just wanted to wish you luck on your patrol, she said with a smile. Deku. I also wish you good luck Achako, he said while hugging her, making Uraraka blush. Uraraka. This is Izuku, I want to tell you something, she said with a slightly sad and worried tone. Don't hurt yourself please, and don't do anything reckless, okay? She said with a worried tone while burying her face in Deku's chest. Deku. It's okay Uraraka, I won't be reckless, and you too, I don't want you to get hurt, okay, he said while hugging her tighter without hurting her. Uraraka. It's okay Deku, I'll take good care of myself too, she said as she separated a little from Deku to show a huge blushing smile. Deku. Well, Professor Achako has arrived. Go with Mina. He said, then giving her a kiss on the forehead. That's for luck, Achako, he said with a blushing smile. Uraraka. Of course Izuku, then she said approaching Deku and giving him a kiss on the cheek. That's my way of wishing you luck, she said with a smile, and then left with Mina so that Bakugo could return. Bakugo. Og Deku, you and your round-faced girlfriend give you diabetes, he said a little disgusted by what he had seen before. Deku. Well, first of all she's not my girlfriend yet, the last part he said in a whisper, and second of all nobody forced you to look. Dead shot. Guys, come one from each team and take a paper. On this paper you will see the location you have to patrol. He said showing the papers, and then each one went and took one. Good, since you took them, you can open them. Deku. Look Kaken, we got Kamino, he said showing him the paper. Bakugo. Damn, why in that place? He said angrily, remembering what had to happen in that place. Minutes passed and everyone took different directions. In each patrol there were almost no villain attacks. Some only had minor jobs like stopping thieves or robbers. As for Team Bakugo and Deku, they had a boring patrol. They only stopped to take pictures or give autographs to people who knew them from the jobs they did as heroes. Bakugo. Damn, what a damn bore, he said annoyed. Deku. Calm down Kaken, maybe we have a problem to solve, he said, trying to lift his partner's spirits. Bakugo. I hope you're right, Nerdy said as he walked. Minutes passed and still nothing happened. To his surprise everything was very calm, something that gave Deku a bad feeling. As they were about to turn a corner, to his surprise a hero flies by from the other side of the street, embedding himself in the wall. Bakugo. Damn sons of bitches, who did that, he said while making explosions. Hero Strong said a gloomy voice between breaks, I want to see blood. Deku. Stop there, don't come any closer, he said in a fighting stance while the smoke cleared. Kill, I want to kill, he said as he approached little by little. Bakugo. Get away, damn it, he said while stretching his arm and forming a circle in the palm of his hand. Destroy heroes, I want to see their blood, he said, and then showed himself before both aspiring heroes. Deku. No tell me titt true, he said surprised seeing the figure before him. That is Nomu High Gamma, he said, scared seeing the creature before his eyes. Alta Gamma. I'll kill them heroes, he said while standing a few meters from both heroes. Chapter 13. Midoriya and Bakugo vs Nomu High Gamma. Both boys looked at the figure before them with fear. They would face the Nomu who gave a lot of trouble to the current number 1 and number 2 heroes, but that didn't matter. Now they had to stop him, no matter what happened, they had to protect the people, so both of them changed their faces from fear to a confident smile. Bakugo. Hey Deku, he said, drawing his partner's attention. Deku. What's wrong Kaken? He said while making a fighting pose. Bakugo. What do you think is our probability of coming out victorious from this? He said while preparing his arms. Deku. If I'm honest, I think out of 14 billion, he said, drawing Bakugo's attention, maybe we'll only win one, he said with a smile that reflected sadness. Bakugo. Hahaha Buck, we're lost, right, he said while he saw the Nomu's body muscles starting to grow. Then we have to die in the most macho way possible Deku, he said, while he propelled himself with explosions towards the Nomu. Hi Gamma. I'll kill you, he said as he ran towards Bakugo. The Nomu was preparing his fist to hit him, but Bakugo dodged it with difficulty with the help of his explosions and then gave him an explosion in the face, making the Nomu lose his balance. In that Deku used his telekinesis. Note. Remember that Deku has pyrokinesis. He can use telekinesis separately to raise several cars around him to throw them at the Nomu, who when the smoke cleared was received by the impact of all the cars, causing him to go through a building. Bakugo. Excellent movement Deku, he said standing next to him. Deku. Don't get too confident, that won't stop him, and as he said, you can see how the cars are moved roughly, showing the Nomu without scratches. Hi Gamma. They are strong, I will kill them, he said while running towards them at high speed. Bakugo. Oh shit, he said watching him trying to charge an explosion, but was hit in the face with the Nomu's fist sending him towards the store behind him. Deku. Kaken. He shouted as he saw his partner fly away but was grabbed by the face. Alta Gamma. You'll pay for that hit, you little bastard, he said as he lifted him off the ground. Now die. He said as he ran between the buildings. Deku could only bear the pain of going through the buildings. He felt like he was going to faint from the pain. However, Nomu stopped when he saw that he had gone through 20 walls and then thrown him back to the initial place against a car. Deku. Damn, we can't do anything to him, he said with a smile that reflected pain. Haha, but we mustn't give up, he said while getting up with difficulty. Hi Gamma. I see that you are still alive, he said as he walked towards Deku. Deku. Come for me, he said while his arms are surrounded by blue fire. And that the Nomu ran towards Deku, who only put his hands together to launch a burst of fire that the Nomu crossed with difficulty, while Deku increased the heat of his flames, causing it to explode and push him a few meters to show the Nomu without an arm and part of his face destroyed. To the amazement of the green-haired man, the Nomu began to regenerate at a surprising speed and then run towards Deku to hit him, who dodged it and then was taken by the ankle and slammed into the ground, causing him to spit blood. The Nomu was going to give the final blow, but then he heard a loud explosion and saw someone fly straight towards him and saw that it was Bakugo, who was bleeding from the head. Bakugo. Don't forget about my damn shit now, die. He said while removing the safety from one of his grenades and sending the Nomu far away. Hey Deku, what the hell are you doing on the ground? Deku. Oh nothing, I'm just enjoying the view from here, he said sarcastically looking at Bakugo, who just frowned. Better help me get up, he said while raising his arm and then being lifted. Bakugo. And now what do we do? He said looking at him. No professional has arrived yet. Deku. I doubt one will come, he said seriously. It's 9 o'clock in the morning and there are no agencies nearby, so we have to wait until they arrive. Bakugo. Ha, if we can do it, he said watching the Nomu get up. Near the place some people heard the explosion and saw how two of the best aspirants fought against the Nomu, who gave fight to the two best current heroes. Some took out their phones and began to record what was happening and cheered both young heroes. Deku. Haha, I think we have public ground zero, he said with a big smile. Bakugo. Then we must not lose, Deku, he said, wiping the blood from his forehead. Alta Gamma. Come heroes, he said opening his arms. Bakugo. Let's go Deku. He said as he launched himself at the Nomu. Deku. Yes. Doing the same as Bakugo. Both launched themselves against the Nomu at great speed. Bakugo used his explosions, which the Nomu dodged with difficulty. Since Deku manipulated his flames, the Nomu, who in a moment felt cornered, had to use his other Kasei, which consisted of wings that cause a great pressure of air that sent both heroes far away, so that he landed and increased his muscles and go against both, who with difficulty in that the Nomu takes Deku by the torso and slams him against the concrete. Bakugo, who pushed himself. The him was received by a punch from the Nomu. The spectators watched in horror as the two young men were massacred by the Nomu. Officers, reporters and helicopters arrived at the scene and broadcast the fight on all the news channels. Woman. It can't be, she said, seeing with tears the state of both boys. Where the hell are the professionals? Man. They haven't arrived yet, he said desperately. Man too. They will take a long time, the nearest agency is an hour away from here, he said worriedly. Woman too. Come on guys, don't give up. She shouted, encouraging both young people. Man 3. You can do it. Several people encouraged Deku and Bakugo, who were standing up with difficulty. In other places, several of their companions watched them in the store windows. The fight was frustrating for not being able to help them. They were the only ones who touched them. On the other side of the city, Mina and Uraraka looked at everything with surprise, concern, and tears because they were seeing how their older brother and great love was too hurt. Uraraka. No, see, can't be Izuku, she said while placing her hands on her mouth while tears ran down her face. Mina. Try calm down, he see can do it, she said also crying, hugging Uraraka. But Nagasa and Anasa. Nagasa. It can't be, he said seeing the state of both companions. Anasa. Damn, he said clenching his fists, I have to go help them. Nagasa. You realize that we are an hour and a half away from the road, right? He said seriously, looking at him. Anasa. I know, but I can't leave you alone, he said determinedly. Nagasa. Okay, go, but quickly, he said seeing him flying at full speed. The other classmates looked at everything in horror at UA. Kirishima looked at everything in his room since he didn't go to class because he got sick. He looked at how two of his friends were beaten mercilessly. He felt terrible and powerless to do anything. In the place Deku and Bakugo were tired and watched as the Nomu flew about 4 meters above the ground. Deku. Zero, I think we have to use the combined movement, he said seriously looking at the Nomu. Bakugo. Deku, you don't talk about, he said surprised, turning to look at him. Deku. If it's the only thing we have left, it's, as they say, desperate situations, he said with a smile. Bakugo. Haha, desperate measures, he said as he took flight. Alta Gamma. What's happening, you already know, give up, he said looking at both of them. Deku. You're crazy, he said while surrounding himself with fire, if we're just starting right. He said with a big confident smile. Now ground, he said watching Bakugo fly above him. Bakugo. Movement, he said, rotating on his axis. Deku. Combined, he said also flying down from him with the help of his fire. Both. Phoenix impact. They shouted at the top of their lungs. The people in the place and in front of the screens watched the combined attack of both young aspiring heroes. A fire phoenix was formed and flew at full speed towards the Nomu. Everyone prayed for the big attack to work and finish off the Nomu, who just watched the attack with a big smile. Hi Gamma. But what power, he said seeing the great bird of fire. Hi Gamma proclaimed them the strongest heroes of Kamino, he said, flying at full speed towards the attack. Everyone looked at the moment in amazement. The war cries of both young people could be heard inside the phoenix and the Nomu approaching it. Everyone recorded it. No one blinked to see such a moment. Both. Now die, they said a few meters from shore with the Nomu. Hi Gamma. They're great, come with all of it, he shouted, colliding with the bird. At the scene, a large draft was felt, then an explosion was seen and heard from the attack. The scene was silent, then 3 people were heard falling from the sky and hitting the pavement. People were desperately trying to see if the young men had won. After about 3 minutes, the smoke cleared and both young men were seen leaning against each other. In one of the helicopters, a reporter was talking about what had been seen. Reporter. This is incredible, both young men defeated the Nomu, I can't believe it, this is, but he didn't finish when he saw movement on the other side of the destroyed street. In the streets, people shouted with happiness for the 2 young people who were tired. Those in front of the televisions were also happy. Mina and Uraraka shouted with happiness while hugging each other. Kirishima was standing, shouting with happiness for his 2 friends. As for the young people, they were walking slowly. Bakugo. We did it, Deku, he said Kansato leaning on Deku. Deku. If we did it, Kak, but he didn't finish speaking when he felt himself being pierced by a bone spear in one of his ribs. He screamed in pain and fell to the ground. Bakugo. Damn Deku, he said as he watched Deku fall to his knees. Dahahaja, really they are strong, a voice was heard from the other side of the street while the smoke cleared. Bakugo. Damn son of a bitch, you're still alive, he said angrily holding Deku. High range. Hahaha, I almost thought that they would kill me, wretches, he said to show that he didn't have half of his body and to see a hole where the bone spear came out. Bakugo. You'll pay for this, damn it, he said, leaving Deku leaning against a car. Rest, Deku, I'll defeat him, he said, walking with difficulty towards the Nomu. Hi Gamma. I hope and you're ready to die, he said regenerating and standing up. Bakugo. Maybe today is a good day to die, he said with a smile. At that the Nomu launched himself against Bakugo, who only received his blows, some he dodged, but with difficulty the Nomu only played with him. The spectators looked on in horror and in silence, only the blows colliding with Bakugo and his moans of pain were heard. Reporter. This is horrible, 2 young people are fighting against the Nomu and they look very bad. One is seriously injured by a spear that pierced him in the rib area and the other is being massacred by blows, she said with tears seeing the massacre in front of her. The Nomu, who continued hitting Bakugo, could only laugh at the boy until he gave him the last one, making him fall to the ground and then take him by the head and put him in front of him. Hi Gamma. I must admit you have a great fighting spirit, you have my respect, Ground Zero, but this is over, give up, hero, he said with a mocking smile, but stopped it when he heard Bakugo's evil laughter. Bakugo. I won't give up, he said, and then spit blood in his face. Fr first ID dead then RR render to you, wretch, said Devil. Hi Gamma. Then die. He said pointing a spear at Bakugo's chest, but stopped when he heard lightning and then released Bakugo and saw Deku standing still with the spear in his ribs. Deku. No, I'll leave you, he said as the lightning increased along with his flames. Minutes before. Deku. Damn, I can't see anything, I think am I dying? He said while seeing a light from afar. I think if I die, damn, I'm an idiot. I never told Ichako that I love her. Eri will be very sad, and don't even mention Mina, she will be very angry. Wow, the light is very bright and beautiful, he said while walking towards her, and that some screams are heard and that he said while turning, and Bakugo was shown being hit by the Nomu Izikaken. He said watching him fall to the ground. It's the curse, what do I do, he said, desperately watching how he is lifted from the ground and taken by the head. Why are you so desperate, boy? Said a male voice. Deku? Who said that? Perhaps he didn't finish when another voice was heard. I haven't seen you in a long time, boy, said a female voice. Deku? You are Nana Shimura and the first bearer, he said amazed, looking at both figures in front of him. Nana? Well, who did you expect, boy? She said a little annoyed. First. Why so surprised, boy? I asked when I saw the green-haired boy's face. Deku? I'm supposed to no longer have the one for all, that's why I'm surprised, I'm not supposed to see them anymore, he said seriously. Nana? Even though that idiot Toshinori took the OFA from you, you still have the residues that you no longer remember, she said, surprising Deku. Damn, you are an idiot, she said regretfully. First. You can still use it but only 3 hours a day, taking out all the one for all at once, boy, he said, placing his hand on the green-haired boy's shoulder. Nana? And remember why you're fighting, she said, making Deku clench his fists. Deku? I fight to defend my new friends. For my rival and friend Kaken, for my little sister Mina, he said while his eyes lit up with an intense green, for my little daughter Eri, and for her, the girl I'm in love with and will protect with my life, Achako Uraraka, he said, while the Ofa rays surrounded him. First. Then go, boy, and remember when you are at your limit, remember where you come from and for whom you squeeze that fist, he said as he disappeared. Nana? And remember that those who smile are the strongest, she said, forming a smile with her fingers, so good luck, hero Deku, she said, disappearing. At the moment. Hi Gamma. B but H, how are you supposed to be dead, he said surprised, and then put on a smile. Good, now I can kill you. Deku? I'm not afraid of you, he said, taking the spear and pulling it out and then suppressing a cry of pain, so with pride I can say, he said, showing a smile that surprised everyone who was watching. Everything is fine now, do you know why? Because I'm here. He shouted while getting into a fighting stance. Those words made everyone scream with excitement and support for the young aspirant. Hi Gamma. Well, this will be fun, he said to throw Bakugo towards Deku, who caught him. Bakugo? Deku, he said, surprised seeing him with the rays of the OFA, but W how? Deku? They're just the remains, he said, seeing the doubtful face. You did great, Kaken, now rest, he said while he put him in the car far from the fight. Don't worry, this time I'll win, he said with a tired smile and raising his thumb. When he did that, he turned to see the Nomu, who only increased his muscles and ran towards Deku, who did the same to collide their fists, causing a crater to form on the ground, and the exchange of blows between them began. People looked in astonishment. The green-haired man's classmates shouted encouraging Deku, Mina, and Uraraka did the same with tears in their eyes. Kirishima was also shouting support while clenching his fist. The Shiketsu teachers are on their way, hoping that their 2 students were okay, and in UA in the teacher's lounge, they watched all this regretfully, watching how Deku faced the Nomu. Almighty saw, all surprised and sad at his former successor. Bakugo. Deku, you are an admirable person, he said, watching as Deku exchanged blows with the Nomu. I just realized that I'm no good at fighting the Nomu. You're the only one who can defeat him, he said, watching as Deku's lightning and fire increased. Deku, the first time I saw your quirk I thought it was devil, and that's why it bothered you, he said, showing him who was lying down leaning on the car, watching everything after that. When you showed that your quirk was very powerful, I only trained to overcome you, Deku. After being able to increase my attacks, I thought I had reached you, he said, watching as people cheered for Deku, and he continued fighting. Now I know everything, Deku, he said while smiling. You are number 1 and the next symbol of peace, so finish it, Deku, he said, and then closed his eyes and fainted. Hi Gamma. That's it all, he said as he increased his muscles to their maximum capacity. This is all my power, he said as he increased the power of his blows. Deku. Damn, I have to do it, I'll increase it to the maximum one for all, full cal 100%, he said, so that the rays would increase. Hi Gamma. You're great, I want to see your blood, he said, increasing the speed. Deku. I will not give up. He said, also increasing the speed. People watched as the green-haired man bled every time he threw a punch, but what truly impressed them was that he never took his smile off his face. Every time the clash of fists was felt, the pressure of the air, the crater where they were grew bigger until Deku's flames increased, and one for all had the advantage over the Nomu, who was retreating, while Deku increased his power more and more to corner Hi Gamma. Hi Gamma. But how am I supposed to be stronger? He said, being dragged by Deku. Deku? You are, but I have a motivation, he said while hitting harder and remembering all his friends from Shiketsu, his best friend and rival, his little sister, his precious daughter and the girl he is in love with. A reason why I keep fighting, he said, to give him a blow that sent him a few meters away from him. Hi Gamma. Impossible, I am a being superior to you, wretch, I will kill you, he said while rushing against Deku. Deku. Here I have all my power gathered, he said, having his right arm with rays and flames. I will finish you once and for all 1,000,000%, he said, while running towards the Nomu. This is your end, Nomu, United States of Smash. He said to hit him in the face while smoke came out of Deku's arm. Goodbye Nomu he said, and then slam him against the pavement. See you never won for all he said, and then a tornado formed around. The people in the place saw how the blow caused such a tornado like that of the former symbol of peace. The heroes arrived to see such a display of the green-haired Anasa's power. He barely arrived, worried about both companions. Everyone was waiting for the result of the fight. Everyone was silent until the smoke dispersed and Deku was shown standing, raising his fist little by little until he was up and the Nomu was on the ground. Reporter. I can't believe it. This is impressive, the hero wins, the Nomu can't move anymore, the hero Deku wins. He said watching everything while tears came out. This fight surpasses or equals the one between All Might and the boss of the villains, it's impressive. The people could only scream with excitement while shouting the names of both boys' heroes. Several officers and heroes ran to help them so they could receive medical attention. Nomu was taken to Tartaros at UA. Kirishima was very happy and excited for Deku's victory. Deku and Bakugo's teammates were the same in regards to Mina and Uraraka. They were happy and worried about Deku and Bakugo's condition, but more so for Deku's. Both boys were taken to the nearest hospital that day. They were true heroes. Chapter 14. I will take care of you and an old friend appears. After the fight, luckily for the heroes, there were no victims, only damage to buildings. As for Midoriya and Bakugo, they received emergency medical attention for the injuries received in the fight. In the hospital, the classmates and teachers of both young men were in the waiting room outside the operating rooms. Outside the hospital, several reporters were waiting for news of the condition of the two heroes. Reporter. We are here waiting to receive reports on the condition of the two young men who fought against the Nomu this morning he said, and then looked at some documents who ended up very injured, especially the young Midoriya Izuku better known as Deku who suffered a stab wound in the rib area, a broken arm and several wounds, also the young Bakugo Katsuki better known as Ground Zero suffered a blow to the head and some broken bones in his body he said, looking at the camera. That is the information we have at the moment up to here, my report Joaquin. In the hospital hallways you could see a young red-haired man walking quickly while desperately searching for someone until at the end of the hallway, he could see a young pink-haired woman in her hero costume, sitting with her eyes on the floor next to a brunette who was the same. Mina. He said, capturing everyone's attention. Mina Kai Kirishima she said getting up and running to hug him. Kirishima. How are you? Haven't you said anything? He asked, hugging Mina tightly without hurting her. Mina. And no it's not yet I'm very pre-worried she said sobbing. Kirishima. Calm down, they'll be fine, they're very strong, they'll make it he said, giving her a smile. Mina. Thanks Kirishima she said giving him a smile. Uraraka. This Mina, I don't want to interrupt, but who is your friend? She asked, seeing Mina, who separated from the hug with a small blush. Mina. Oh he is an old classmate, he is Kirishima Ijiro she said, pointing to the named one. Kirishima. Nice to meet you he said with a smile. Uraraka. I am Uraraka Achako she said also smiling surprising Kirishima. Kirishima. Mina, is she the one Midoriya always talked to when he wasn't with you know who? He said, looking at Mina and making Uraraka blush with embarrassment. Mina. If it's her, she's from the she couldn't finish as she saw how the operating room doors opened and doctors and nurses came out of the room. Doctor. Relatives of patients Midoriya and Bakugo he said watching everyone get up seeing everyone confused. Bed shot. I'm the private teacher who spends time with the boys he said standing in front of the doctor. Doctor. Well, they are fine he said, relieving everyone but they were badly injured, as for Midoriya he barely survived, it's a miracle he's alive because of all the blood he lost. Bed shot. And how are you right now? He asked worriedly. Doctor. Right now they are rested from the operation, they will wake up in a few hours he said with a smile. Uraraka. Can we come in? She asked worriedly. Doctor. Of course you can, but just don't make too much noise he said, withdrawing, and everyone entered the rooms where they were both bandaged but sleeping peacefully. Hours passed, and everyone left little by little, leaving only Kirishima, Mina, Uraraka, and Kimi in the room. Deku. Ah my body hurts he complained to see the place well I'm in the hospital he turned to look at his side and saw Uraraka asleep, without her hero costume, next to his bed sitting on an armchair wow, she's very cute while she sleeps, he said to sit on the bed with difficulty ah, damn he complained grabbing his wound waking Uraraka up. Uraraka. Izuku she said waking up and rubbing her eyes to then see him awake Izuku. She shouted to hug him you had me very pre-worried, silly stupid she said crying. Deku. I'm sorry Achako, it won't happen again reciprocating the hug where are the others and where is Kaken? He asked in Eri, what about her? He said, separating himself a little from Uraraka. Uraraka. Everyone is in the dorms, Bakugo was discharged about 2 hours ago and Eri is with Mina she said, relieving the green-haired boy. Deku. I'm glad everyone is okay, he said with a small smile. Uraraka. You really were a great hero today, Izuku showing a smile. Deku? And do you know what time it is? He asked. Uraraka. It's 10:30 at night, she said, surprising the green-haired boy. Deku? And you stayed the whole time? He asked, looking at the brunette. Uraraka. If I stayed here all the time I wouldn't leave you alone because I'll take care of you, showing a smile. Deku? Okay Chako, do you know when I'll be discharged? He asked, intrigued. Uraraka. I'm not going to go get the doctor, she said as she got up. No need, young lady, said the voice of an older woman, scaring them both. Sorry, it's good to see you, Midoriya. Deku? Also to my recovery girl, he said with a smile. This is not to be rude, but what are you doing here? He asked, looking at the old woman. RG. It's not obvious he's coming to cure you, Duty said as he approached the bed, but first he grabbed his cane and hit him on the head. Deku? Ouch, why was that? He asked, rubbing his head. RG. For being reckless and worrying the girl, he replied with a frown. Deku? I'm sorry, but can you discharge me? He said to the old woman. RG. It will be tomorrow, he said, giving her a kiss on the forehead. Now rest, and you young lady, calling Uraraka's attention, take good care of him. Do you want, he said, walking to the exit of the room. Uraraka. Don't worry, I'll do it, with a smile. RG. Oh, and boy, stopping at the door. I know you're not the traitor after all, you always help me in the infirmary, you have my support, she said, giving him a smile, so don't worry your brunette girlfriend anymore, she said mockingly, as she left, blushing both of them. Deku? Well, I think I'll sleep, he said, settling in a Chako. Don't you want to sleep with me, he said, making a space on the stretcher. Uraraka. Sure, she said, blushing as she entered. Deku? Good night, Chako, he said, hugging her and giving her a kiss on the forehead. Uraraka's. Good night, Izuku, repeating Deku's action. After that they fell deeply asleep. The next day they woke up. Uraraka left, so Deku could change. After that Deku and Uraraka left the hospital, being supported by Uraraka, who were surrounded by journalists who interviewed Deku. When they finished they went to the dorms, being received with applause from their classmates and an eerie crying when she saw her father, who along with Uraraka went to Deku's room. Uraraka. Very well Deku, I will take care of you. You should just stay in bed. Standing next to the bed. Deku? Because I feel better now, smiling and trying to stand up, but feels pain in the wound on his ribs. Uraraka. Now stay in bed while I make you food, and later I'll change your bandages, she said with a blush. Eerie? Yes dad, we will take care of you, she said, getting into bed. Deku? Okay, now I see that I have the best nurses with me, he smiled. So the days passed. Uraraka took care of Deku at all hours, sometimes scolding him for finding him exercising still hurt. She prepared his food, some blushes when she helped him change his bandages, laughter and games when Eri was with them. In case you were wondering, Bakugo only needed a few days of rest because of the blow to the head, who was taken care of by Kimi. To the surprise of some in Shiketsu, the teachers gave them a few days off. Eri still went to school, being taken by Mina. Hiroshina sometimes called her to check the status of both friends and see each other secretly. The month had already passed, things were calm. Deku had already returned to classes. He, along with Bakugo, received several offers from hero agencies to have their services once they graduated. Some newscasts already placed them as promising heroes, some already placed them in the top 10, a month having passed since they made their debut. At this moment, both young people were walking with Kimi and Achako towards the dorms after classes, because Mina offered to go for Eri, since she would have another secret date with Kirishima, and they would go to the city fair. Deku? Hey Achako, what do you want to eat? After all, it's my turn to cook. He asked his companion with a smile. Kimi? Yeah, they already look like husband and wife, she said, blushing both of them. Uraraka. It's not what it seems, blushing, moving her arms everywhere just like Deku. Bakugo. They are made for each other, he said, looking at them both. You can't be Kaken Aizu, said a female voice behind both of them, who stopped dead in their tracks upon hearing. Bakugo. Deku, don't tell me that, he said when interrupted by Midoriya. Deku? I think so, Kaken, he said, turning around little by little, just like Bakugo. Eyes, if it's you, running to hug them both by the neck, making Uraraka jealous. Kimi? How long since I saw you? Both. Us too. They said happily, reciprocating the hug, making both girls even angrier. Chapter 15. Hikari Takeshi, a love rival. In the previous chapter. You can't be Kaken Aizu, said a female voice behind both of them, who stopped dead in their tracks upon hearing. Bakugo. Deku, don't tell me that, he said when interrupted by Midoriya. Deku? I think so, Kaken, he said, turning around little by little, just like Bakugo. Eyes, if it's you, running to hug them both by the neck, making Uraraka jealous. Kimi? How long since I saw you? At the moment. Both. Us too, Eshi, they said, reciprocating the hug and angering their companions. Uraraka. Cough cough Izuku hablo molesta scaring Deku. Deku? Is this one, let me introduce you with a nervous smile as she is Hikari Takeshi, she is a childhood friend. Hikari. Nice to meet you showing a smile and shaking Uraraka's hand. Deku? Well, she's Uraraka Ichako, also a childhood friend he said bothering Hikari. Uraraka. Much gusto she said with a fake smile as she squeezed Hikari's hand. Hikari. The pleasure is mine with a fake smile while she squeezed Uraraka's hand tightly, which she also did. Deku? This Hikas I think that's enough he said separating them. Hey Hikari this is Kimi Utsushimi a classmate he said pointing at Kimi. Hikari. Nice to meet you she showed a smile which surprised and angered Uraraka. Kimi. The pleasure is mine looking at her strangely. Bakugo. And what brings you here, Eshi? He asked, looking at her. Hikari. Oh, I moved and I came to study here she said smiling. Deku? Are you really going to study? He asked excitedly. Hikari. I'll join the Aizu support team she smiled, making Uraraka angry with the nickname, and I also wanted to see them. I saw them fight against the Nomu. Are you worried? She said, seeing Deku and Bakugo sad. Bakugo. TSK you know we're strong he said turning to the other side. Hikari. Lose Kaken, but not immortal she said giving him a light blow on the arm. Bakugo. Enough Eshi, let's go, I'm hungry he said, starting to walk. Kimi? Yes, let's go Kitsuki she said walking behind him. Deku? Do you want to come eat Eshi? He asked, making Hikari happy and Ichako angry. Hikari. Yes, let's go, Aizu showing a smile. Uraraka. This is Izuku then what will you make to eat? She asked seeing Deku following Deku. Deku? What do you think of ramen and for dessert your favorite sweet mochi he showed a smile. Uraraka. Yee mochi thanks Izuku she said giving him a kiss on the cheek which made Hikari frown. On the way to the dorms, Deku felt strange. Every time he spoke with Uraraka, he felt a murderous instinct on the other side and the same thing happened when he spoke with Hikari. The institute was now on Uraraka's side. He felt very uncomfortable until he arrived at the dorms and entered the kitchen to prepare the ramen and mochi. Deku? How strange Ichako and Eshi behave very strangely when I talk to one of them. Maybe it's my imagination he thought while cooking. Uraraka W this is Izuku, do you want me to help you? She asked, entering the kitchen. Deku? Sure Ichako, you can help me he showed a smile. Uraraka. Good, how can I help you chop? I asked while. Deku? If you want, help me with the vegetables while I cut the meat giving him the knife and the vegetables. Uraraka okay as she took the things and started cutting. They were cooking in silence but not uncomfortable. It was pleasant. They understood each other well in the kitchen. But the silence was broken by a question. Deku? Ichako, do you dislike her? He asked, making Uraraka tense up a little. Uraraka. Why do you ask, Izuku? Looking at her with a nervous smile. Deku? Oh, it's just that when I talk to her I feel like a killer instinct coming from you and when I call her Aizu you frown poking between Uraraka's eyebrows tell me, does it bother you? He asked. Uraraka. No, of course not, Izuku, it's probably just your imagination she said, while quickly chopping the vegetables. Deku? Well if it bothers you just call me Ichako he showed a smile to finish cutting. Minutes passed and the food was ready. They came out with the dishes served. Then they saw Mina, Eri and Kirishima in the living room. They joined them to eat with their classmates and Hikari. While Deku and Kirishima were talking, Mina noticed how Uraraka looked angrily at Hikari and Hikari at Uraraka. Mina didn't say anything, she just limited herself to observing until she discovered the reason for the hateful looks of each one, which was Deku, so she got up from the table and took Uraraka by the hand, taking her to another room. Uraraka. What's wrong girls, why are you pulling me? I asked, looking at the pink one. Mina. Tell me what's going on with you and that girl pointing at Hikari. Uraraka. Well I'll tell you she's a childhood friend of Izuku and I think she likes my Izuku she said angrily. Mina. Calm down, and maybe it's not see dad she said, seeing how Hikari looked at Deku with a face of love I changed my mind, that girl wants to steal you, Izuku she said angrily. Uraraka. I know, but I can't do anything she said sadly we're not boyfriend and girlfriend, I can't go and complain about anything looking at the ground in defeat. Mina. Look woman, will you let Izuku go with her? He said, taking her by the shoulders. Uraraka. No. Camarada Syria. Mina. You let me win Izuku's heart. Looking at her seriously. Uraraka. I won't do it with determination. Mina. Then tell me what you will do she said looking at Uraraka even more seriously. Uraraka. I won't let my Izuku go with that she said walking to the table. Mina. Go for it looking proudly at Uraraka. Uraraka walked to the table determined not to let Hikari go and sat next to Deku since Kirishima had already left for UA and they talked the whole time without giving Hikari the chance to get close to him. They also helped Yuri with her homework, but after a while Deku had to leave for some things, a moment that Hikari took advantage of to confront Uraraka. "Hikari. What's wrong with you? I also want to spend time with Izu," she said angrily. Uraraka. "Answer me something, Hikari, do you like Izuku?" she asked, making Hikari blush. Hikari. "And if I like that," challenging Uraraka with her gaze. Uraraka. "Because I like it too," she said, frowning. The atmosphere around the two became tense, neither spoke, they looked at each other with hatred until Hikari spoke. "Hikari. Then we will be rivals to see who will stay with Izuku's love," she said, stretching out her hand. Uraraka. "Fine," she said, stretching out her hand, but Hikari took it away. Hikari. "Good luck with that," she said with an angry look as she sat on the sofa. Chapter 16. The fight for his love begins. The next day. Uraraka was in her room thinking about her rival, now both of them had the same chances of being with him, both are her childhood friends, but there is something where Uraraka had the advantage, she spent more time with Izuku, so she got up, took a bath and dressed in comfortable clothes since it was Saturday, and went down determined to win. Uraraka narrates. "Now that I know Hikari likes Izuku, I can't let her be with him. I don't have to give her the opportunity to take advantage, or else everything will be lost. I will win this war, and Izuku will be mine." End narration. Uraraka was going down to the common room of the dormitories where, to her bad luck, Hikari was sitting on one of the sofas waiting. When she saw Uraraka, she gave her a look of hatred which also looked with hatred at the girl. Uraraka. "What are you doing here?" asked angrily and then Hikari got up from his seat. Hikari. "It's not obvious I'm here for Izu," she said seriously and angrily. Uraraka. "You can't get close to him, he's mine," she said out loud. Hikari. "Seriously, if I remember, you're just her best friend," she said with a mocking smile as she walked towards Uraraka. Uraraka. "I may just be his best friend," she said also walking towards Hikari, "but I am the mother of his daughter," she said with a smile of victory. Hikari. "And that doesn't guarantee anything," she said angrily as she stopped. Uraraka. "That's what you think, dear," she said, standing a few centimeters away from Hikari, "that gives me a great advantage that you will never have." The atmosphere in the place became tense as both girls looked at each other with great hatred while purple auras covered them. They were not determined to win the green-haired boy's heart. They would use any method to ensure their victory. At that moment, the tension was cut short when they heard the elevator where a green-haired boy got out and looked strangely at everything since what he saw were his childhood friends distant but with looks of hatred. Deku. "Good morning," seeing both of them confused. "Are you okay?" Both. "Yes." Izu with fake smiles being noticed by Deku. Deku. "Okay, doubtful, I'll prepare breakfast, I'll be right back," he said and then left. Hikari. "I will be the one who wins his love, do you understand?" she said, pushing Uraraka. Uraraka. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she said, also angry, pushing her. Hikari. "Understand, damn it, it will be mine, did you hear it? Mine," she said pointing at herself. Uraraka. "Ha ha ha ha," she just started laughing, confusing Hikari. "You say it straight." I see Hikari frowning. "Then let me do it harder." Ha 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 ha, she said, angering Hikari, who pushed her harder making her fall. Hikari. "Oops, you fell," she said mockingly. "I'm going with Izu, you stay on the ground," she said turning around. Uraraka. "That's not a bad idea," she said as she put her foot in, making Hikari fall on his face. "Oops, you fell too," with an innocent smile, making Hikari angry. Hikari. "You're a bitch," he said as he launched himself at her and hit her up. "How dare you do that to me," he said as he started to squeeze her shoulders and lift her up a little and slam her to the ground. Uraraka. "Let me go, damn it," she said, pushing Hikari aside and getting up. Hikari. "You won't get away with this," she said pushing Uraraka, so she falls on the sofa. "He'll be mine," she said, while climbing on top of her and grabbing her by the head and slamming her against the back of the sofa. Uraraka. I won't let you win," she said to turn around, and now she is on top and do the same thing that Hikari did with her. At that point, some of Uraraka's classmates saw all of this and went to separate them. It was almost impossible. Every time they separated them, one of them broke free and ran to the other to fight. That's how it was until Deku arrived. Deku? "What the hell is going on here?" he said with a slightly angry tone, watching his companions try to hold two beasts. Bakugo. "Well, Eshi and Roundface were grabbing each other's balls, I don't know why, but it was getting interesting," he said, sitting on the reclining sofa while eating popcorn and having a soda next to him. "Anasa. Why you see could have helped us, Bakugo," he said tiredly looking at the aforementioned. Bakugo. "And I wouldn't miss this fight, not a chance," he said while eating a big handful of popcorn. Deku. Stop playing Kakin, he said, seeing him seriously and you looking at both disheveled girls. I need to talk to you, he said seriously, so let's go, starting to walk, being followed by both girls. Upon arriving at the kitchen, Deku looked at them with a serious face. Both girls looked at the floor. The atmosphere was tense and lasted a few minutes until Deku spoke. Deku? And what happened? Looking at both of them who still had their eyes on the ground, don't you think you're going to talk? Uraraka. I'm sorry, Izuku, she said, embarrassed. Hikari. I'm sorry too, also sorry. Deku. Tell me why you were fighting. I looked at both who denied it. Fine, if you don't want to tell me, I want you to make peace right now, he said, so that both of them looked up and looked at each other angrily. What are you waiting for? Shake hands, he said, watching as both of them took each other's hand. Come on, it wasn't that difficult, he said with a big smile. Now go outside. I'm almost done breakfast, he said, watching as both of them left. Hikari. This won't stay like this, she said angrily as she walked along with Uraraka. Uraraka, same here, she said angrily as she walked towards Mina and Kimi. Kimi? Achako, what happened? She said, looking at her friend with concern. Uraraka. It was just a little fight, she said seriously, looking at Hikari. Mina. Achako, you fought because of something Hikari told you, right? She commented seriously, looking at Uraraka. Uraraka. Yes, she started first, we started talking, then pushing, and then fighting, she said, lowering her head. Kimi. Don't worry, Achako, I know you're not like that, he said, placing his hand on her shoulder. A few minutes passed and Deku came out with breakfast ready. Everyone had breakfast, but there was tension between Uraraka and Hikari, who were in front of each other, looking at each other with hatred. After finishing, Mina went with Eri to the park since she would see Kirishima. Uraraka had to go to her room for some things, leaving Deku alone, which Hikari took advantage of. Hikari this Izu, he said nervously, drawing Deku's attention. Deku? What's wrong? Asked she, looking away and seeing her blushing. Hikari. I was wondering if, but she stopped when she saw Uraraka coming down. You would like to go out with me tomorrow, she asked, seeing how angry Uraraka had become. Uraraka. Damn, I was just careless for a minute, she thought, annoyed, seeing Hikari. Deku? Yes, why not? He said with a smile, making Hikari happy and Uraraka angry. Hikari. Thanks Izu, she said, giving her a hug that angered the brunette. Deku? Don't worry, he said with a smile, it's been a while since I went out with my childhood friend, he said, making Uraraka smile. Hikari. Why yes, she said, a little discouraged to look at Uraraka who was showing her tongue. I'll make you change your mind, Izu, you'll see, she thought, and then saw Uraraka with a frown. Chapter 17. Hikari's play and Achako's jealousy. Hikari. Well Izu, I'm going, I have some things to do, she said, separating from the hug. See you tomorrow on our date. She said out loud, annoying Uraraka and missing Deku. 2 o'clock at the entrance. Does that sound okay to you? Deku? Sounds good to me, with a smile that made Hikari blush slightly. Hikari. Okay, I'm leaving now. See you tomorrow. She said, giving him a kiss on the cheek. Bye Izu. As soon as Deku left, he continued looking at his phone, while Uraraka cursed everyone she knew for not being the one to ask him out first and then relax and go with him. Uraraka. Izuku, do you want to eat something? She asked with a smile, her trademark Uraraka smile, after the licenses, making Deku blush. At this moment it's 3 in the afternoon, bros, in the story. Deku? It seems fine to me, Achako, he said nervously and blushing. So they spent the day cooking very happily and joking around, each one prepared the food. The one who had arrived went and ate with his 2 parents. They played until night came and it was time to sleep. The next day. There were 30 minutes left for Deku's date and Hikari. Deku was getting ready for his friend's date. He saw him, but in another part of the residence we can see a brunette with a pink hair and a light blonde, along with a white-haired girl. Kimi. So you plan to follow them, he said, looking at Uraraka who was sitting with Eri. Uraraka. I don't trust it, Hikari, she said with a frown and crossing her arms. Eri. She saw what Uraraka did and wanted to copy it. Me neither, she said, crossing her arms and frowning. Mina. Fine, we'll follow him, she said determinedly. Kimi. Yes, I will help you, but she said, capturing the attention of the other 2 girls. Uraraka. But she asked, looking at Kimi. Kimi. You will take Eri, he said, looking at Uraraka. Uraraka. You're right, Eri, you can stay, she said, looking at the girl. Eri. Thought if there's no problem, mommy. Mina. But who did you leave her with? Rin, Carla and Sakura went out, she said, looking at Uraraka. Kimi. And Inasa came out, also seeing Uraraka. Uraraka. I think I know who, she said with a smile. Come with me, she said, taking Eri's hand and leaving, followed by Mina and Kimi. The girls just followed Uraraka until she reached a door and were surprised to see the name and caused a blush in Kimi. Uraraka. Good. I knocked and then heard footsteps and the door opened. Hello Bakugo, can I ask you a favor? She said with a smile. Bakugo. Let me guess, you want me to take care of the flea, since Deku will have a date with Eshi and you don't want her to win Deku's heart, right? He said, seeing how the three girls looked at him in amazement. Uraraka. How did you know? She said in surprise. Bakugo. You three are very obvious, he said with a smile. Fine, go leave the flea and you go and take care of your boyfriend, he said mockingly and blushing. Uraraka. After that the three girls went to the entrance of the academy where they found Hikari waiting for Deku. They just hid behind the bushes to wait for Deku to arrive. A few minutes passed and he arrived. Deku? Sorry for making you wait, Eshi, he said smiling nervously. Hikari. Don't worry, she showed a blushing smile. We're leaving, she said taking Deku's hand and making Uraraka angry. Deku? Yes, but where will we go? He asked. Hikari. What do you think of the plaza? Showing a smile. I know I've used it a lot, but I want Uraraka to have a date at the fair and not Hikari. Deku? Yes, let's go. He started walking with Hikari towards the train station. Uraraka. Let's follow them, she spoke angrily. Mina. Chako, what happened to your face, she said, seeing that she had a gloomy look. Himi. The devil got into you, Chako. She said scared. Uraraka. If no one were to stay with Izuku but me, so let's go, she said walking angrily followed by the other two. On the way they only saw Hikari's failed intentions. Every time she wanted to hug him he would move away, or when she wanted to take his hand after letting go he would take it away, which made Uraraka happy. These Ivans were a few meters behind her. Hikari. Hey Izu, she said, drawing the attention of the aforementioned. Can we go eat, she said embarrassed. Deku. Sure, let's go, he said as he walked. Hikari. Can I take your hand? I asked, looking away. Deku. Okay, dude, he said so Hikari could take it. Now let's go. On the other side of the place, a chestnut was stopped by Akemi and being calmed by a girl for the scene seen before. She didn't like it at all. Uraraka. Let me go of those earrings and I'll put them up your ass. She doesn't finish because Mina interrupted her. Mina. Chako language. She said a little angrily. A child could be reading this, she said, earning confused looks from both girls. Kimi. Read this. I asked without understanding. Uraraka. What do you mean, mine? I asked, already a little relaxed. Mina. Forget it, we have to follow Midori and that girl whose name I already forgot, she said while walking. Minutes passed and the girls followed them everywhere to the stores. Something that angered Uraraka was how Hikari got very close to Deku. She was always stopped by either Kimi or Mina since she wanted to kill the black-haired girl. That was how it was the whole time they were in the shopping mall. Hikari. Hey Izu, can I ask you something? She said nervously. Deku? Yes, go ahead and ask whatever you want, he answered with a smile. Hikari. What do you think of Uraraka? She asked seriously looking at Deku who blushed. Deku? Well, she is very nice and kind to me and Eri has always supported me and has been there for me in everything I have needed and she is a good mother to Eri. I really like her smile and her blushes and also her chocolate-scented eyes, he said with a blushing smile. Hikari. Wow, she said discouraged. Elsewhere the girls heard Midoriya's words. Kimi was surprised, Mina was very happy and Uraraka was very blushing and about to faint. Deku? Why do you ask, Eshi? He said, looking at his friend. Hikari. I know it's very special for you, right? She said a little seriously. Deku? Yes, it's special to me, he said smiling. Hikari. And I'm special to you too, she said a little hopeful. Deku? So are you, Hikari, he said smiling. Hikari. And what do you think of me? I asked a little intrigued and hopeful. Deku? Well, you are pretty, kind, funny, I like your blue eyes, he said, making Hikari blush. Hikari. Thank you Izu, she said happily and then kissed him on the cheek. Deku? No problem, we have to go back, he said as he walked out of the mall. But the girls, they were grabbing Magpie by the arms, who was quite angry because of what she had seen before. Mina. Come on Chako, calm down a little, he said while holding her back. Uraraka. I won't do it until I get rid of that bitch, she said angrily as she tried to let go. Kimi. Come on Uraraka, calm down please, she said trying to hold her. If you don't Midoriya won't be able to go out with you, she said, making Uraraka relax. Uraraka. Okay, I'll calm down, she said as she was released. We have to go back so I can have my chance, she said, clenching her fist and showing a smile. Both? Yes. They shouted following Uraraka to the dorms. Chapter 18. Chako's opportunity and Hikari's plan. The next day. We can see the entire class 2 in their classroom, in which the professional heroine Ryuko taught the subject of modern art and then received math classes taught by the hero gang Orca. Gang Orca. Well guys, that's all for today, you can leave, he said to take his things and leave the classroom. Mina, classes are finally over. She said stretching her arms. Rin. Can someone tell me, what the hell do we spend time doing in life to find the tangent of a triangle? She asked, looking at everyone. Carla. I have no idea, she said seriously. Kimi. Hey Ichako, she said, drawing her partner's attention, will you tell Midoriya if he wants to go with you to the fair? Uraraka. Yes, I'll tell him if he wants to go with me. I have 3 tickets, showing the tickets to Kimi, one for me, another for Izuku, and the last one for Eri, she said with a big smile. Mina. Then go Ichako before they beat you, she said, pointing at Izuku who was about to leave. Uraraka. Yes, she said, grabbing her backpack and going behind Izuku. She spoke loudly so he would wait for her. Deku? Ichako turning to look at her. What's going on? He asked, seeing her close. Uraraka. I was wondering if you wanted to go to the fair. I have 3 tickets showing the menu, Eri and I could go, she said with a smile, so what do you say? Deku? It's a great idea, Ichako, he showed a smile, then we have to go get Eri, get ready and go to the fair, starting to walk with Uraraka. Uraraka. Yes. She said, raising her arms, it will be a great day, right Izuku, she showed a smile. Deku? That's how it will be, Ichako, he said, grabbing her hand, it will be a great day, he showed a blushing smile. What our green couple didn't know was that there was a girl who looked at everything with anger while clenching her fists. Hikari. I have to do something to get that damn girl away from Aizu, she said, watching them walk away holding hands, but what? What would be good to do? She wondered as she walked towards her dorms. On the way back to her OTP, they were walking towards the elementary school where their little albino daughter was. They were talking about trivial matters while they waited. Minutes passed and the bell rang, causing several children to come out and run to their respective families, and that you can see Eri running and embrace her mother and father. Eri. Mommy, Daddy, I missed you so much, she said while hugging them. Deku. We too, daughter, he said, returning the hug. Uraraka. I missed you too, hugging her daughter. Eri, how was school? She asked as she separated from the hug. Eri. It went very well for me, Mom, she said with a smile. Deku. That's good because today, he said, showing a smile, we'll go to the fair, he said, making Eri's eyes shine. Eri. Yes. She shouted while jumping around her parents. Uraraka. Fine, but first we have to go change clothes, she said to take Eri's hand, so let's go to the dorm, she said happily. Eri. Yes, she said as she started walking with Uraraka and Deku. In Shiketsu. In one of the dormitories that the school had, there was a very angry black-haired girl sitting on her bed while she thought about how to separate Deku and Uraraka. Hikari. What can I do, she said while her foot hit the ground in desperation. I can't invent anything about infidelity because they are not boyfriends, she said, grabbing her chin, nor that she talks bad things behind his back because most of the time she is with him, the raccoon alien and the fleshy lips, she said Pafra after getting up and walking. Think of something she can do to you. The minutes passed until she stopped and formed a smile. What if I make her hit me, or if I hit myself and tell Aizu that she did it, she said to see a photo that she was as a child with Izuku. Yes, this time you will be mine Aizu, she said to kiss the photo. With your couple green tea. They were walking with Eri towards the fair, very happy, they seemed like a nice family. A few minutes passed until they arrived. Deku. Good afternoon, he said, showing a smile. Gusat Hikari. Good afternoon and welcome, he said, smiling. May I have your tickets? Please, he said, stretching out his hand. Uraraka. Here you go, giving you the 3 tickets. Gusat Hikari. Enjoy the fair, he said, watching her enter. Wow, you make a nice family, he said, watching them walk towards a game. Eri. My, Daddy, can we go up there, she said, pointing to the cups game. We can, she made while pointing to the game. Deku. Yes, let's go, he said, walking towards the game. Eri. Yes. She shouted, raising her arms. Uraraka. Look Izuku, there's the manager, she said, pointing to the man who was at the entrance of the game. Deku. Then let's go, he said, walking towards the man. Good afternoon, he greeted with a smile. Lector-sama. Good afternoon, young man, he said, returning the greeting. To upload the game you need a ticket each one, he explained, looking at Deku. Uraraka. Here you go, she said, handing over the 3 tickets. Lector-sama. Then enjoy the game, he said, giving them way. Eri. Thank you very much, sir, she showed a smile. So they spent hours between games and sweets, winning prizes like 2 stuffed animals, which were a green rabbit and a pink one for Eri, and a bear with a heart for Uraraka. They were walking and saw a girl who was taking souvenir photos of people, so they decided to approach. Uraraka. Hello, she said, approaching the girl. Party night. Hello, would you like to have a souvenir photo? He said, taking his camera. Deku. Yes please, he said after he put Eri on his back and Uraraka hugged them. Party night. Then say green tea, he said, pointing his camera at the small family. The 3. Green tea while showing a smile. Party night. Here you go, handing the photo to the couple. You know you two make a great couple, he said, making Deku and Uraraka blush. Uraraka. This is thank you, she said nervously and blushed. Eri. Mom, I want to see the photo, she said, opening her hands to take the photo. Uraraka. Yes, here you have it, giving her the photo. Eri. Wow, she's very pretty, she said with a big smile. Look, daddy. Deku. You're right, Eri is very pretty, he said with a smile. Party night. Hey friend, he said, touching Ichako's shoulder. Uraraka. Yes, it does happen, she said, looking at Farty. Party night. It's that those girls, he said, pointing to a group of 3 girls, are looking at your boyfriend too much, he said, making Uraraka frown. I, if I were you, would claim what is mine. Uraraka. Yes, I will, while approaching Deku and hugging him. Izuku, and if we are going to eat, she said with a smile. Deku. Of course, let's go, he showed a smile while taking Uraraka's hand. Let's go, Eri, he said, also taking his daughter's hand, and thanks for the photo, he said as they left. Party night. They don't know it, but they will be husband and wife, he said, smiling as they walked to the food stalls. Deku. What do you want to eat, Ichako? He asked, looking at his companion. Uraraka. I want soba, she answered, and then looked at Eri. And what do you want, Eri? She asked her daughter. Eri. I want takoyaki, she said, showing a smile. Deku. Fine, then I'll order katsudon, he said, and then went to the dispatcher. SUZAKU24. What do we give, young man, he said while cooking the food. Deku. Well, it will be a small order of takoyakis, a medium order of soba, and a medium order of katsudon. SUZAKU24. Well, here you have the small order of takoyaki, giving you a small box, the medium order of soba, giving you a medium box, and finally the medium order of katsudon, giving you the order. Deku. Thank you very much, how much will it be? He asked, taking out his wallet. SUZAKU24. 600 yen, young man, he said before receiving his pay. Enjoy your meal, he said with a smile. The young family sat at one of the tables to enjoy their food while they talked and laughed. Once finished, they left for the bedrooms to rest from the great day they had. Once they arrived, they said goodbye and went to their respective rooms, but not before greeting their companions. But what they didn't know was that something or someone would make sure that all that happiness ended. Chapter 19. That is not true. The next day. A large group of young people could be seen leaving their classroom on their way to their rooms, but we focused on a specific group. Mina. So can I go for her? Asked a pink girl very excitedly. Deku. Yes, Mina, you can go for it, he said, looking at the pink girl, who became happy. And tell me, will you see Kirishima again, right, he said, making Mina blush. Mina. Yes, today I will go out with him, and we will go to eat, she said, playing with her fingers. Deku. Okay, Mina, go, I won't take up your time anymore, he said, making Mina start to leave, and I don't want nephews yet. He shouted so Mina would run away from the embarrassment. Bakugo. I say the same to you, Deku, he said behind this. Deku. What are you talking about? He said, blushing. Bakugo. Will you deny that you wouldn't like to have a round face? He said, making him blush. Deku. Yes, I want to be with her, but he said, pausing. Bakugo. But? He asked, confused. Deku. I just don't want the same thing to happen to me as that damn bitch, he said, looking down and clenching his fists. Bakugo. Ah, Deku, he said, calling this one's attention. Deku. What he doesn't finish when he receives a blow to the stomach. Bakugo. Look, idiot, round face, I don't think she'll do the same thing to you as that boar. You can see that she loves you, or rather, she loves you, Deku, he said, taking him by the shoulders. Deku. Maybe you're right, he said, making Bakugo release him, but I have a bad feeling, you know. Bakugo. Bad feeling, seeing Deku confused. Deku. Yes, I feel that something bad will happen, he said as he started walking. Bakugo. Will something bad happen? He asked, confused. What do you mean by that? Deku. I don't know, but I feel like something is going to happen, he said, entering the dorms with Bakugo. Elsewhere. Uraraka was in her room with Kimi talking about trivial things until the topic of the date Uraraka had the day before came up. Kimi. So how did it go yesterday? He asked with a smile. Uraraka. It went very well, we had a lot of fun together with Eri in the games, Deku won prizes for both of us, we took a souvenir photo, we ate a delicious meal, it was simply an incredible day, she said with great emotion. Kimi. And then when? I asked, confusing Uraraka. Uraraka. When what? I don't understand you, she said, looking at Kimi, who smiled. Kimi. I mean, when will you tell him that you like him? She said, making Uraraka blush. Uraraka. I think I won't do it for now, she said, looking down. Kimi. Why not? I asked, puzzled. Uraraka. I think he still hasn't gotten over what the other girl did to him, she said sadly, and I don't want to confess now since the Takari is close and I don't want her to ruin everything, she said, a little annoyed. Kimi. Maybe you're right, but she said, pausing, will you let Hikari get closer to Midoriya and win him over? She said, making Uraraka frown. Uraraka. I won't let that happen, she said determinedly, but I don't want to make Izuku feel uncomfortable either, she said embarrassedly. Kimi. Fine, if it's your decision, I'll support you, she said with a smile, but if you need help the day you confess to him, count on me. She showed a big smile and pointed to herself. Uraraka. Thank you very much, Kimi, she said, hugging her with great happiness. On the other side of the academy, you could see a very determined brunette girl carrying out her plan to make Deku separate from Uraraka, but she stopped halfway. Hikari. But this plan has a flaw, she thought, looking at the dormitories of class 2. Aizu knows that damn girl very well. I have to make this very believable, but how, she thought, and then formed a malicious smile. I think I have an idea, she said, starting to walk. Once she arrived at the dormitory door, she rang the bell and was greeted by one of Deku's classmates. Once inside, Hikari set out to find Uraraka's room, which she was able to reach with the help of some of her classmates. When she was in front of the door, she knocked, and after a few minutes she opened it. Uraraka. What do you want, Hikari? She said angrily, looking at the named one. Hikari. Oh, I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes, she said with a smile. Uraraka. Okay, come in, she said, stepping aside. Hikari. Oh no, I wanted it to be outside the dorms, she said, making Uraraka frown. Uraraka. Okay, let's go, she said a little angrily, closing the door to her room. They started walking through the dormitory hallways in silence. Uraraka felt uncomfortable because she only watched Hikari with a smile. Once they passed the door and went down the stairs of the residence, they walked a few meters and Hikari stopped. Uraraka. So what do you want to talk about? She asked, a little annoyed. Hikari. Nothing, I just want to carry out my plan perfectly, she said, confusing Uraraka. Uraraka. Plan? She said, looking confused. Hikari. Yes, the plan that will make Aizu stay away from you, she said, smiling maliciously. Uraraka. And how do you plan to? She didn't finish as she saw how Hikari had hit her own face. But what the hell are you doing, she said, watching how she hit herself. Hikari. This is my plan, she said, bleeding a little from her lip and eyebrow. Help. She shouted while hitting herself. Uraraka. Hey, stop, she said, grabbing his hands. Hikari. I won't do it, she said, letting herself fall with Uraraka on top of her. Help me, please. She shouted again. Uraraka. Calm down, crazy, I'll make you. She didn't finish as she heard a very familiar scream saying her name. Deku. Ichako. Shouted, running towards her and Hikari with some companions behind him. What are you doing? He said, arriving at them. Uraraka. No, Izuku is not. She didn't finish because Hikari interrupted her. Hikari. She hit me, she said, making Deku turn to look at Uraraka. Uraraka. Seriously, Izuku is not what he seems, she said, a little scared. Deku. Ichako, you are on top of her, he said, a little sad, making Uraraka get up. Hikaru. I just wanted to talk and she jumped on me, she said, crying. Deku. Eshi, let's heal you, he said, grabbing her hand like this. Uraraka. Izuku is seriously not what it seems, she said with teary eyes. Deku. I don't want to talk to her right now, Ichako, without turning to look at her. Uraraka. Please Izuku, it's not true, she said, sobbing. Deku. Not at the moment, Ichako, he said, starting to walk, taking a crying but very happy Hikari because her plan worked. Uraraka. But Izuku, she said, seeing him walking away. That is not true. She cried. Some of Ichako's classmates approached her while Izuku entered the dorms to heal Hikari, but what Hikari didn't count on is that someone saw and recorded everything that happened. Chapter 20. Hikari wins. You could see Deku and Hikari walking down the hallway inside the dorms, who was crying while bleeding from her lip and right eyebrow. Once they got to Deku's room, he told her to sit on the bed while he left the room for a first aid kit. Hikari. She saw that Deku left and that his footsteps began to be heard far from the door. Yes. My plan worked, happy while raising her arms. I decided about that damn chestnut with a smile. Finally Aizu will be mine, with a blush on her cheeks. Outside the bedrooms. Uraraka's classmates continued with her, who was still crying for what had happened before. At that moment, Mina and Eri had arrived. Seeing everyone in a circle, they approached and saw how Uraraka was comforted by all the girls. Mina. What happened to Ichako? I asked worriedly. Nagasa. Apparently he fights with Hikari and leaves her hurt, surprising Mina, but I don't believe that, seriously looking at Uraraka. Mina. This Eri, she spoke to the youngest who was next to her, why don't you go inside and watch cartoons, giving her a smile. Eri. Yes, Aunt Mina. She started running to the stairs of the residence but stopped when she saw a person sitting in a chair while she watched everything and decided to go with him. Uncle Kaken. She shouted while running towards the aforementioned and grabbing him. Bakugo. Flee, how did it go with Raccoon Eyes? He said while ruffling her hair. Eri. Raccoon Eyes, while thinking I Aunt Mina, I did very well. She showed a smile. This hey Uncle Kaken, seeing Bakugo. Bakugo. What's wrong, Flee? He asked as he picked her up and sat her next to him. Eri. Why do you have a camera? She asked, pointing at the camera she had on the side. Bakugo. "Oh, this grabbing the camera, it's nothing, it's just recording something interesting," he said while looking at Eri. "And tell me, what are you going to do, flee?" he asked looking at Eri. "Eri? I want to eat," she said with a smile. "Bakugo? Don't you want Raccoon Eyes to take you to eat?" he asked, seeing her who just looked down. "Eri? It's that I like your food more, Uncle Kaken playing with his fingers, will you make me something to eat?" I asked, looking at him with puppy eyes. "Bakugo? Ooh, seeing Eri, I won't do it," while he settled down and amazed Eri. "Eri? You're bad, pouting, no problem, while getting off the chair I'll tell Aunt Kimi," she said while walking slowly. "Bakugo? Aha, you'll tell him, downplaying it a bit." "Eri? I'll tell him you like him," she said with a smile, making Bakugo tense. "Bakugo? Fine, if you want, I'll make you eat." Getting up from his chair and cheering up Eri. "I see you learned," looking at Eri, "I think I taught you very well." "Eri? Uncle Kaken, give me a piggyback ride," raising her arms. "Bakugo? No, you can't walk," he said while walking. "Eri? Well. Aunt Kimi, Uncle Kaken likes it." I didn't finish because Bakugo spoke. "Bakugo? Fine, you win," flee carrying her and placing her on his shoulders. "I see that I taught him very well," he thought while walking, "and don't worry, round face, I know the truth, even if it hurts me," he thought while looking at the camera. "Deku will have to know the truth." Minutes later. We can see a brunette lying on her bed who was accompanied by her classmates. "Mina. Tell us what happened to Chako," she said as she sat on the bed. "Uraraka. Well, I was in my room when she arrived and said she wanted to talk to me outside the dorms. Once we arrived I asked her what she wanted to talk about and she said that to execute her plan better," she said, confusing the girls, "and from one moment to another she started hitting herself in the face. I tried to stop her, but he arrived and took her away," she said, sadly looking down. "Rin. She's a damn liar," she said angrily. "Carla. You're right, I must admit I had it very well planned," said Diria looking at the others. "Sakura. And what will you do now?" Hako, seeing the aforementioned there. "Uraraka. No loss." Sakura discouraged looking at the ground. "I suppose Hikari won," she said sadly. "Izuku I think believes her and a party saw her on top of her," she said, shedding a few tears. I think I lost him," crying, being hugged by Mina. "Jane. Calm down, Chako, maybe there is a solution," trying to cheer her up. Sakura. "Yes, Hako, you'll see that everything will be as before," patting her on the back. Uraraka. Thank you," girl, smiling but still crying. A few hours passed where Uraraka didn't leave her room because of sadness, being accompanied by Mina and Kimi. With Deku, he was in his room with Hikari, who was explaining to him how Uraraka attacked her a while ago. As for Bakugo and Eri, they were watching television. Bakugo was thinking about how to show her the video where Hikari was hitting herself. "Eri? Uncle Kaken, what's wrong?" Seeing him, he was serious. "Bakugo? Nothing, flee, I'm just thinking," without turning to look at her. "Eri, ha, you're thinking about Aunt Kimi," said, blushing to Bakugo. Bakugo? Of course not, looking away at something else. "Eri? Uncle, do you know why mommy was crying?" she commented, looking at the sad floor. Bakugo? "It's nothing, flee, don't worry, everything will be fine, okay?" Ruffling his hair. "What if we watch SpongeBob?" he said, cheering up Eri. "Okay, you stay here and I'll go get some popcorn and soda." "Eri? Yes, but my daddy doesn't let me drink or eat sweets at this time," she said, looking at the floor. Bakugo? "Who cares what Deku says?" Walking to the little house. "I'm looking after you, so I'll give you soda," taking the sodas from the fridge and putting the popcorn in the microwave. So another 2 hours passed where Eri, to Bakugo's surprise, fell asleep. He decided to leave her with Kimi so as not to bother Uraraka. Once he left her on the way to Deku's room where she was talking with Hikari. "Deku? Then she lunged at you and started hitting you senselessly," looking at Hikari, who acted. Hikari. "Yes, that's what happened," she said, who had a band-aid on her lip and eyebrow. "Deku? I see," sadly looking at the ground. Hikari. "Don't worry, Izu," taking her hand, "I can be by your side," giving a smile. "This Izu, I want to tell you something." Nervous. "Deku? Tell me," seeing her. Hikari. Well, I like you." She didn't finish because someone knocked on the door. "Deku? Then you tell me, I'll go open it," walking to the door. Hikari. "Why yes, don't worry," with a forced smile. "Damn, just when I was going to tell him that I like him," she thought with annoyance. "Deku? Oh Kaken, what do you need?" Seeing the aforementioned who was outside his door. Bakugo. "Oh nothing, I just want to show you something very interesting," showing his camera. Deku? "Well, come in," opening the way and closing the door when he entered. Bakugo. "Hello Eshi, I think you'd also like to see this." Placing his bed and connecting it to Deku's television. "Watch." Showing the video. Chapter 21. The plan fails. Goodbye Hikari. Bakugo. "Hello Eshi, I think you'd also like to see this." Placing his camera and connecting it to Deku's television. "Watch." Showing the video. Video. Uraraka. "So what do you want to talk about?" she asked a little annoyed. Hikari. Nothing, I just want to carry out my plan perfectly, she said, confusing Uraraka. Uraraka. Plan? She said, looking confused. Hikari. Yes, the plan that will make Izu stay away from you, she said, smiling maliciously. Uraraka. And how do you plan to? She didn't finish as she saw how Hikari had hit her own face. But what the hell are you doing, she said, watching how she hit herself. Hikari. This is my plan, she said, bleeding a little from her lip and eyebrow. Help. She shouted while hitting herself. Uraraka. Hey, stop, she said, grabbing his hands. Hikari. I won't do it, she said, letting herself fall with Uraraka on top of her. Help me please. She shouted again. Uraraka. Calm down, crazy, I'll make you. She didn't finish as she heard a very familiar scream saying her name. Deku Ichako. Greedo. End of video. The room was silent. Hikari was surprised and incredulous since Bakugo had exposed her to Deku, who was looking at the floor while clenching his fists. Bakugo was smiling as he looked at Hikari, who spoke. Hikari. How? Looking at Bakugo. How did you record it? I made sure no one was there. Bakugo. It was easy, I just followed them from a safe distance, and that's it. Smiling, looking at a surprised Hikari. Hikari. I can't believe it. Looking at the screen. This can't, but she didn't finish because Deku interrupted her. Deku? So, right, calling Hikari and Bakugo's attention. Tell me, Hikari, surprising the aforementioned since he didn't call her by her nickname. Why did you do that? Hikari. Why did I do it? Getting up from her chair. I did it for love, Izuku. I've always loved you. She said, tears falling from her eyes. That chubby girl doesn't deserve you. She wasn't with you, Izuku. You deserve someone like me. Besides, she abandoned you. She left you at the moment when you needed the most emotional support. Pointing at herself. Deku? You know what he said, getting up from his bed. That chubby girl has a name, and it's Ichako. Besides, she never abandoned me. She was always there for me, he said angrily. She congratulated me when I entered UA. She also visited me at the hospital when the camp was invaded. She worried when I had the mission against Overhaul. She congratulated me when I won the festival. She was always with me, he said, showing a smile. She is very special to me. She is the girl that I love. Hikari. I can't believe it. What does she have that I don't? Desperately looking at Deku. Deku? She has my love. He showed a blushing smile. So Hikari, I'll ask you something. I want you to stay away from me and Ichako. I don't want to see you anymore, okay, he said, surprising Hikari, who didn't say anything and just left the room without saying anything. Bakugo. Wow, that was intense. It was more exciting than the Rose of Guadalupe, he commented in amazement. Deku? I think I have to say thank you, right? He said, looking at Bakugo, who was walking to the door. Bakugo? It's not necessary, but turning to look at him. You don't have to go talk to someone and apologize, Deku, he said, making Deku get up from his seat. Deku? You're right. Running towards the door to take the elevator. Close the door, he said, and then the elevator closed the door. Bakugo? I think I did the right thing, he smiled and then walked down the hall. I don't know why I feel like I made a lot of people proud of me, and then entered his room. On another side of the building in the women's area, we can see a brunette who was wearing pink bunny pajamas covered by a blanket while she hugged her pillow tightly while crying. Uraraka po because sniff s surely Sniffy hates me, crying a little louder. B because I followed her while hitting her pillow a little. I have to, but she didn't finish since someone knocked on her door. Incoming, walking slowly to the door with her hat on and hugging her pillow. Who she didn't finish since she was interrupted when she felt something on her lips, and when she realized who it was, they continued the kiss which lasted a few minutes. And why was that? She asked, blushing. Deku? That was my way of apologizing to you, Ichako, blushing, looking away. I already know the truth, and I also want to tell you something important, nervously looking at the floor. Uraraka. What is Izuku, blushing, playing with one of the ears of her pajamas. Deku? Well, what I want to tell you is that I like you, Ichako, blushing, looking into the eyes of a surprised Uraraka. But. Uraraka. But? She asked fearfully but still blushing. Deku? I still don't feel ready to have a relationship right now, he said sadly. I just want to ask you for a little time, looking into Uraraka's eyes. Uraraka. Okay, Izuku, I'll wait for you, smiling, but on one condition. Deku? What condition? He asked, watching as Uraraka approached him. Uraraka. Kiss me again, she said, and then joined her lips with Deku's. The kiss lasted a few minutes before they separated. Deku? I think I have to go now, he said, turning around, but was stopped by Uraraka. What's up, Ichako? Uraraka. It's WHWH. Well, do you want to stay and sleep with me? She said, blushing, looking at Deku. Deku? Okay, Ichako, I'll sleep with you. He smiled, cheering Uraraka up. Uraraka. Well then, come in, while she stepped aside so Deku could come in and then closed the door. Well, Deku, go to sleep, she said, lying down on her bed. Deku? Ichako, are you sure? And if I sleep on the floor, I don't want to bother you, he said, pointing to the floor. Uraraka. No, Izuku getting up from his bed. You will sleep with me, pulling him to then throw him onto the bed and lying down next to him. Deku. Okay, good night. Ichako giving him a kiss on the forehead. Uraraka. Good night. Izuku also giving him a kiss on the forehead and then falling asleep. The next day. Our favorite couple was slowly waking up from their big dream. The first was Izuku, who got out of bed. Deku. Ichako wakes up shaking her little by little. We have to go to school. I'll go ahead to make breakfast for Eri and you, he said, giving her a kiss on the forehead and then on the lips. I'll see you downstairs. Uraraka. It's okay, Izuku, she smiled and then stood up. After a few minutes, Uraraka left her room with her uniform on and a big smile, walking towards the kitchen where she found some of her classmates. Uraraka. Good morning, guys, smiling. Nagasa. Uraraka, good to see you, he said, walking towards her. Uraraka. Seriously, why? She said, looking at the boy. Nagasa. There will be no classes today, the teachers had a last-minute meeting, he said seriously. Uraraka. Wow, that's weird, but oh well, I hope it's nothing bad, she said, smiling. Well, I'll go change. On the other side of the school. Hashirama. I never thought I'd see this, he commented with a smile. What's the reason for your visit? Director Nezu and company seeing the rat and his 4 companions. Nezu. We have to talk about something important, seriously, putting his paws together. Chapter 22. The board between rivals. Hashirama. I never thought I'd see this, he commented with a smile. What's the reason for your visit? Director Nezu and company seeing the rat and his 4 companions. Nezu. We have to talk about something important, seriously, putting his paws together. Hashirama. And what is it about? He said while drinking tea. It must be something serious for 5 people to come, right? Nezu. You're absolutely right, he said seriously. Izawa, tell him why we're here. Izawa. We understand that 3 former UA students are here, seriously, looking at the teachers and director of Shiketsu. Headshot. You're absolutely right, looking at Izawa. They're my students. Ryuko. What do they want with them? She asked with a frown. Mind Knight. We want you back, he said, surprising those from Shiketsu. Orca gang. They realize they're late, he said seriously, months late. Num.13. We know it, he said with his head down, but they belong to UA. Patgum. The students, Mina Shido, Bakugo Katsuki and Midoriya Izuku, he said looking at 13, stopped belonging to UA the moment they accused 2 of treason. Almight. How do you know that? Seriously, looking at Fatgum. Hashirama. Don't you remember? He smiled, looking at Nezu. You sent us the video where Midoriya betrayed you. Mindnigth. And how is it that he is studying here? He asked with a frown. Headshot. The video was fake, he said, impressing the UA people. Izawa. Did you know from the beginning? He asked angrily, and we were not notified, looking at Headshot. Ryuko. We had to, she said seriously, angering the UA members. Mindnigth. Of course, damn iguana, she said angrily, facing Ryuko. Ryuko. You don't talk to me like that, damn hex toy, facing Mind Knight. Hashirama. Ryuko calm, serious, looking at the dragon heroine. Nezu. You two, calm down, Mind Knight, he said, and then looked at Hashirama. You had to notify us, Hashirama seriously with a frown. Hashirama. Are you serious? He smiled, looking at Nezu. Aren't you supposed to be the best? He said, making Nezu angry. I find it stupid that after accusing, hitting, humiliating and turning your back on a student, he said seriously, looking at Nezu. Believe me, Nezu, I wouldn't go back to a place like that. He said, then smiled. Would you do it? He asked, leaving Nezu silent. Headshot. I'm very surprised, getting everyone's attention. Izawa. What surprises you? He asked in a tired tone. Headshot. That in truth you, pointing to the UA teachers, believed that the best aspiring hero had been a traitor, he said looking at Izawa, and I can't imagine how his own mentor turned his back on him, looking at Almight. I never believed that about you, Almight. Almight. I know, he said dejectedly, I know I had to believe in him, after all he was my pupil, clenching his fists. Orca. Student Mina Shido, she said, calling the teacher's attention, accused of betrayal by UA for giving school information to Izuku. Midoriya, she said, while looking at those from UA. Patgum. The evidence was searching among some leaves. I remember they were photos, right? He said looking at Nezu. N13. How do you know that? I asked surprised. Ryuko. Student Mina told us, she said seriously. I'm surprised you never took the trouble to investigate Midoriya and Mina's cases. Mind Knight. That doesn't interest you, she said angrily. Ryuko. Of course I'm interested, with a frown. They're talking about my students, she said looking at Mind Knight. Patgum. Do you think Mina will come back with you? He said, seeing Coin's frown. Almight. That's the point, he said, calling everyone's attention. This meeting is for them to return to UA, he said, his gaze fixed. They are part of UA, not Shiketsu. The atmosphere in the room became tense, no one said anything, everyone looked at each other angrily, but that was broken when someone laughed, who was the director of Shiketsu. Hashirama. Ha 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 ha, seriously All Might, ha 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 ha, well he saw All Might. Oof, I've never laughed so hard in my life, wiping away his fake tears, you know something, getting up from his seat, I respect you for everything you've done. Well, he passed behind his colleagues and as a former symbol of peace, but he said to stand next to All Might, that was the stupidest thing you've ever said in your entire life. Everyone was silent because of Hashirama's comment. All Might was first surprised by the statement and then filled with anger, getting up from his seat and facing the director. Hashirama. What's wrong, All Might, he said, looking him straight in the eyes. Did I offend you? He asked with a smile. All Might. Of course not, he also smiled. I'm just surprised that it's still not clear to you, he said, and then looked at him seriously. The students Mina, Bakugo and Midoriya belong to UA, he said, so that Hashirama sighed. Hashirama. We already talked about that. Turning his back on him, Mina and Midoriya were expelled from UA, and now they are part of Shiketsu, and the young Bakugo came on his own, then turning to look at him, tell me what was not clear to you? He asked, pointing at All Might. All Might just looked on in silence, feeling stupid for not believing his disciple. He just sat in his chair with his hands over his mouth. Hashirama. How much do you need them to return with you? He said, looking at Nezu. Do you feel guilty? He said, and then smiled. Or are you afraid that we have the best aspiring heroes? He said, looking at Nezu, who had a frown. Nezu. You're wrong, he said seriously. We will continue to be the best breeding ground for heroes, he said, still with a frown. Hashirama. Yes, he said, and then looked at him seriously. In that case, there is only one way to fix it. Nezu. I think the same, he said, putting his paws together. You love wet shirt 7W7. No, don't get excited, you'll find out in the next chapter. This chapter was made and produced thanks to Izuku Enterprise, the company with quality green tea. Chapter 23. The challenge was issue. Shiketsu, VSUA. P.S. I invite you to read his fics, they are the best. Hashirama. How much do you need them to return with you? He said, looking at Nezu. Do you feel guilty? He said, and then smiled. Or are you afraid that we have the best aspiring heroes? He said, looking at Nezu, who had a frown. Nezu. You're wrong, he said seriously. We will continue to be the best breeding ground for heroes, he said, still with a frown. Hashirama. Yes, he said, and then looked at him seriously. In that case, there is only one way to fix it. Nezu. I think the same, he said, putting his paws together. Hashirama. A fighting tournament, he smiled as he opened his arms. Nezu. Right, he smiled, putting his paws together. We'll see who has the best hero candidates, but we have to make it interesting, he said, smiling. Hashirama. Speak seriously, looking at Nezu. Nezu. If we win, the students, Mina, Bakugo and Midoriya will return, he said, making Shiketsu students frown. Hashirama. And if we win, they will leave the students and admit that we are better than you, he said, to stretch his hand in front of Nezu. Nezu. Deal, shaking Hashirama's hand. Hours later. Shiketsu dormitories. All the students of Class 2 were in the common room together with Eri watching movies until the signal was interrupted by a breaking news story with Joaquin Lopez Doriga causing some to start booing and complaining. Joaquin. This was just confirmed a few minutes ago while reading a sheet. I was just informed that the Shiketsu School of Heroes and the UA School will have a friendly combat in a few days, he said, surprising everyone. But let's move on to our panel of experts, introducing 4 people. It's a pleasure to have you here. Quentin Beck. No, the pleasure is mine, he said calmly. Hey 7. It's a pleasure to be here, he smiled tenderly. Nopal. It's also a pleasure to greet you, while moving his hand in greeting. Anophrix. It's an honor to be here with you, he said while smiling. Joaquin. Well, tell me, what do you think of this confrontation? He asked, looking at the 4. Anophrix. For me it's a fight for honor and glory, to see which school is the best, he said a little seriously. Nopal. Don't you know? He said, seeing everyone's expressions of doubt. Hey 7. Saber, what? She asked curiously. Quentin Beck. UA does it out of spite, he said seriously. UA lost 3 students a few months ago, he said, making everyone open their eyes in surprise, among which 2 are the best prospects for hero number 1. Nopal. And you can't guess where they are, he said while smiling. They are in Shiketsu. Hey 7. In short, UA was pissed off that they were in Shiketsu, he said smiling. Joaquin. So they say that UA challenged Shiketsu just out of spite, he said, looking at the 4. 4. You are right, they said in unison. In the room. Bakugo. Jajaj, it seems that Director Nezu misses us, he said somewhat mockingly. Or what do you think, Deku, raccoon eyes? He asked, looking at both. Mina. You're right, you firecracker with legs, he said angrily, looking at Bakugo. Deku. Unless they, he said, calling everyone's attention. Damn, they want us to go back with them, he said, clenching his fists. Bakugo. The dog came with his tail between his legs, he said while watching television. On screen. Dakwin. I'll explain a little about the conditions that were implemented, he said, taking out a sheet of paper. 1. The participants will be second year, the winners of the festival, meaning 2A, he said, pausing. 2. The two schools will have to put together their 3 best women and men, he said, before adjusting his glasses. 3. The hero costumes will not be used. That was all of you, what do you think? He asked, looking at the 4. A7. I think it's great, she said, smiling excitedly. I want to see the fights now. Nopal. And do you know what it will be like? I asked curiously. Dakwin. It is not yet known if they will be individual or pitched fights, he said, looking at the cactus. Quentin Beck. Does that matter? He said excitedly. No matter what, they'll be great fights. He said, twitching his arms. Anophrix. Quentin Beck is right, they will be great, she said excitedly. Dakwin. If you were the teachers of UA or Shiketsu, who would you choose? He asked to see Nopal. Miss Nopal. Nopal. Well, in UA, the women's team would be Momo Yaoyorozu, Sayu Asui, and Jiro Kyoka, he said to pause, and for men, Shoto Todoroki, Tenya Iida and Ejiro Kirishima, he said to see the others. What do you think? He asked, looking at the others. Quentin Beck. I agree with you. Dakwin. Miss K7, and you to the Shiketsu people, he said, looking at the girl. K7. I would put Echako Uraraka, Kimi Utsushimi and Ashido Mina, she said, smiling, and men it would be Midoriya Izuku, Urashi Inasa and Katsuki Bakugo, she said, smiling tenderly. Oh, but first Bakugo, she said, looking at the camera, you seem like someone very cute, she said, with an adorable blush in the living room. Inasa. Ha 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 ha, laughing, seeing how blushed Bakugo was. What happened, Kimi? They ate your food, haha. He didn't finish because Kimi kicked him in the crotch. Kimi. Idiot, walking annoyed towards the rooms. Iri. Mommy, Daddy, calling both of their attention. Uraraka. What's wrong, Iri? I asked with a smile. Iri. Can you buy me the cactus and K7 hero costumes? She said, making puppy eyes. Deku. Of course, I'd be happy to, he said, smiling, making the little girl happy. Iri. Yes. Jumping excitedly, she will be the great heroine. K7 making a fighting pose, and the super heroine Nopal making a heroic pose on the screen. Dakwin. Tell me, who do you think is the winner? He asked, looking at the 3. K7 Shiketsu Daiho Sin Rodeos. Nopal Shiketsu Daiho Seiya. Anophrix Shiketsu Daiho Sanriendo. Quentin Beck Shiketsu Daiho Seirio. Dakwin. Then Shiketsu, he said, looking at everyone. Thanks for coming, he said, smiling at the guests. Now we return to normal programming. Without further ado, I say goodbye, he said, to get up and turn his chair. In the room. Deku. This will be interesting, he said, smiling. Don't you think so, Bakugo? He said, looking at the ash blonde. Bakugo. Yes, I'll kill those damn extras, he said, making small explosions. Deku. It will be our time, he said seriously, to be able to finish UA in Class 2 forever, while clenching his fist. This chapter was made and produced thanks to Izuacha Enterprise. Chapter 24. Selecting Representatives. The next day. Class 2 of Shiketsu. The students were silent, waiting impatiently for their teacher to arrive. They wanted to know who would participate, but they had no idea who, since the opinion given by the heroine K7 was the most appropriate, but they all turned to see Edshot enter through the door with some leaves in his hands. Edshot. Guys, as you could see yesterday, there will be a competition against UA. While he sat at his desk, and I'm here to tell the participants while he shuffled the papers. Any questions you have, he said, seeing how only one raised his hand. Yes, Seiji. Seiji. Since the author has forgotten about me throughout the story, he said while looking at a wall. Kimi. He hid mind whispering to Ichako's ear, which nodded. Sorry, I just remembered you. Seiji. It doesn't matter. While turning to see the teacher, why did you challenge us to a fight? He asked, making some people start to murmur. Edshot. Before answering, he said to see 3 students, Midoriya, Bakugo and Mina. May I tell you? He asked, looking at his students. Midoriya. It's better that they know, teacher seriously looking at his teacher, confusing everyone. Edshot. Guys, the reason UA challenged us was because they want the students Midoriya, Mina and Bakugo to return with them, he said, surprising everyone, but we opposed. Carla. Why did they oppose it, Professor? She asked curiously. Edshot. Easy, they had been expelled from UA for alleged betrayal, he said, so that those who didn't know would be surprised, but all the evidence was false. That's why we opposed it, because it's stupid for them to return to correct their mistake if the damage was already done, he said, and then sighed. Are you ready to know who will participate? Everyone. Yes, sensei, whatever. Excited. Edshot. The women's team will be Kimi Utsushimi, Uraraka Ichako and Mina Shido, he said, so that the named ones would stand up. You were chosen to represent the Shiketsu women's team. Give your best, he said, showing a smile under his mask. Come. We will not disappoint you, sensei. With a determined look. Edshot. I know you won't do it girls he said to see his leaves now the men will be. Inasa Yurashi, Kitsuki Bakugo and Midoriya Izuku he said, so that those named would stand up, you were chosen to represent the Shiketsu men's team, give your best. IBM. We will not let you down sensei. With a determined look. Headshot. I know you won't do it guys, give it your all, leave the name of Shiketsu high he said getting up from his seat show them who is the best, prove that your plus ultra is nothing against us he said looking at his students. All. Hi sensei. Class, to a UA. The UA students were a different story, they were excited and confident, they didn't care if they had the traitor Midoriya and Bakugo, they would win for the simple fact of being in the best hero school. Izawa. Okay, listen to me he said in a tired tone as he got out of his sleeping bag today we will choose the representatives of UA he said, taking out some leaves and a juice okay Mineta Minoru he said, astonished to everyone get out of the way, you're not letting me see Yaoyorozu Momo, Asui Tsuyu, Jiro Kyoka, you will represent UA in the women's team. Momo. It was obvious she said with an arrogant smile I am the best. Iida. You're right, love he said, looking at his girlfriend. Izawa. Yes, as they say he said looking at his leaves now Iida Tenya, Todoroki Shoto and Kirishima Ejiro he said to look up UDs, but he was interrupted by the redeed. Kirishima. Sensei, I don't want to participate he said, surprising his classmates. Iida. What's wrong with you, Kirishima? He said angrily, are you afraid? He asked angrily or do you no longer have the manliness you boasted about? He said while clenching his fists. Kirishima. You talk about manliness while he looked at him with a frown, the one who has no manliness is you he said while pointing at him taking the girlfriend of your supposed best friend, that is definitely not manly he said furiously, I'll tell you what is Iida he said, and then smiled mockingly, he is a bucking faggot who doesn't have pants. Iida. I'm going to but he didn't finish because he was stopped by Izawa. Izawa. Calm down now, Iida and Kirishima turning to look at the redeed. Kirishima. Don't worry, teacher putting away his things I'm going to the dorms alone he said as he walked see you later leaving the classroom. Izawa. Well since Kirishima doesn't want to participate to look at their leaves Takeami Fumikage, you will be the one to complete the UA men's team he said, receiving a nod from him okay guys you know that Midoriya, Bakugo and Mina are in Shiketsu pausing, they may be the most dangerous in Shiketsu, so I want you to gain understanding he said looking at his students. Momo. Don't worry sensei she said calling everyone's attention even if Shiketsu has them, we are stronger than them with a confident smile. Iida. Don't worry, it will be a simple fight downplaying it we will finish them in the blink of an eye. Izawa. I hope so he said watching as his students began to talk. Bedrooms, to a UA. Kirishima. Damn it he said throwing his backpack on the couch, I almost feel like hitting Iida he said clenching his fists, but no problem, Midoriya will give him a beating of anthology smiling speaking of Midoriya getting up from the couch, he told me that Yaoyorozu was the one who framed him for being a traitor he said, placing his hand on his chin, then she must have a record or something he said smiling, I'm a genius. He said proud of himself it's time to return the favor Midoriya walking through the halls, I will give you the necessary evidence to sink Yaoyorozu and Iida, placing himself in front of Momo's room, because that's what a man does. Chapter 25. Shiketsu's strategy and tests against Momo. Shiketsu Classroom 2A. Seiji. Who was in front of the whole class good, since Professor Shot said that we should think of a strategy looking at everyone to be able to defeat those from UA, so we need Midoriya, Bakugo and Mina to help us looking at those named. Deku. Okay while walking until he was next to Seiji well first we have to assume who will be on the UA team, while grabbing a marker first women's team. Mina. I think it would be. Yaoyorozu Momo is the main one she said angrily, then I think it would be Asui Tsuyu and finally Jiro Kyoka, seeing how the green-haired man wrote down the names of each one. Deku. First it will be Yaoyorozu Momo he said with some displeasure as you know she has a creation quirk, it is a strong quirk, but she gets out of control when she is in trouble, she starts to create senseless things, and so she wears herself out and loses strength looking at everyone how to know when she reaches her limit of patience, that's when she creates the cannon, seeing how the women's team nodded the best method to fight with Yaoyorozu would be long fights. Mina. She is also very slow in hand-to-hand combat, which is why she always uses a metal BM and a shield. Deku. Next is Asui Tsuyu, she has the frog quirk, she is the most problematic of all on this team he commented, making everyone look at him strangely. Carla. What do you mean by that, Midoriya? She asked, supported by everyone except Bakugo and Mina. Bakugo. TSK he clicked his tongue, drawing everyone's attention, it's because during all the time we were with her seriously looking ahead, she never showed any weakness. Rin. That's impossible he commented looking at Mina she has to have some weakness, we all have one right. Looking at how Mina denied. Mina. I would like to say that Midoriya and Bakugo are wrong, but that is true, Seiya did not present any weakness. Amy. She'll be very hard to beat, damn it, frustrated, hitting her table bench with her hand. Deku. I think with Seiya it would be a long distance attack, seeing how they nodded. Next is Jiro. Kyoka has a sound quirk, she is very dangerous in long distance combats with her amplifiers, looking at the whole class. Uraraka. Although I think the teachers won't let us use equipment from our suits, I commented, looking at the green-haired boy. Deku. It's safe to say that they won't let us use equipment, he said, and then sighed, but they have Yaoyorozu, she can create what is necessary to fight against you, looking at Uraraka, who just nodded. Well, I think the best thing for you to face them would be, first eliminate Seiya, since she will be the one who will give you the most problems, then it would be Jiro with her, use quick movements to eliminate her, finally Yaoyorozu with her. Long fights are her greatest weakness, looking at the members of the Shiketsu team. Seiji. That is a good plan, Midoriya Lago, looking at the emerald eyes. Deku. Next up for the UA men's team, while pointing at the board here, will be Ida Tenya, Todoroki Shoto and Kirishima Ijiro. Inasa. They will be difficult, he commented, looking at the names of each of the members. Do you have any idea how to face them? I asked, looking at the green-haired man. Deku. Just take care of Todoroki and Kirishima, he said seriously, looking at Inasa. I'll take care of Ida. Inasa, you can take care of Todoroki, since you can nullify his powers, and that way you make time for Kaken or I to support you, looking at how the shaved-headed boy affirmed, and Kaken, you will take care of Kirishima. Bakugo. Okay, Deku seriously, while crossing his arms, calm raccoon eyes, looking at Mina, who frowned. I won't hurt your boyfriend that much. Mina. Don't tell me you have bomb raccoon eyes with paws, she said angrily, looking at the blonde. Bakugo. What did you say, raccoon alien? He asked as he stood up. Mina. What you heard, blonde with menstruation, facing the blonde. So both began to argue under the gaze of their classmates, who looked at them with amusement for the nicknames they each called each other, until Nagasa had to stop the nickname fight they were both having. Midoriya could only smile as he watched the two argue, which ended when he was interrupted by the noise of his cell phone, which was a call from the red-haired boy. Leaving the classroom, he prepared to answer. Deku. Okay, Kirishima. What's going on? Kirishima. First of all, I will not participate in the tournament, surprising the green-haired man. Tokoyami will. Deku. Okay, then we have to modify our plans seriously. Kirishima. But that's not the reason why I called you, he commented seriously. The reason is that I have the necessary evidence for Yaoyorozu and Ida to get what they deserve for incriminating you, he said with emotion. Deku. That means, with a smile. Kirishima. I have the proof where Yaoyorozu and Ida say that they were the ones who created the video where you are the traitor of UA, said, cheering up the green-haired boy. Deku. Thank you very much, Kirishima, he said, receiving a "you're welcome" and goodbye from the boy, and then receiving a message with a video in it. Now it's my turn to get revenge on you all. Chapter 26. UA's Strategy and Momo's Trap. UA Heroes Academy, Room 2A. In the classroom, the entire group could be seen silently looking at two of their classmates in front of them, who were Ida Tenya and Yaoyorozu Momo. Both of them were looking at each other with a confident look. Ida. Listen, according to professional heroes, we are not the favorites against Shiketsu. Walking through the room, the reason is simple, they think that having the traitor Midoriya, the cowardly Bakugo, and looking at the black-haired girl. Yaoyorozu. And having Mina's two-faced side, they can win. Looking at her classmate seriously. Well, you are very wrong, we will show that Shiketsu is a place full of failures, people who do not deserve to carry the title of aspiring heroes, she commented, and then showed an arrogant smile. We will show how weak and pathetic that fourth-rate school is. Ida. And to do that we have to carry out a plan where we will have a little help thanks to my dear girlfriend Momo, making the girl smile. I know you are curious to know what it is, but be patient, we will tell you everything at the end of explaining the plan against Shiketsu. Receiving an affirmative response from the others. Yaoyorozu. First, the representatives of the Shiketsu team looking at a screen. Uraraka Ichako, showing a picture of the brunette. According to here, her power is zero gravity, which allows her to remove the weight of things. The screen changes. The next is Utsushimi Kami, showing the image of the girl. Her power is glamour, which allows her to make illusions. And the next is an old acquaintance showing a picture of Mina. It is not necessary to say her power, since we know her well. Jiro. So what will be the plan to defeat them? With his hand raised, looking at the big-breasted black-haired woman. Yaoyorozu. As you can see, only one has a power that can be used as an attack. Looking at the group, the other two are more oriented towards rescue and distraction on the part of the light brown girl. Showing a smile, in short, we should only focus our attacks on Mina, and the rest will be easy. Seiya. Are you sure about that? Kiro, I asked, looking at the girl who showed a confident smile. Yaoyorozu. Of course, Seiya. Putting her hands together, it will be very easy to finish them off with a sweet smile. Jiro. I think we shouldn't underestimate the Shiketsu people too much, calling everyone's attention. You saw how Midoriya and Bakugo defeated that Nama monster, making some people start to murmur among themselves. I think if they can do that, those of their class must be at their level or even higher. Look at Momo and Iida, don't you think? Iida. You may be right, Jiro, looking at the purple-haired girl, but remember that those two came from UA, that level they bring from this place, not from Shiketsu. Smiles a little. Also, if that worries you, remember that we have a plan that will reinforce our entire strategy that we have. Tokoyami. What is that plan? Seriously, looking at both of them. Iida. Calm down, Tokoyami, you'll know in a moment. Making the boy let out a sigh. Well, now follows the team that we men face. He uses the screen Urashi and Asa, showing the photograph of the named. His power is whirlwind, which allows him to create strong gusts of air, he explained, and then changed the photo on the screen. The next two do not need to know the powers or names, since we know them well. Looking at the group, but I will still say them, since the author has to do more filler. Leaving his companions confused. Hagakure. What are you talking about, Iida? Looking at the boy with glasses. Haminari. Which author? I ask, more confused than usual. Zero. That's a good question. Looks at the blonde, but I think the real question would be, why does the person writing this take so long to update? Todoroki. They're getting off topic with this. Letting out a sigh. Readers will realize that this is just to make the reading a little longer. Placing his hand on the load. Shoji. They should stop breaking the fourth wall, he commented, looking at the others. Mineta. No. I say we continue so we can enjoy the beauty of a reader who takes the time to read this while winking. Hagakure. Damn pervert. I shouted in disgust. What matters are the handsome readers holding a sign that says, I'm winking. Yaoyorozu. Shut up. You've gone way off topic. Making everyone look at her. Okay, back to serious matters. She looks at her partner. It's your turn, Tenya. Iida. Well, as you know, Midoriya's power is pyrokinesis and Bakugo's is explosion. Look at how everyone nodded. Well, as you know, if these two fight together, they will be a great threat to us. Tokoyami. So you suggest we eliminate one of them first? Watching the dark blue-haired boy adjust his glasses. Iida. Yes, because if they stay in the battle for too long, they might become more dangerous than they already are, he commented somewhat seriously. Todoroki. What about Urashi? Looking at the boy. Iida. I think he's not a threat to us, showing a confident smile. He's not a big threat to our team, it will be easy to finish off that boy. Tokoyami. Okay, Samples closed his eyes and crossed his arms. Now will they tell us about their plan? Yaoyorozu. You're really eager to know, Tokoyami. Look at the bird head. The plan that Iida and I have in mind is this, showing a small jar. Jiro. What is that, Yamomo? He asked, looking at the girl. Yaoyorozu. This is something my father got for me for this competition, in particular, with a smile. This is a drug that enhances our power to one beyond the maximum, making her classmates look at her. This will help us win even easier against Shiketsu and prove that academy is nothing compared to us. Sigh. Wouldn't that be cheating? Kiro with his index finger on his lower lip. Todoroki. I don't want that, he commented seriously, calling everyone's attention. I want to fight Midoriya and Bakugo with my own strength and not use two shortcuts. Tokoyami. I think the same as Todoroki, looking at the boy and then looking at Iida. I also want to show my power before those two. Jiro. If I want to use that drug, Yamomo looking at his desk. Sayu. I don't know yet. Look at the people in front of you, I'll think about it, Kiro. Yaoyorozu. It's fine, but the best option is to use it. Keep the bottle, since it will make us even stronger than we already are. Iida. Still, the decision is yours, shrugging his shoulders. Yaoyorozu. We must prove that Shiketsu is nothing compared to us. Iida. And that we are better than the trio of traitors. All. Yes, raising their fists in the air. Yaoyorozu. Thinking with a smile, I'll sink you even further, Midoriya. Chapter 27. The day has arrived. Shiketsu vs UA. Days have passed, with both teams preparing their strategies and powers to face each other on the day that will determine who is the best hero academy in Japan. The stadium was filled with students, professional heroes, and a few civilians to witness the battle between two of the best schools. The trucks arrived with the students in them. The first to arrive was the student from Shiketsu Academy. The students were silent, focused on strategies and how they would beat their rivals. As soon as the truck stopped, they stood up and got out with a smile, while the reporters took pictures of the students, especially those who were going to compete. Hey me. Wow, that's a lot of attention for us, looking at the reporters. Anasa. You're right, maybe it's because of Midoriya and Bakugo. He looks at the two boys in front of him. Bakugo. Of course not, shaved head. Look ahead, this is for everyone. Shiketsu, although he didn't like it before, has really strong people and with good kases. Deku. We also worked hard for this occasion and to show that we are better than UA, showing a big smile. All. Yes. Raising a fist in the air. Eri. She. Giving small jumps. Elsewhere, the UA Academy bus arrived, all of whom didn't take much importance from the meeting, except for Todoroki, who was looking out the window with a neutral expression, Tokoyami, who had his eyes closed and his arms crossed, and Kirishima, who was just silent, looking at his classmates. Once the bus stopped, they got off while talking without worry, while reporters took pictures. Iida, ready to make the most humiliating victory in history, looking at his classmates. Some. Yes. Looking at the group leader. Yaoyorozu. We still have to make Todoroki and Tokoyami take the drug. It would be by looking at the one with glasses. Iida. Calm down, I know what I'll do with them, leave it in my hands, looking sideways at both boys. Yaoyorozu. Showing a small smile, very well, I left it to you, darling, giving a kiss on the cheek. Minnie jumped in time, UA locker rooms. They were talking about trivial things except for 3 people, 2 of whom were far away from everyone, concentrating on the fight, and the Redeed was only looking at his cell phone. Yaoyorozu. This is your chance, darling. Looking at the blue-haired one. Iida. Okay, taking the liquid that the big-breasted girl gave him, give me some glasses of water. Yaoyorozu. Why do you want glasses of water? Asks, gives him samples and gives him the glasses of water. Iida. Those 2 were clear in not taking this little help. He begins to put the drug in the glass, so I will use this method so that they do not realize, showing a small smile. It also works for everyone, so that this is not so suspicious. Yaoyorozu. Okay, Tenya, taking more glasses and pouring a little water in each one. Hey guys, can you come closer? She raised her voice, looking sideways at her classmates. Iida. My little sugar cube had a wonderful idea, while offering the water case to Todoroki and Tokoyami, make a small toast with some water for our assured victory, then looked at everyone had their glasses. Yaoyorozu. To our victory. Raising the glass. Almost everyone. To our victory. They began to drink the water. Todoroki. He looked at the glass and then drank. You know, weird. Looking at the Dark's chicken. Tokoyami. You're right, taste a little, it has a strange taste. Iida. You're right, if she knows something strange. He lied, looking at both boys, but it doesn't matter, he adjusts his glasses. Anything for the victory, guys, stretching his forward to the boys in front of him. They both looked at each other and then saw the glasses and clinked them with the class president. Todoroki, Tokoyami. For the victory to then take the glass completely. Iida. Yes, for our victory, take the water. Yaoyorozu. Looking from a distance as the plan was complete. Haha, everything is ready, she thinks with a small smile on her lips. The entire UA team has already consumed the drug, all that's left is to defeat you. Midoriya, drink water. Another mini time jump. Those from Shiketsu were in the tunnel corridor that would take them to the fighting area where everything would be decided. Uraraka. I'm a little nervous, looking ahead and listening to the screams of the people. Deku. Calm down, Ichako, taking her hand, everything will be fine, you'll do very well, showing a smile to the girl. Uraraka. It's okay. Izuku smiles the same way as the boy. Bakugo. Kiss her already, you bucking nerd. Behind him, I'm already mad that you're always throwing innuendos and you're both too blind or stupid to realize it. He looks at the brown-haired, green-haired couple who had a blush on their faces. You know what, forget it. Mina. Calm down, Muslim, I think it won't be long before you become a couple. Looking at the blonde, besides, you have your own issues, pointing at the girl with full lips. TSK. After this, crosses his arms and looks away. It seems you guys are having a lot of fun. A female voice was heard behind, especially you, Midoriya. Bakugo. Wow, but it's ponytail. Four-eyed stare, looking at the others. Marichan soup, bat chicken, frog and ironing board smiles arrogantly. They are still just as extra as last time. Deku. What do you want? Yaoyorozu, looking seriously at the girl with the power of creation. Yaoyorozu. I just came to see the competition, you know very well that we are going to win. She smiles to see the boy's hand, and then the brunette. Wow, Midoriya, you really make a fool of yourself with so little. She looks up and down at the chubby-cheeked girl. Uraraka. Well, let's go of the freckled man's hand. If he was with you, I think you're right. Smiles calmly, he really settles for very little. Yaoyorozu. What the hell did you say? He looks at her angrily. You bucking pig. Uraraka. I'd rather be a shitty pig than a slack-ass bitch. She winks at him and then walks towards the end of the tunnel. Bakugo. We'll make them even more shitty than they already are. Follows the others. Yaoyorozu. I will kill the chestnut, I swear I will kill her. Walk. Once the students left, people began to applaud the students equally. The classmates of each group were in the stands watching their classmates leave. Presenter. Welcome everyone to the meeting that will determine who will be the best of all. Through the microphone, making the people shout. On one side is the UA Academy, points to one side of it, and on the other side is the Shiketsu Academy, pointed to the opposite side. The competition consists of a team fight. The 3 members of each of them will go up to the ring. Images appear on the big screen. The women will begin. The 3 from each team face each other. The last one standing from each team wins. For this to happen, she must get a rival out of the marked area of the platform without anything else looking at each team. Let the matches begin. Deku. Good luck girls, he smiles looking at the three. Mina. Don't worry Midoriya, we can do it, shows a thumbs up. Amy. Yeah, calm down, we're strong too. Uraraka. Yes, we will win, flexes her arm, it's not for nothing that we trained for days for this occasion. The green-haired man just looks at them and smiles as everyone starts to leave the ring and go to the boxes where their teammates are. Presenter. Get ready for this great match. The girls get into fighting stance, the UA girls. Aim at the girls with the plastic breasts, according to Bakugo, the Shiketsu girls. Aim at the ones with the brown-haired hot eye, let the match begin. The girls launch themselves at their rival. Chapter 28. Team Battle. Shiketsu women vs UA women. Hard a half. Without further ado, let the chapter begin. Presenter. Get ready for this great match. The girls get into fighting stance, the UA girls. Aim at the girls with the plastic breasts, according to Bakugo, the Shiketsu girls. Aim at the ones with the brown-haired hot eye, let the match begin. The girls launched themselves at their rival. The plastic breast stopped mid-run with an arrogant smile, unbuttoned part of the shirt of the sports uniform, and then began to quickly create a cannon and some ammunition with it. Mina. She's faster. She tries to attack her with acid but is stopped by a couple of kicks that send her far away. Seiya. I won't leave you, Kiro. Looking at the pink one, she would jump on it later, you will be the first, Mina. The girl with big dark eyes looked at the frog girl going against her, so, using her agility, she moved quickly making the frog fall near Kami, which put her in her illusion. Kami. You trusted me too much, darling, he whispers in her ear, it's a shame that your captain only uses you for her whims. He shows a smile, why don't you get revenge on her? The green-haired girl just jumped to where the girl with great attributes was. Jiru. You're a bitch. He plugs his headphones, I don't remember what they're called, into the ground and starts a small tremor, I'll destroy you. He increases the vibrations making the sand start to split into pieces. Yaoyorozu. Stop, Kyoka. At this rate we'll also lose. Trying to avoid the green-haired girl's attacks. Jiru. Huh. Look at the place, damn, it's true. She stops when she sees everything, then give me some bow. She starts to float in the air, what the buck. She looks around and sees the brunette behind her, but how did you get there, damn it? Angrily looking at the brunette. Uraraka. Just kicks her in the face, sending her far off the platform. Release. She brings her hands together, causing the ironing board to begin to fall, but she is caught by a tongue and pulled back into the sand. What the heck? Look where UA is. Yaoyorozu. They're damn bitches. Angry and with Seiya somewhat beaten and a disoriented Jiru. The girl with full lips stands on one side of the brown-haired girl and the pink-skinned girl on the other side. People watched in amazement at the display of skills each of the girls presented in combat. Commentator. This was incredible. It hasn't even been 3 minutes and they're already giving us everything these girls are made of. Looking at the arena, and from what I can see, both teams want to finish the match really fast. Brada Shiketsu. Deku. Amazing. Echako is great with a big smile. Eri. Yes. Mommy is very strong. She commented happily while wearing a costume identical to Echako's miniature hero. You can do it, mommy. She moves her arms. Bakugo. Not bad, he watches the fight with his arms crossed. Anasa. They have a lot of passion. I like that, looking enthusiastically. Braids, UA. Haminari. He lets out a breath as he leans back in his seat. That was close. Hagakure. I thought they would eliminate her. Moves the sleeves of her shirt. Ida. It would be dishonorable for us to lose a member so quickly right away. He waved his arms. Todoroki. Luckily Asui woke up neutral watching the fight. Teacher's box. Hashirama. What happened, master? Looking at the rat, bear, dog, you know what a jerk you are, wouldn't it be very easy to win? Nezu. You'll see that we're going to win, and I'm going to enjoy it like you can't imagine. Look at the black-haired man. Hashirama. We'll see about that, with a small smile. In the sand. The brunette was dodging the shots from the plastic Barbie who was only annoyed by it. Yaoyorozu. Stay still, you damn fat girl, keep shooting at him, let him eliminate you, damn it. Uraraka. Dodges the shots. I thought she had a limit with her creation, she thinks while touching some debris. Izuku said that it also took him a long time to create something, and now he does it in seconds. She clicks her tongue while moving forward, she improved a lot since then. Yaoyorozu. I have you damned. Shooting near her making her lose her balance now. Kyoka. Jiru. Launches a sound attack that covers almost the entire width of the ring. Mina was able to free herself from Seiya and then hit the purple-haired girl in the face, causing her to lose her balance and the attack to be deflected by a few centimeters from the brunette. Seiya grabs Mina by the arm with her tongue to be able to get her out of the fight. Goodbye, Mina. Kiro pulls her but stops halfway when she feels pain in her tongue and lets go. Mina rolls down the track, just shy of the limit. Ouch, just a little. She gets up quickly and backs up. Amy. So after seeing what they do, looks at both of them. Does anyone have an idea of who to eliminate and how to do it? Mina. I think we have to eliminate Jiro. Looking at the purple-haired girl, you've seen what he's capable of with just one attack, he almost destroyed the whole place. Uraraka. I think I have an idea. Catching the attention of both girls, just listen. She joins her fingers to drop some debris and create a curtain of dust. Jiro. Damn, I can't see anything because of the damn dust turns in all directions. Seiya. Kyoka, are you here? Near the girl. Jiro. Seiya. He walks a few steps. Seiya. The dust slowly disperses too. He doesn't finish before receiving a strong blow from a mine to the abdomen and another to the jaw. Mina. Now Chako. The brunette touches Kyoka so that she begins to float. As soon as she rises, she is hit in the face again by the girl with fleshy lips, who had the illusion of Seiya, bringing the purple-haired girl to the brink of elimination. Uraraka. She approaches her quickly, taking off her weight while being close to her with her fingers and then kicking her in the stomach, knocking the girl out of the ring. At that, the smoke clears completely to show Jiro off the platform, knocked out, and her teammates on the other side of the arena looking on without understanding what happened. Announcer. After a great strategy, Jiro Kyoka is out of the arena, therefore she is eliminated. Shiketsu people start shouting, therefore UA is at a disadvantage. What will UA do now? UA grades. Beta. Damn. Angrily looking at the scene in front of him. Todoroki. It was a good strategy, they eliminated the one that causes the most destruction with his hand on his chin, not bad. Hiroshima. They didn't do bad at all, especially mine. Smiles. Haminari. Kyoka looking at the girl with some anguish. Brada Shiketsu. Deku. That was amazing. With a smile. Eri. Mom is great. Jumping, you can do it, Mom. Bakugo. Finish off those extras. He shouts, standing at the edge of the barrier. Teacher stands. Ryukyu. That's the way to go, girls. With a smile. Bed shot. They did excellent teamwork. Smiles under his mask. Midnight. TSK, don't be discouraged, you can do it. Azawa. Just watch the match seriously. Hashirama. Hahaha, I told you, Nezu. He looks at him with a smile. Just because you're the #1 school doesn't mean you're invincible. Nezu. Don't celebrate victory yet. Hashirama looks at him seriously. Yaoyorozu. Damn Kyoka. Angrily watching the girl being taken away, can't you do something right? Seiya. Calm down, Momo, we can still win. Kiro. She looks at the black-haired girl, somewhat nervous. Yaoyorozu. Shut up. He looks at her angrily. Instead of talking, he attacks. Damn it. The green-haired girl, a little afraid, obeys the brunette's order, jumps, and stretches her tongue out at the three girls in front of them. The three of them avoided the girl's attack. Amy. She looks at her. That was close. Ukai. She stops when she is caught in a net. What? Yaoyorozu. I've got you cursed, showing a smile. Uraraka. Mina. Kami. They're onto where she is. Seiya. She stops the brunette and takes Mina with her tongue and throws the pink-haired girl away from her partner. Do it, Momo. The black-haired girl runs against a light blonde girl. Once there, she hits her in the face to get her out of the sand. Announcer. Utsushimi Kami is eliminated. UA celebrates. UA evens the score and both teams are down to 2 members. This is just getting more and more interesting. Who will win this? Will it be UA? Or will it be Shiketsu? Without further ado, find out in the second part of this episode. Chapter 29. Team Battle. Shiketsu women vs UA women. The green-haired girl, a little afraid, obeys the brunette's order, jumps, and stretches her tongue out at the 3 girls in front of them. The 3 of them avoided the girl's attack. Amy. She looks at her. That was close there, really. Kai. She stops when she's caught in a net. What? Yaoyorozu. I've got you cursed, showing a smile. Uraraka. Mina. Kami. They're onto where she is. Seiya. She stops the brunette and takes Mina with her tongue and throws the pink-haired girl away from her partner. Do it, Momo. The black-haired girl runs against a light blonde girl. Once there, she hits her in the face to get her out of the sand. Announcer. Utsushimi Kami is eliminated. UA celebrates. UA evens the score and both teams are down to 2 members. This is just getting more and more interesting. Who will win this? Will it be UA? Or will it be Shiketsu? Without further ado, find out in the second part of this episode. Part 2 halves. The brunette and the pink-haired girl watched as their partner was eliminated from the fight. The ponytailed girl watched the situation with a big smile. They could still win this, and she was determined to do so and make the brunette suffer for humiliating her in the hallway. Seiya. Well done. Momo comes to the girl's side. We're already couples. Look how the creation girl smiled. What's the plan now? Yaoyorozu. Very easy, my friend with a calm voice but with an annoying aura, continue eliminating the damn raccoon, and then continue with that damn chestnut, clench your fists. Sigh. It's okay, look at the scared girl. Mina. They'll probably go for Maya Chako without looking at her, maybe they think you're weak, that flabby boobs thinks that. Uraraka. Then we have to attack before they do. She runs while the gravity is removed, being followed by the acid power girl. Yaoyorozu. Sayu attacks. While starting to create several light grenades. The frog-like girl advanced against the girls, starting the fight between the two pairs again. The green-haired girl used her tongue to grab the brunette by the waist and throw her away. Mina. Achako. Watching as the chestnut fell to the other side of the platform. Sayu. Standing a few meters in front of the pink girl, I'll defeat you, Mina Kiro with a frown. Mina. We'll see about that, use her acid and move quickly to where the frog girl is. Sayu. Uses her tongue to start attacking the girl. The pink-haired girl evaded the attacks that the girl gave with great agility to respond with her acid attacks, which were also avoided by the green-haired girl with ease. Both girls gave a lesson in agility that amazed the spectators who admired the mobility that both had in the arena. The brunette slowly got up from the ground, where she would take her right arm where it could be seen that it was somewhat hurt by the fall. The girl looked around and managed to visualize her partner fighting the girl with frog powers. She could also see how the creation girl managed to finish creating multiple light grenades, some of which she had taken ready to throw where both girls were. Yaoyorozu. Haha smiles looking at where Tsuyu and Mina are. It's your end, damn Pink Panther. Taking several grenades to throw them where both were. The scream distracted the green-haired girl a little as she watched as several grenades approached where she was, something that Mina took advantage of and managed to hit her opponent and avoid the grenades that managed to fall where the girl was, covering her with a large white light. Sigh. Ah. My eyes. She screamed as she stood up, covering her face with her hands. I can't see. I can't see. She repeated desperately as she walked aimlessly. Yaoyorozu. Damn it, Sigh. You're just a damn hindrance. Replied the girl with a great plot as she approached her temporarily blind companion. Can't you do something right? Sigh. I'm sorry, I had no idea. She couldn't finish when she was interrupted by the black-haired girl. Yaoyorozu. You're an idiot. Now you're not me. She stopped when she saw how the brunette appeared out of nowhere near both of them. The girl could only put the green-haired girl in front of her as a shield and get away from there quickly. The brunette gave her a scissor blow, causing her foot to hit the girl's face, which she couldn't dodge, leaving her staggering, before being taken by the arm and thrown off the platform thanks to her gravity. Announcer. Asui Tsuyu is off the platform. UA has the advantage. All you could hear were the screams of excitement coming from the stands as they watched Shiketsu take the lead over UA. Hashirama. Hahaha, wonderful. Simply wonderful. He said it while clapping also. What great camaraderie they teach them at UA, using your partner as a human shield. What kind of hero does that? That only shows that UA is not good at creating heroes. He said the last part with a small smile while looking sideways at the rat, dog, bear the white shit who is the director of UA, who could only clench his fists or paws. I don't know anymore, let's go to the arena. The brunette could only smile when she saw how she had eliminated the girl. Mina just raised her arms in excitement when she saw how they now had the advantage against the rat, sorry, the distinguished young lady. Yaoyorozu. She looked at the others. Shit, this is not going as planned, this is wrong. She thinks while looking angrily we should win easily, we are better than those bastards, we are the best. The girl was in despair. She repeated to herself that she was the best and then began to expel a little light from her belly. The brunette and the pink-haired girl placed themselves in battle positions to wait for anything from the girl in front of them, which only saw that she began to create grenades again, but this time they were smoke grenades and throw them all over the platform, leaving everything covered by a large grey cloud on it. Mina. Damn, since when can she create so many things? Spins around her. Yaoyorozu. Mina, it was hurt in some direction where the pink girl was who could only move more frantically. Mina, you will regret what you did, damn it. Mina. I'm not scared of you, cow tits. Look everywhere, I'll beat you and make you pay for what you did to Midori. Look and listen as some debris moves. Yaoyorozu. What did I do to him? I didn't do anything, it is heard through husband smoke. I just realized that he is not worth it. Laughs a little, he is just an idiot. A person who should not have existed. Mina. Shut up. Don't say those things about him. Angrily looking around, he's cool and strong, he just made the wrong choice for a vixen like you. Throws acid at a place. Yaoyorozu. Harpy me. Hahaha, I'm more than that, damn. She comes out from behind Mina and grabs her by the hair. I'm capable of ruining anyone's life if I set my mind to it. She said and then slammed the girl's face into the ground. I'm above anyone in this damn place. She steps on her arm hard, making the girl scream in pain. I can destroy anyone's life anytime. She steps on her other arm. In the place only the screams of pain were heard, which impressed the spectators, who listened with horror. Bachako. Mina. She runs around the place desperately trying to locate her friend. The pink-haired girl was just crying, while the other one was just laughing and stepping on each other's every part. Yaoyorozu. Yeah, I like that. Keep going, damn it, keep suffering. Kicks her in the abdomen, hahaha, I love this. Stomps on her stomach, making the other spit out a little blood, haha, what's wrong? Is that all you've got? Kicks her in the face. Mina. Weakly looking at the girl who just laughed at her, why, you spits out a little more blood which only overflowed from her mouth, no, you'll get out W with yours. Yaoyorozu. Oh, it's too late to say that. He takes the dragon and drags her along the sand. I'm already getting my way, he smiles sweetly. Now all that's missing is the pathetic mushroom hair to end this. He reaches the shore and then picks her up. Anything else you want to say? He looks at her while holding her hair. Mina. Poor rot bitch, she spits blood in his face while smiling. Yaoyorozu. You're a bore. He lets go of her and kicks her in the abdomen, knocking her out of the sand as everything cleared up. Everyone watched as young Rosada came out of the arena in a mess. Some just looked at the girl with concern, while the black-haired girl celebrated as if she had already won. The brunette looked at how her friend was in bad condition, she only saw with anger and helplessness for not being able to do absolutely anything for her. Announcer. Ashido. Mina is out of the arena. Both teams only have one participant. Both girls looked at each other angrily, each from one end of the arena to the other, in both of them you could feel a great tension, both had a single thought: destroy the one in front of her, with that the fight that would define this round would begin. Bachako. Yaoyorozu. Definitely both activate their power, I'll finish you. Both girls launched themselves at each other. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.